What is up, everybody? How's everyone doing on this lonely, lonely Valentine's Day where you're all watching me instead of hanging out with your partners? Losers! You're all losers hanging out in my chat. But I'm here too. So I love you guys. Thanks for coming. We're going to be talking to PF Jung in about 10 minutes here. I reached out to him because of seeing him on Destiny. I was very frustrated by that conversation. And I have since been delving into his content, his videos, his Substack. I've read his entire Substack. And we're going to be talking to him about it. We'll see. I don't know how yelly this is going to get, but I definitely have a lot of grievances with a lot of what he has to say. I'm sure he's used to that, though, because I've read his comment section. I think his last video was, everyone's mad at me. So, oh, you guys saw the Destiny convo? Yeah, it was brutal, right? Like, just at 3 hours. I was like, man, now Destiny knows how it feels to be stonewalled about something really obvious for 3 hours about whether or not Sam Hyde is a a white nationalist, neo-Nazi-esque person, right? Like, no, I'm just gonna like play like dodgeball for three hours playing defense for this guy. So, am I quiet to anyone? Oh my god, please, please, please tell me I have my audio issues fixed. Hold on, this has got to be fixed. All right, I'm pretty sure I'm using the right mic. Tell me I'm using the right mic, guys. Is this coming? Please tell me I'm nice and crisp. Please, please, please. I'm quiet? I see two people saying I'm quiet. Oh, we're going to talk about that for sure. I can't read your name, but not inaudible, just a little quiet. All right, hold on. Let me try something here. How's that? I turned it up. Are we good? Is this better? Do you like that? You like the sound of my ASMR voice? I always got the ick from Destiny. Well, you know that stuff isn't new or old. Sounds good. I got 2 ads, I'm sorry. Weird sound in the background. That's because the gain's too high. Urgh! This is the meme of every stream is going to be some bullshit like this, or I don't know how to do audio mixing because I'm deaf. All right, what about now? How's that? Your volume's at 100% and you can't hear me, pupper. I have not seen you lurking, but hi, thank you so much for coming. Better? Okay. I'm gonna leave it here. I'm not gonna scream mustard into my high gain mic right now. Okay, this has got to be fine. Hold on, wait, guys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna turn on my own stream. I'm gonna mute the desktop audio and go back. Let's see this. What is happening here? Let's see. My videos. Live. If I can hear it, then you're all just got bad settings. This is fine. You guys are so full of shit. Oh, wait, hold on. I can hear a little background thing, though. Tick, 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 tick. Now, see, the gain's too high. All right, whatever. I'm going to just switch it just a little down. I'm sorry, everybody. The halftime show wasn't I really liked the Kendrick halftime show, especially when they fixed the mixing. Ugh, great. My closed captions are too loud. I'm generally quiet. I don't know, guys. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why this is. It better not be using my Razer mic. One second. All right, hold on. We got 5 minutes to figure this out. 1 sec. Let's see. One sec, everybody. All right. How's that? Is that good? You like that? Is good? The audio is fine. Way worse. Fucking. Everyone fucks with it. Is this like a meme where my audience is going to be like gaslighting me every time I turn on or off my audio, and it's just like it's been fine the whole time? I hate you guys. Ah! All right, fine, we're good. Let me put this over here so I can actually read chat. There's clipping? No. All right, maybe if I move away from my computer. Yanny Laurel moment. Yeah, just this like collective like two realities for the stream. Fuckers. It's great. Phil Nerdy. I trust Phil Nerdy. Phil Nerdy gave me money, so I trust him. All right, we're just gonna end it right there. Okay, he's bringing us in. Let's talk with him, everybody. Close this. Close this. Go here. We are connecting. Oh no. Allow this time. Camera in use. Turn off my webcam. See, I'm already ready to be a boomer. Start cam. Start unmute. Soy pill. Enter studio. I see him. He's there. He's on screen. Why can't I start my cam though?
Oh.
What's up? Can you hear me? He can't hear me. Oh my god, it's because I'm using it on the other thing. Oh, Christ, 1 second, guys.
Oh, he's...
Yes, he figured it out. He's like, he's debugging this in real time. All right, can you hear me? I'm unmuted. Okay, I can't access my devices. I'm being a boomer right now. Give me a sec. 1 sec. Oh god, now I want to mute him because he's whistling into my fucking ear. All right, all right. Come on, come on. Come on, work.
Bro.
Come on. Can't use my mic. All right, I'm just going to Discord him. How does this work? We can hear him. So he started early. Yeah, he did start early. What an ass. He's probably open on my stream. Hey, buddy, if you can hear me. How's this working? Reload. Clear other application. Well, I can't stop Streamlabs because I'm streaming. How does this work? This is why I need to be one of those Republicans with their own studio and like 6 different mics and cameras and shit. All right, all right. What if I do this? Live scene. This is why, by the way, guys, the Soy Pill Streams is a channel where I edit all this bullshit out. Hey, I have got sponsors now, John, just so you know. Webcam. It won't let me turn off my webcam. Open the source properties. Come on. Come on, don't do this to me. Hide? This sucks. I hate technology. Technology was a mistake, guys. I wish he was just in the room with me. All right, let's try Discord. Yeah, let's try that. Sorry. Let's give him a call. Let's give him a hand, folks. God, I'm so bad at this. All right, 1 second. I'm gonna call. Call. Don't do this to me. Search Google. I'm not gonna search Google. I don't need directions. I can figure this out myself. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. Can you hear me here?
Good sir, can you hear me?
Oh, thank Christ on a cracker. Sorry about that, buddy. I am apparently a boomer. So let's see.
No, I should have known that. You can't use your you can't have OBS as a camera and also StreamYard as a camera.
Yeah, give me a sec. Let me add Discord as a source real quick. Window capture, add source, new source, PF Changs.
Extra pot stickers.
Hell yeah. All right, let's see. Is this it? Nope, that's not it. Pop out, pop out, pop out.
I'm also gonna try.
There it is.
Record
Done.
this on
I'm
OBS,
gonna
which
make
I
us
have.
similar sizes here because I don't want you to be bigger than me. Well, you're already bigger than me. You're more zoomed in.
Listen, nobody loves being bigger than the other person than me.
Do you work out?
No. I don't ever.
Well, I don't know. I couldn't tell, but
Just
looking at
steroids. That's
you. All right, that's a lot to do for now. Oh wow. That's my joke. I love doing that shit.
I know. I was gonna say S tier joke.
S tier.
Just leaving. Okay, hold on.
Okay, hi. I think I'm set up because everyone see. Hold on, let me just. Guys, one's in the chat. If you can hear me, hear PF Young, see both of us, and there's a chat on the screen. All right, I saw enough ones. We're good. So anyway, hi. How's it going?
Nobody loves ones more than I do. What's up? And is my volume okay?
I hear you fine. I'm assuming they can hear you fine. It's probably better than mine. Although you are using my old mic, which means you need
the
to
Blue
upgrade.
Yeti.
Yeah, apparently that's
What do you
not
use?
cool anymore. Now everyone uses the SMB 57, whatever the hell, even though it's probably the exact same sound quality. So
Interesting. My issue is my. It peaks too much.
whatever.
I'm probably just. I gotta.
Whatever your
just
issue
gotta
is that
fix
when
it
you
on
talk
the-
about your mic and touch it, it turns off and no one can hear you.
Yeah, that too. Oh, that too. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. You came back.
Okay, it's very finicky. Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, hi. I saw you on Destiny arguing about Sam Hyde, and I was super frustrated by the conversation. I was like, this guy doesn't get it. I want to say something, but I can't because I'm not there. I'm watching you on YouTube. And then I reached out. You reached back. We chatted. We set something up finally. And I've been watching a bunch of your stuff. So since Monday, I have watched 20 of your videos, which are shorter than
nice.
mine, so it's easy to get through them. I just double speed them at work. I have read your entire Substack. I like your legal politics stuff. I think it's funny. I think it is really well edited and good memes all around.
But
I hate all your ideas.
all of them, really,
95% of everything.
Dude,
and
let's
I
do
don't
this.
use
All right,
hate.
hit
Hold
me.
on. I don't use the word hate lightly. I don't hate you, by the way. This is not personal. This is not an ad hom. Maybe I don't like you once we get to know each other, but
That's fair. That's
as
fair.
what I've seen written.
Listen, this Valentine's date is starting off nicely. All right, I want it. Honesty is the best way. Honesty is the best form of communication.
You hit them blunt. You get everything out.
Amen.
And then you end up in a
Amen.
good spot. But or this is going to start a
We'll see.
300-year-long internet beef. I don't know. But let me say this: when I say
All right, hit
hate,
me.
all right, I think Michael Knowles and Matt Walsh and the Daily Wire crew are bad people. All right, I think they spread awful ideas. And when I read what they have to say, it really upsets me because I'm like, oh, you are condemning and you want to hurt the people in my life. You're not doing that for the most part, I would say. But
Yeah, well, certainly when I
you're-
push back against Michael Knowles and Matt Walsh. I do the
Yes,
opposite
yes,
of that.
exactly, because you're a enlightened centrist, which we'll get into. But let me say this, just to just paint a picture in your brain. A friend and I have been reading your Substack together, and we were yelling at each other, not because of a difference of opinion, but because of what you were saying, and because the other person was reading your words out loud. It enraged us to the point where we were yelling at each other.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah, so I think your ideas were really, really, really bad, and I've prepared a whole section of notes to go over.
Well, I'm honored.
Yes. You shouldn't be, because
This is my strategy. Just put shit out there.
No, but that's a bad
And then
strategy.
smart people.
I don't know.
Then smart people can come and critique them, and it's fun.
That's here. Well, this wasn't where I was going to start off, but this is where we'll start off. You say that you attract intellectually curious people, right?
Do I think I attract intellectually curious
I
people?
believe you've said that. You're I think people who are intellectually curious are drawn to my ideas.
I think, people who watch me, my type of videos, Destiny type videos, even your type of videos, are on a skewed end of the personality distribution.
Yes.
Yes, they'd be high in openness.
Okay. No, I see where you're coming from there. I'm approaching this, and when I say I read all your stuff and watched these videos, I was not curious about what you were saying. I was upset by what I was reading, and not like in an offended, like I'm a triggered lib kind of way, because I am one of those cringe liberal atheists that you have described in the past, but more just like,
much to my chagrin.
what the fuck are you talking about?
Okay.
So let's start off with your most recent Substack. Let's jump right into it. So you wrote this article on USA.
Well,
yeah.
Okay, we can get into that because I'd be curious. Maybe can we start with the deeper idea, just the concept of centrism, the concept of both the right and the left?
Try to sell me on it, and then I'll tell you why I think it's dumb.
I would never try to sell anything to anyone who comes out saying, "I'm enraged by the words you say." I'll tell you what I believe.
I'm frustrated by the words you say. I wouldn't say enraged so much, because even like I did say it, excuse me, but like I'm not like, grr, he just gets on my nerves. I'm just like, come on, man, come on. Like that's me every sentence I'm reading. I'm like, come on. But we'll get into this. But please, like, try to sell me on this. I'm telling you that because I'm explaining that I'm biased. All right, I'm a very biased person, and you're probably not going to change my mind. But maybe you will. Maybe you've got these great ideas.
No.
And this is your last chance to tell me that it's all a joke and you're being ironic, by the way, because then I will be like, this is hilarious. You fucking got me, masterful troll.
I have to save that for court. my basic general approach to politics or ideas in general is the correct perspective on any philosophical or political issue is arrived at by synthesizing quote unquote right-wing considerations and left-wing considerations. Like any issue, you take immigration. Well, do we want to have completely open borders? No, I'd say that's going too far. That's too far left. Do we want to have an ethno-state where no immigration occurs? No, that's going too far right. So the answer is a synthesis of both considerations.
All right, can I jump in yet, or do you want to keep talking? Because I already got problems.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so you're taking two things that are like not even in the Overton window of like what the current political climate is talking about, like Nick Fuentes and like a far left radicalist, and saying, well, both of these things I don't agree with, so I am now going to align myself in the center of the two parties, neither of which are talking about these things.
How do you define what's within the Overton window? What do you
like anything that's politically viable in any sense of the word, as in not an ethno-state and not open borders. Neither
viable over what time period? You don't think there's any chance
in the next 10 years, maybe, like in the next 5 years, like in any realistic conversation anyone's having about politics today, no one is saying, all right, guys, let's go to Congress and push our ethno-state amendment.
You don't think there's a significant right-wing ethnocentric agenda that is a serious danger at this point in politics?
To define your entire politics as centrism between these two things, which are very fringe and not being like debated on the main stage, where there are mainstream political opinions about Democrats or Republicans that come in and have like actual, abortion debates, gun control debates, like any of this stuff. It's just like, well, actually, I'm in a center because of these two fringe crazy people, regardless of how big of a percentage they are of the population or the political climate. Like, that seems insane to me. And also the idea that because these two things are, on opposite sides of the spectrum, meaning that you can thus not get into the Democrat or Republican side of that. You have to be in the middle. Like, I'm a Democrat and I disagree with both of those things. Why am I a centrist?
Okay. What are you progressive?
I'm a progressive, but I'm not pro open borders and I'm not pro ethno.
First off, I'm not a centrist. I never call myself a centrist.
You call yourself a radical centrist.
Correct. Which is very different from centrist or moderate, because moderate centrist is like someone who defends, what the kids call the neoliberal status quo, which I don't think is very good. This libertarian economics, kind of corporatist type stuff with like mild social liberalism. It's like, no, I believe that the radicals on the right and the radicals on the left have good ideas to offer, unfortunately. And what I'm trying to do is rob those good ideas from them, so all they're left with is the complete useless nonsense bullshit.
Like right, but why define yourself based on these radicals that aren't even a majority of either side of this conversation? Okay. Like, let's say this. I'm coming from this as a Democrat, right? I see a lot of crazy stuff on the left. I see a lot of crazy stuff on the right. However, I have principles that align me with what the Democratic Party advocates for. Why would I say I'm a centrist when I don't align with...
I'm not asking you to.
Well, why do you say you're a centrist?
You should not. Based on how this conversation is going, the
proverbial you. Why do you say you're a centrist? If this is how somehow like these two radical sides have pushed you into the center and not, hey, I have principles and they align with these politicians.
Okay, this is not a very controversial idea to say that it's Hegelian dialectics. It's the golden mean. It's the idea that the correct perspective lies in between two extremes.
Why?
You're not because that's just how it is.
No, you just say it's how it is. That's circular. What do you mean? Why is this the best? perspective.
Okay, hold on. Let me. If I can I get 30 seconds to frame what
Oh
I
yeah,
think is
go
the
ahead.
disagreement
Sorry.
here. Okay. Because I explained, you have the extreme right-wing position,
Mhm.
right? No immigration, ethno-state type
Mhm.
stuff, and the extreme left-wing position, which is open borders. So
Okay.
the correct answer is somewhere in between. Now, yeah, okay, you may
Okay.
say, well, that's now hold on. What you're saying is, I don't disagree with that in principle, like in some abstract philosophical sense. What you disagree with is you think that those extremes are not politically relevant at this point to warrant even having that discussion, and that I'm just out here sort of
Not just
kind
that,
of
but also that,
okay.
yes, obviously, if you don't agree with either of these radicals, no matter what, your answer is going to be in between here. But to then call that centrism as if there aren't several
I'm not
thousand
calling it.
degrees, radical
I'm not
centrism,
calling it.
whatever you want to call it,
Well,
is
but even
like,
that, the first off, those are memes. Radical center, moderate anti-centrism, enlightened centrism, radical centrism, PF Jungianism, cultural centrism. They're all just words that I put out there to describe basically the far right is insane and should be pushed back on,
mm-hmm.
and so should the far left.
Okay,
And I don't see how that's even remotely controversial. Now you would say, well,
it's
that means
not,
I
but
have no
that's a very
principles.
well, no, I wouldn't say that. But let's pivot off
Okay.
of there to okay. You say the far right should be pushed back on. One of my big sections here in my document is you platform Stephen Wolfe, and for those of you who don't know, Stephen Wolfe is a Christian nationalist.
Yes,
He is
I platformed Stephen Wolfe.
yeah. Hold on, I'll go on. I'm not saying like oh just because you did. But like you can talk to people. I'm not saying like oh just censor anyone I disagree with. You platform Stephen Wolfe, who's a Christian nationalist who writes a book about how he wants essentially a Christian ethno state. And
Yes.
your major pushbacks on him seem to be that he doesn't believe in evolution, and that
That's one.
he
That's
thinks
not the biggest one, though.
the biggest one was the idea of what makes an American. Right? Was that the biggest one, or
No.
what would you say the
The
biggest,
biggest
one
one was the fact that he believes in blasphemy laws and he's anti-free speech.
That was the biggest one for you. Okay, but you
Yeah.
you didn't push back on
that's pretty
his reluctance to admit that a black person should be considered American. You didn't push back on the fact that he's vehemently anti-gay
All right,
and
hold
says
on.
that
Stop.
queers are
Stop,
the
stop.
enemies.
Because now you're just straight lying. So
No,
so
I can
hold
show
on.
you.
Pull
I have
go
the
ahead. Pull the
timestamps.
clip.
Yeah,
Pull the
let's
clip.
pull the clip. Well, first defend yourself because first of all, if you
Pull
don't,
the clip.
I don't
Pull
think
the
you.
clip.
Okay, let's pull the clip. Let's go. I'm gonna move.
This is
you
not
away.
at all how I thought this conversation was going to go, by the way.
Yeah. By the way, if you're considering this an ambush, I'm sorry.
It feels like it.
I'm only
But this is on
presenting
YouTube.
stuff. Oh,
This
if you
is the
would
fucking nitty-gritty.
what?
This is how it works.
No. I'm saying I'm not gonna like hit you with some fucking studies to be like.
You just said what did I say? I didn't push back on the fact that he said that. What did he say?
That he was
that black
reluctant
people
to
are not
consider
Americans?
black people as Americans. Yeah.
Okay, please show me the timestamp because I was in that conversation and we went over this twice.
Mm-hmm.
And if I had a schizophrenic break in the middle of the conversation and I heard the opposite of what he said,
No, so you
good to
did.
know.
You obviously pushed back on the idea because you were
which idea?
the idea that a black person or like America
not
is
an
not just
American?
ideas. No. I don't think you think that. I'm saying that you just kind of let him pontificate about this and didn't really do anything about it.
Okay, what did he say that he said? Because
All right, I got the time.
Go ahead,
Let's
just pull
bring
the
up the
clip, just
video.
pull the
We
clip.
got it. But in the meantime, did you know that if someone refers to black people as blacks, that's like a very good consideration that he's probably a huge racist,
okay,
right?
sure. I don't believe that.
You don't think so?
No.
Do you refer to black people as blacks?
No, I refer to black people as the people I love more than any other race.
Well,
Because nobody
I
loves
also
black people more than I do.
Well, hold on. Now
pull
we got to
the
talk
clip.
about whether or not I
Pull
love
up the
black people
clip,
more than I'm
because
trying
this is
to right now.
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous that you brought this guy on who is vehemently anti-gay sex and hates gay people, and you didn't even mention this in your platforming of this person. Meanwhile, saying the far right freaks.
First, let's clear this up. Yep. First, we'll clear this up.
Hold on. Did you link to it? I have your Substack open. Did you link to it in there or no?
The conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just do it here. P.F. Young. Stephen Wolfe. Don't know how to spell his name. And the timestamp is.
Says.
Here we go. Do you have my stream open? I don't want to have to mute myself twice here, but here, let me. You have the link open, right?
I'll just YouTube your stream here.
Right, but you're gonna hear me twice. Is that okay?
I'll mute you on my end. wave
Gotcha.
when you want me to turn the volume back up. Okay.
Well, you'll hear me on the stream say turn the volume back up. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. I've got you here. All right.
Go ahead.
48:36. I believe is the time
Go ahead.
stamp. Let's go.
Which I agree with. The question is who constitutes that people? So, for example, if someone, I'm in favor of ending birthright citizenship. I think it's kind of ridiculous.
I did want to talk about that too. The whole idea of ending birthright citizenship. That's separate to that, but I don't think that's very centrist. If you feel free if you want to jump in on this. The idea you're in favor of ending birthright citizenship. That doesn't seem very centrist. It's like incredibly right wing.
Hey, let us get to the point where
Okay. We'll come back to it. We'll come back
that
to
I
it.
didn't.
All right.
Okay, it's the idea that someone just comes here as a kid, and now that they're 100% American. I mean, legally they are because of birthright citizenship, but there is a process of assimilation that I do agree takes generations potentially. Okay, but so could an American ethnicity? I agree with you. I think it should be sort of a political project to articulate and identify what the American ethnicity is. You're saying it can be it is multiracial, right? Like Black Americans, Polish Americans, and Anglo-Protestant Americans are all equally ethnically American, assuming they've been, they grew up, like if those three different genetic lineages all grew up in the same neighborhood, and went to the same kind of church, they're all still one American ethnicity, right?
This is one where I'm not 100%. I would say that blacks in America constitute an American ethnicity. I just don't think it would. I'm just not sure that would be that then white American or that white Americans would be part of the same sort of ethnicity. So I wonder if there's sub ethnicities. Because there's, and this is not due to to race, it's due to very significant cultural factors. So
sure,
I know there's some on the right who want to say, blacks are not Americans because they're black. And so I'm like, blacks have been here from the beginning. And so I think given my own theory of ethnicity, this is their place. But there is a type of I want to say ethnocentrism, but there is a type of what's the word I'm looking for? There's a clear distinction between the sort of black cultural tradition in America and pretty much everyone else.
Sure. I mean, they literally. So
I think just as an ethnographer, it'd be right to say that there is a sort of there's a difference between them and the rest.
Yes.
But not in terms of, but still fundamentally American. That would be ridiculous to deny that, I think.
Okay.
All right. So do you think that going through that, there was no alarm bells of, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Did that not raise any alarm bells in your head of wow, this guy's incredibly reluctant to call black people Americans, and he had to distinguish an entire
said that he just said they're fundamentally American. He said they're different ethnicities.
Oh yeah, he did. So if I were to ask you, hey, are black people American, what would you say?
I'd say no shit. Lamar Jackson is not an American.
Right.
What are you, an R-card?
Right. And so when you ask a Christian nationalist who has incredibly right-wing radical views, wants to create a Christian ethno-state, hey, are black people Americans? And he has a 10-minute rambling answer about how, well, I mean, I'm a little, and then by the end of it, he's like, well, yeah, but obviously they're here. So I guess it's fine. Does that not, you don't push back on that at all?
No,
it's just
because unlike you, I listened to 10 hours of interviews with this guy. And I know what his point was. And his point was he defines ethnicity. He defines ethnicity unlike the way that other people define it. He defines it as it's a combination of culture or something like that. Okay. And so when I said, that's why I said, are Irish people a different ethnicity as well? And he would say, that's what my point was. I'm a Polish immigrant. That's a different ethnicity from an American who's been, or a what do you call it, a WASP who's been here for whatever, 6, 7, 8 generations like his family was. And I was asking, do you believe, because I specifically wanted to call him on this, do you believe that black people are part of the American ethnicity or not? And that's what we got to the point about sub-ethnicities. And if you read my Substack article,
I did.
That's my whole point.
No, your point. I don't think you don't think.
American culture? Is black culture American culture?
Of course.
Okay, but I'm an American, so am I part of black culture?
You are part of American culture, which includes black culture.
But I'm not part of black culture.
I don't know. Are you? Do you listen to rock music? Do you listen to black culture? Do you participate in it?
Okay, is it racist to say that there's black culture
No.
as a thing?
Do you think that's
Okay.
what he means?
That's literally what if you listen. Did
Is
you
that
listen to the
all
whole
he means?
conversation?
You think that's all he? Yeah, no, I listened to the whole conversation. Do you think all he means is, well, black people have
I don't
different
know what
cultures?
you know what? See, this is okay. Let me hold on. I gotta calm down for this.
Sorry. By the way, it's been about a very hard week for me, and it has nothing to do with you. So
That's fair.
if I'm being a little too aggro over you, it's only because I was
That's
reading
fair.
your Substack.
Well, I'm presuming. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the last part you said.
It's only because I was reading your Substack. No, it's a lot of
fine.
stuff's going on, and you know,
Okay.
and that's fine.
That's fair. Okay. What I will say is, on this issue in particular, there's a great irony here, because I have a good friend. He's a business partner who is a black Catholic Christian nationalist.
Mm-hmm.
I told him, and me and him talk pretty regularly about
Stephen,
all kinds of topics.
Yeah, no, you mentioned him actually in your Substack. Right?
Yeah, right. And because before I think it was the day of, before I interviewed Stephen Wolf, I told him, my friend, I said, you know, I'm talking to Stephen Wolf. He goes, that guy's a fucking racist.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh shit, okay. Now I knew that he said he wants a white, and he said a white ethno state. Now I'd heard him talk about American ethnicity, and he expressed like, well, if there's in interracial marriage, you'll find problems that are not there in marriage between people of the same race. So I'd heard him talk about this, and I was like, fuck, what does he believe? Hence me bringing
Hey,
him
you just
on
cut out.
to ask
You
it.
still there? Can you guys hear him?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, you're back. Go ahead. You heard him talk about this. Was the last thing I said?
Yeah.
And-
So I brought him on to ask him directly, are black people part of the American ethnicity? And do you agree that all of the fucking freaks who say, well, we need to deport black people, or black people are not true Americans or whatever, like the Thomas Rousseau head of Patriot Front, do you agree they're wrong? And he said, and if you listen to the end,
He said, I guess black people, as I define it, as in they have a history here, and that's
Okay.
what I consider to have be an
No,
American.
okay.
That's what makes someone part of
so
a
let me ask you
country
a
is that
question.
they
So,
have a
okay,
history
so,
there.
all right. Because we're just going to be speculating on what's going on in his mind. He could be, I just told you, my black Christian nationalist friend said, this guy's racist. So, and he could very well be, and maybe he is.
Okay.
And that's why I brought him on to ask him. So are you saying that
And-
because I didn't challenge him in the way that you particularly wanted to?
Yeah, that you bring them on and
Okay,
kind of
fine. I
validate
don't give a
ideas and
shit.
say, hey,
Okay,
you know
cool.
what? Sure, that is a cool idea,
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
White
This is-
nationalist
yeah,
who wants
and
to
this is-
kick
yeah.
out everyone. Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, right.
I would say that's bad. And it's not centrist. It's very much like a, hey, I am very open to your very right-wing ideas.
Yeah, I have a very high tolerance for bullshit. And what you
Well,
just
here I am,
you
so.
just said, yeah, right. What you just said is I enabled a guy who wants to kick out white people. When I just specifically asked him, are those people who want to kick out black people freaks? He said, yeah, that's ridiculous. They're not here.
But calling
Again,
people that want
this
to
is
kick
not-
them out freaks? By the way,
Okay.
I think your biggest gripe you said was that he's
My biggest
he's
gripe
for
is-
blasphemy
is-
laws. You're a free speech absolutist. But in that same conversation, you also say, "Hey, I would be okay with deporting 1,000 Marxists and bringing in 1,000, Chinese Christians, right?" Which is,
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
was
I
that
would gladly deport. What did
is
you?
that
what
free
did you,
speech absolutist though? That
Wait, repeat what I said.
you said
What
I
did I
would
say?
gladly deport 1,000 Marxist, communist, college students to bring in 1,000.
That's not what I said. You're purposely leaving out the most important detail.
What's the detail? I might have forgotten.
I said I would gladly deport 1,000 white college
Sure,
communist
excuse me,
Marxists.
white. Yeah, sure.
Hence proving, and he's and replace them with 1,000 Chinese Christians.
Well, he didn't-
And he said,
nec-
yeah, that'd be great.
Actually, he said, "Well, I don't know. The Chinese have their own problems, but I guess," and he kind of reluctantly agreed with you.
Yeah, 1,000 Christians. Okay, I
but
don't care.
hold
This is
on.
my-
But I'm not talking about him.
No,
there.
stop.
I'm pointing at you
stop,
in this one.
Stop.
which
No,
is,
stop. Because
how
because
is
I'm not
that
going to do.
free speech
I'm not going
absolutist?
to have what happened on Destiny's thing. Stephen Wolf. I reject his beliefs about free speech.
Okay.
And I reject if he
You
is
keep cutting out. Is that
hiding
on
his
my end?
power
Okay,
level.
he's back. He's back. You're back. You're back. It's just like for seconds at a time. It might be on my end. I'm
Okay.
sorry, guys. Guys, if it's happening, someone say something in the chat so I know it's just me being stupid and let him talk, and then I'll catch the rest. But go ahead. Sorry, I don't want to keep interrupting you. I'm sorry.
Okay. Let's just get to the bottom of it. Do you think I am in favor of let's say he's right. Let's
You
say
said
he
you're
hates black
sympathetic to
people.
the idea of Christian nationalism, right? I don't think
I am
I don't
sympathetic
think
to some ideas in Christian nationalism. Like
Like which ones?
we need to have a common religious grounding in our society. And our society is fundamentally based on Christian principles. That's, in my opinion, indisputable and not at
Based
all
on Christian
controversial.
principles is very different from I think we should have a common religious value, right? Like if you say that I think all of
Okay, I'm
society
using
should
those
agree.
interchangeably. I'm using those interchangeably. Do I think we should have a
Well,
state
yeah, but
religion? No.
no, but that doesn't mean that you support Christian nationalism. That means
I
you,
don't
you,
support
you,
Christian
You
nationalism.
support ideas that come from places like the Bible, but you don't support any
All right,
sort
now,
of.
hold on 1 second. I'm going to channel my inner Jordan Peterson. I'm going to view, you're Kathy Newman right now, okay? And I have to do my best to just lean back because you're saying you support Christian nationalism. Nope, I do not support
No,
Christian
I'm saying
nationalism.
you're sympathetic to the idea of Christian nationalism.
No, I'm not.
Well,
I never
hold on.
said that
Let me
once
see what your
ever.
exact quote was because I have it here. Go ahead and say what you're going to say, though, to just whatever
I'm
your true
sympathetic
opinion is.
to some ideas in Christian nationalism. It depends on what you define by Christian nationalism.
Okay, what do you define Christian nationalism as, and what ideas are you sympathetic to?
What I just said. I think we need to recognize that Western morality is based on Christian presuppositions.
Okay, now,
The idea
now
that
what?
all men are
Why
created
do you
equal.
have to say I'm sympathetic to some ideas of Christian nationalism to say,
Maybe to
hey,
appeal to people who are Christian nationalists.
is that the best way to advocate for the idea of, hey, we shouldn't kill people? Well, it's in the Bible, so I guess I'm kind of part of these ideas I think are cool when you're associating yourself with Stephen Wolf, a guy who wants to kick out all the non-white, non-Christian people. Like, don't you see how that's kind of
Are
like
you joking?
not?
All right, hold on. I genuinely can't tell now if you're joking.
I'm not joking, but what do you?
He wants to kick out all of the black people? Did you just
No,
watch
he
the
wants to
fucking
kick
clip
out all
where I
the
asked him
non-white,
specifically?
non-Christian combined into one Venn diagram of all the everyone who is not Christian
Really? He
people.
said that? I've listened to 10 hours of his stuff. If he said that, I would have pulled that up immediately.
How do you get a white ethno state without kicking them out?
Who? Okay.
How do you get a Christian nationalist state without kicking out people who are not Christian nationalists?
Okay, this is uninteresting to me.
Yeah, I know. I watched your stream yesterday where you said, I can't believe we're talking about politics. I want to talk about something interesting, but like, okay,
Yeah,
what do you want to talk about?
something productive, like the underlying philosophy, like the underlying idea that the Western morality is based on Christian principles. That's the fundamental idea I'm sympathetic to.
Isn't that just like self-evident? Like obviously the people who founded the country
okay.
did this like
Fine,
isn't
it's
it? No, if
self-evident.
if
And
it's
anything
not,
else that's
if
not
it's
that?
not, tell me. Would
I think it
people
is self-evident. That's why I support that.
But do you support it because it is where we came from? Like that's like I support the idea that the country has evolved and has principles that I like. I like free speech. I like that we don't murder
agree
each
with all
other.
that. I agree
That's
with all
yeah,
that.
I know
I agree with
you
all
do, and that's great. But like,
What do you? How about here's a better question. Let's just do this because you're asking me to spec. Because are you asking?
I do
me
have
if
you on the
think
back
he's-
foot a lot. If you want to try to push back on stuff, go ahead.
No, I'm trying to channel Jordan Peterson right now and just laugh.
Jordan
What do you
Peterson.
think I believe?
Don't
that
cry
you-
on me. That's a Jordan
What?
Peterson thing.
What I will. What do you think I believe that you disagree with? Not like how I go about doing
Sure.
things.
Okay. The whole idea that like Brett Cooper and this like radical centrism is this way forward where we're taking
she's
the best
culturally
idea culturally centrist. Right. Obviously. Because like you're very aware. I know you're not. By the way, the reason I didn't just reject the idea of even talking to you outright is because I don't think you're stupid. Like you clearly can absorb information. You have interesting ways of talking.
Tell Destiny's fans that.
Well, don't get me wrong. I think your ideas are really stupid, but I think that you can have better ideas. I don't think you're
I think
incapable.
you're very narrow-minded
Okay,
and
that's fair.
do not recognize the importance of validating people we disagree with, even if we find some of their
I
beliefs
promise you, I
disgusting.
absolutely agree with the idea of validating certain people's beliefs in order to change their minds. I think the way that you're doing
Even
it
if they're
is-
disgusting and terrible, and some of those
Yeah.
beliefs are horrible.
I
You
think
don't-
a question you
can
ask
validate
often
the
is,
reason
do you
they
have
feel
any
a certain way.
Republican friends, right? Like if you think, Trump's a fascist, like are you friends with Republicans? And I do, and I validate their feelings, and that's how
Do you have
I'm
friends
able
who are
to reach out to them.
racist or misogynist?
Probably, yes. I don't know
Okay.
if they'd ever admit it, but yeah, and I try to push back
No,
on
do you
those
have
things.
friends that are openly racist and misogynist? 'Cause I
Openly?
do.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, absolutely.
How-
Yes.
how
That
can you
say
do
the
that?
N-word?
How can you be friends with someone who is like openly hasn't? Well, first of all, if you don't think those ideas are bad, that's a whole other story. But
I
my
think those
problem,
ideas are terrible.
but how can you put your trust and love into someone who's supposed to be your friend if they can so easily hold these ideas that as soon as they were turned against you would hurt you?
I don't necessarily put my trust in them.
They're your friends. You don't
I
trust
have-
them.
I have dumbass friends who I wouldn't trust in many situations.
Okay, well
I might
maybe
trust them-
you expend
I
your
might trust
monkey
them-
sphere far beyond what I would do.
No,
but
I might,
like-
for example, this is very interesting. Okay, now I'm certain that we are on completely different pages here.
Sure.
Not that I wasn't, not that wasn't apparent in the beginning.
Oh, sure.
I think it's like I have friends who are depressed drug users.
Okay.
They are also very racist.
Okay. Well, one of those
Is
things
the best thing
I
for me to
would-
do to every time they say something racist, just condemn them and show them how much morally superior I am?
No, the best
is
thing
it-
to do, in my
should
opinion,
I
the
do?
way that I form friends is if I think that this person holds ideas
no,
that
not
I
asking-
can't
what do you
pull
think I
them
should be
out of.
doing?
Right. If
What do you think
if
I
I
should be
don't
doing?
think you could be pulling these people out of an ideology that is incredibly harmful to people around them and would be incredibly harmful to you were they to turn it on you, I think you shouldn't be friends
Sure.
with them. I think you should cut these people off.
Okay, so is
Which
that
is
what
very-
you think I should do? You think I
That is
should
what
cut
I'm
off
telling
my
you.
friends?
I think that if your friends are
Okay, I think
vehemently
you're
racist,
delusional.
for
Okay, I think
telling
you're
you to not be
delusional.
friends with people who are vehemently racist.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. No. I just told you. I'm giving you. I have a specific friend in mind
The
who
drug
is
user one, right?
depressed and a drug user.
Is the depression
And he
causing
also
him
says the
to
N-word.
be well? Okay, wait, hold on. If he just says the N-word, if he's like, I don't know, like what the
that's not
context
racist?
is. It depends on the context. If like Louis
No, he gets
CK
like
goes,
mad and says like "fuck these N-words."
okay, so he hates black people,
Seems like it.
and you're friends with him.
Correct. Yes.
Do your black friends feel a certain way about you being friends with this person?
You think I?
Have
You
black
think I would
friends? I don't
bring?
know.
Yeah. You think I would bring the person who says the N-word around anyone?
Does it bother you?
Anyone
that
I
you
hang
can
out with?
have
Anyone,
a
not even if they're
circle of
black.
people that are like, well, I have one friend and he's a Christian nationalist, and this friend wants this friend to die, or he wants to expel this
I don't
person
think
from
he
my
never.
country.
He never. Okay.
Does that just like I? But don't get me wrong. I have very strict criteria.
Have you considered that one of the reasons I maintain the friendship is because I don't want to further isolate him?
Yes.
And when I have the opportunity to say, hey,
And this
you
is what I was
understand that
gonna
when
say.
you say the N-word, I literally will never bring you around another human being, and then that creates an incentive for him to not do that.
Does he stop? Because you just told me, do you want my idea to be that I should call him out for all of it? And I was like, well, I think you should cut him off. But is that what you do? Do you call him out every time he does it?
Not every time, but sometimes.
Okay, and has it got him to stop whatsoever?
It's certainly he's certainly much what would you say? Less racist than he used to be. That's for sure.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Good thing I didn't fucking abandon him and say,
No,
"Holy
hold on. I
superior
think I
am."
might actually agree with you. Okay, the reason I'm still friends with my Republican friends is because I think that because we have this established background, because we have this like rapport already, and then politics has kind of divided this more, I do agree. Yeah, you can pull them a little more to your side. And if that's not what you're doing with your friend, I fully support that.
Yeah.
In fact, I think you're a better person for it. I actually really appreciate that
Correct.
you are.
I think
making-
racism is a fucking disgusting.
I know
See,
that. I don't think you're racist. Let's be clear. Like
It sure feels like you do.
well, you're platforming
Because why
racist
else?
and not
You
push.
said I'm smart. You said I'm smart.
Well, hold on. I said
So I must know what I'm doing. So it must be intentional. So when you say I don't think you're racist, I don't believe you. I think you do think that.
I think that if you
You're
are racist, I don't
too
think
cowardly
you
to say
think
it.
you're racist. I think that there's a very big difference between someone who we had openly
I am
crowd.
racist. I am racist. I hate white progressives.
That's fair. I mean, I hate them
More
too.
so than any other race of
No,
progressives.
they're disgusting. Yeah, we smell bad and we look
And
disgusting.
I sort of mean that unironically.
No, that's fine. Here's
Yeah,
what I'm
so I
saying.
am racist.
No, but you got to understand when I call someone a racist, like I try to use the word not the way that most people do, where like a Robin DiAngelo DEI folks is like, well, you
Okay,
you
well, that's helpful
participate
here.
in white supremacy, so you're a racist. Versus, hey, my friend is calling black people the N-word openly and aggressively because he hates them. I would try to save it a little more for that. Maybe you have an
Yeah,
aversion
that's-
to like
No,
Cuban
that is what-
food, whatever. Like I'm not gonna call you a racist for that. Like I don't fucking know. Like you have not struck me as someone who is like explicitly.
Why do you think
racist.
I platformed someone who you think I think is a racist then?
Because you have this dumb idea that if I just listen to both sides that are the most radical, somehow
Yeah.
I can synthesize the best position
So let me ask you a
out
question.
of Christian nationalism
Yeah, yeah.
and
So my
communist open
audience-
borders.
Okay. So let me ask you this. My audience, well, a good chunk of them hate me, which I
I
appreciate.
did
but
see your most recent video. You're reading all your
yeah,
hate comments.
it's a
yeah.
long-term strategy I'm working on. It'll pay off. Don't worry.
To
But
be
the
hated.
people that do, yes, the people that do like what I have to say or do agree with me, the people who would consider themselves
radical centrists.
enlightened centrists. Yeah.
Enlightened or radical? Which one do you want me to use?
I alternate. For terminally online spaces, I like enlightened.
Okay.
For the average person, it's radical.
Okay.
And for everyone else, I'm culturally centrist.
Oh, that's the normie version, right?
Yeah, that's the normie version, exactly. A big chunk of my audience are huge free speech, like absolutists, basically, right? Like me. I mean, I am that. So I brought Stephen Wolfe, the guy who wrote The Case for Christian Nationalism, on. And before we talked about anything, the first thing we talked about was how he wants blasphemy laws. He thinks that it's okay to censor free speech if it disagrees with his Bible or his
Right.
biblical interpretation.
Okay.
Now, do you think? Now, what is the outcome of that? Do you think people who watch that go, "Oh my God, we're going to abandon all of our principles and now give up on free speech and support blasphemy"? Or do you think what I did was expose centrists, who are, of course, naturally right-leaning, to the single most dumbest fucking thing that a Christian nationalist believes, which is support of blasphemy
I think
laws?
if you go through and read
if
your
I bet-
Substack back and you think that everyone took away mostly that you vehemently disagree with him completely and not, well, I don't like what he says about free speech, but, and then a bunch of stuff about, well, I kind of do agree with all this stuff. It looks a lot
I think
worse.
that's perfectly fine. I think you can do that with anyone. I can
Look,
do that with a communist.
if you
I can do
took,
that with a Nazi, I can do that with
if
anyone.
Adolf Hitler came back from the grave today and he said, I fucking love dogs, I'm going to agree with him, but I'm not going to have him on my show, push back on a little bit of the Nazi stuff and then talk about how much I love dogs with them. For the rest of the
I'm not
thing.
taking you seriously because if you're thinking what I did is comparable to platforming Hitler.
No, it's not comparable because Hitler
I
is
agree
much,
it's
much,
not
much worse.
comparable.
But it's you're platforming a man
categorically
who,
different.
First of all, let me first
okay.
thing. So you push back on the blasphemy laws. We didn't really cover this when we talked about deporting white Marxist communist students.
Yes, and
Do you not
replacing them
think
with
that's
1,000 Chinese
do you not think that's a
Christians.
little at odds with your absolutist free speech
I
position?
think it's hilarious.
I don't care
No,
if
it's
it's
not
funny.
free speech.
Well, their speech or their opinions cause you to say,
No,
I'm
it's not
okay
because
with
they
supporting
say
them.
it's not because they say stupid shit. It's because I don't like them and they're cringy.
Okay, why don't you like them?
Bad vibes. Can't explain it.
How do you get the vibes? Is it like you just the aura when you stand next to them, or this is
Can't
what
explain
if this one's
to
just a
someone why a
joke and it's
joke is
irony?
funny.
Okay, no, if it's just a joke, but I'm saying you seem pretty serious
Everything
about
I do
the
is
idea.
just a joke.
Well, if the whole thing, then I don't have a problem.
think
with
I'm
you. This, like I said,
so
this
wait.
is a masterful troll. If this whole thing's a joke, but like I again, like it doesn't.
Yeah, well,
it seems like this is your real
okay.
persona.
Well, because I think part of the reason I lean into the joking thing is because, as I'm recognizing this conversation, some people are just not in the mood. Let's say. I think you're perfectly capable in other circumstances. I think I think you're a progressive and you hate fence-sitting moderate centrists, and they're much like Martin Luther King and
it's
many
funny.
other
I
people.
don't even hate them. I'm just upset that they're too scared to call themselves right wing when that's 99% of the time what they are.
Yeah, interesting.
It's just
Yeah.
it seems kind of silly. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
well,
you're sympathetic.
When I talk to Andrew Wilson,
Well, Andrew
he
Wilson's
says the exact same thing, except
pretty
I'm a
radical.
progressive with a speed limit.
Yeah, I know. That's what the right wing say when they talk about centrists.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they're
So-
progressive
so
with
I-
speed
so-
limits.
so if-
What's your
so a
most
bunch of
progressive
leftists
ideal? I mean,
call
you're
me-
happy Trump got elected, right? You said that in your CJ conversation.
No,
Is
I'm
that-
not happy.
You said
I'm happier that Trump won over Kamala.
Okay, we can play the semantics game. You're happy that Trump won, right?
That's a very different thing.
You're
No, I'm
happy
not happy that
Kamala
Trump won.
lost. Okay, you're not
No.
happy with Trump.
I'm not happy with Trump. No.
Okay.
I'm happier
Who is your
that
ideal
Trump won.
candidate?
Bernie Sanders, probably.
Really?
I would have voted for Bernie Sanders over Trump in a heartbeat. I voted for Jill Stein.
Well, Jill Stein is like not a serious human being. She goes into a hole for
I
4
agree.
years.
She
comes out,
had
and
no
then-
chance to win. I was trying to send a message.
To who?
But I would absolutely vote for Bernie Sanders
Okay. Why?
because I think his economic policies align more with me.
Okay.
I think he has the right attitude on the Israel-Palestine issue, which is an important issue right now.
Okay.
Those are two big ones.
Okay. Why vote for Trump over Kamala if your economic positions align with Bernie Sanders? Or why be happier that Trump won over Kamala if your economic
Because I
positions...
think he's more likely to deploy the military to the border, which is probably the most pressing issue.
Okay, so you're...
Would you like to know why I think the border is the pressing issue?
No, we can get into that, but because
Okay.
Bernie Sanders you would vote for because of his econ policies, and Kamala Harris would, in my opinion, maybe you don't agree, would put us closer to that. Obviously not close enough for what I would want, but closer. But you would vote
No, I
for
don't
Trump
think
because
so.
the
I
border
think
is
Kamala
more
Harris-
important. That I'm
I
trying
don't-
to. That wasn't me being like, oh, this is
Sure.
ridiculous. I mean, I do think it's a little
Yeah,
silly,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like,
No,
is
no,
that your
I
position?
love
Is
Bernie
that
Sanders.
immigration
I-
is more important than the econ thing?
I think Kamala would be as much of a tool of corporate interests as any other politician, and Trump.
Do you think Obama is a tool of corporate interests?
I think Obama was a continuation of the Bill Clinton sort of neoliberal economic status quo.
But he got
which I
us
disagree with.
closer to a universal healthcare system than say any right wing politician, right?
Yeah, sure, that was good. Obamacare was probably good overall. I don't know much
but
about
then
healthcare.
that's what I'm saying. You don't think like a Kamala or a Joe Biden would be pushing us in a more left wing healthcare position to what you would want
No,
with a Bernie
I don't.
thing?
I think pharmaceutical interests are pretty well entrenched, which is why the DNC kneecapped Bernie multiple times.
No, I'm not saying that obviously they have the exact same policies. I'm saying obviously one of these parties is going to be pushing us a certain way. This is what I mean when I'm like, why would you be a centrist? If you align so clearly with a Bernie Sanders on this very clear progressive left policy, why even entertain the idea?
I'm not super progressive, and I disagree with Bernie on a lot of stuff.
If you would vote for Bernie as your ideal politician, obviously not the best, but the best out of all of your options.
The ideal, like of the most realistic ones.
Okay,
my ideal
who would you vote for if it
ideal...
was your ideal? Okay, obviously it'd be yourself, right? Because they would agree with everything you would say. Right?
I'm thinking of the actual potential people that could have
right, and that's what I'm saying too. Right,
what's my ideal
for the viable candidates? Bernie
I don't
Sanders
know.
has progressive healthcare policy. You agree with this? This is why he would be the most ideal out of the viable options, and yet is immigration then obviously a more important policy to you? So why even bring up Bernie Sanders? Like if Trump, you
I think
would
Bernie
vote
would
for
have done a
Trump.
good job on the border too. He's explicitly stated open borders as a Koch brothers idea, which it is.
Okay, but Kamala Harris isn't for open borders.
I think Kamala Harris is much worse on borders than Bernie Sanders, but Trump, which is more relevant here.
Do you think Bernie Sanders would be stricter on immigration than Kamala Harris?
Yeah.
In what way?
I think so. Because he recognizes that because he's pro-working class, if you have a lot of immigrant labor that's coming here as economic refugees that competes with working class.
No, I know he recognizes
wages.
that. He talked about that in the H-1B stuff, but what would he policy-wise do to secure the border more strictly? This is what I'm saying. Like, if you agree... Okay. If Trump's immigration policy is clearly what you support more, why say that Bernie would be your ideal candidate if you seem to be more focused on the border and Trump has your border policy?
Because I think Bernie would also be able to secure the border just like Trump might, and he might not. We might be fucked no matter who's president, and be lied to no matter who's president. We're all at the whim of billionaires no matter what, it seems like. So maybe none of it matters. I don't know. But if I'm going to bet, I'd prefer Bernie over Trump, and I would have voted Bernie over Trump. But if it's Trump versus Kamala, then I guess I'm fucked, and I'll go with Trump. Actually, I didn't.
You
voted for Jill Biden once again. But I'll say
Jill Stein, right in Texas. You said,
yeah.
Did you drive?
Yes,
it was
I drove 10 minutes and paid $10 to park to cast my vote for Jill Stein, because I wanted to send a message that I think what America is doing in Palestine is disgusting, which it is.
Okay.
And I think what Trump is doing is
the Trump
beyond
stuff.
Disgusting. Yeah.
Yeah. No, obviously, like I think you've said you disagree heavily with his whole like let's invade Gaza and turn it into my real estate strip.
Yeah, that's
right?
an understatement. I do disagree heavily.
With that.
But I'm a centrist, so maybe I should support him because I'm really right wing and I just agree with whatever Trump says.
Well.
Oh, wait.
Well, yeah, but again, you're still preferring him over Kamala, who wouldn't do that. So I'm a little confused as to why.
I don't know. I have no idea what Kamala would do, given that Kamala and Biden did absolutely nothing. There's no reason to believe.
You think Kamala would invade with
how do we know?
How
How do we prove it? Is it counterfactual or unfalsifiable?
You think it's unfalsifiable to say, well, just because Trump did this radical thing, I don't know that Kamala wouldn't have done this incredibly radical thing that everyone, even including his own administration, is freaked out by. I'm not
saying that Kamala would have done the exact same thing. I'm saying Kamala would have done exactly the same amount of nothing to stop Israel from doing what it's doing.
One is full deep-throated support of Netanyahu, and the other
I don't
is
know
bullshit. Well, here's my red line. Okay. Like, I'm not saying that what she did was playing hardball. It clearly wasn't. But like, these are very obviously different policies.
Let Netanyahu do whatever the fuck he wanted. Well, Biden did because she wasn't in charge.
Well, do you think Netanyahu wants to kick every Palestinian out because she's not? I don't know if.
Yeah, I do. I think he wants.
And Trump is saying, not only am I going to let you do it,
just to be clear,
I'm going to do it and help you do it.
For the record, I think Netanyahu is far worse than Stephen Wolf. I hope that's not controversial here.
That's probably true, honestly. Yeah. No.
Right.
Hey, so I like that. Thank you for fighting.
And if I had the opportunity to talk to Benjamin Netanyahu, I think I would.
And I
actually
no,
I wouldn't. I'd be assassinated immediately. So no, that'd be terrible.
You don't think you'd push back on him heavily, though?
Okay,
right?
we seem to agree far more than you let on at the beginning.
No, we super don't. I think one thing that we've agreed on.
I've yet to hear what we actually disagree about substantially.
Your entire ideology, first of all, but we don't have to walk in circles.
I've yet to hear what specifically. It sounds like we agree that. You shouldn't
hold
isolate people
on.
who are racist.
Let me be very clear. Your idea is my ideal ranking for border policy is Trump, then Bernie, and then Kamala, as if like Bernie would not be.
I don't even know. First off, I don't know what Bernie never had to articulate his border policy because they've got fucking kneecapped. So thank you, Democrats. Thank you, Soy Pill, for shilling one-sided, vote blue no matter who, because don't be a centrist. So thank you for that, for taking out Bernie. If Bernie had articulated his border policy, I would have been able to look at it. I don't know.
Bernie has articulated
first
border,
off, I also
border
disagree.
policy
I don't.
before.
I
I don't
don't.
know it off the top of my head, but he's absolutely talked about it.
He's talked about what?
Bernie Sanders has absolutely talked about what we should do at the border. I guarantee it.
Yes, and okay, yes, and what I've heard, although I don't know what his specific, like, he didn't have a bullet point policies down because he didn't need one because he wasn't running.
Right, he didn't have
against
to. Well,
open borders.
he would talk
Now,
about it when someone passed him.
I'm against Trump's deportations.
Really?
I think that's stupid.
But you're against birthright citizenship. But you're against the deportations?
Okay, first off, those are two completely different things. So let's stick with one thing first.
They're pretty ideologically aligned, but okay.
Let's stick with one thing first.
Let's go through each one. Yeah.
I'm against the deportations.
Okay, why?
I think they're inhumane. What are you going to just knock down some grandma's door? You're going to cause all kinds of civil rights violations. I think it makes much more sense to say, if you've made it here so far, okay, well, that's kind of fucked that you broke our laws, but fine. We're going to deploy the military to the border, and we're basically putting a moratorium for like a year on immigrant. No, not a single other person crosses the border.
Okay, and then deal with the process, the people that are in the country.
Yes, and then we say, okay, there's a whole,
thing.
There's a ton of people. We need to give them, and I'm even like, this could be a decades. It wouldn't be a moratorium for decades, but it would be severely restricted for decades, which we've done historically. We say, let's give everyone here time to assimilate, and also figure out if there's any fucking terrorists like over the border. Because my main fucking problem is the fact that we have an open border puts us at is probably the single biggest national security risk we face. Okay, we know that, for example, there are Chinese nationals who have come over the border that we barely fucking track or lose track of. We lost track of, I think it was 50,000 children or more.
I think,
or like
the numbers I hear from Republicans are hundreds of thousands, but I've never.
Okay, well that's probably well maybe I'm underestimating it. Okay, but whatever. You understand that there's a possibility we go to war with China over Taiwan, right? That's not completely out of the question.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm China, and I know that the United States has an open border, unless I am truly schizophrenic and everyone in the CCP all collectively did heroin at the same time during the military strategy meeting, the number one thing I would do, and Iran would do this as well because Iran funds proxies, is send specially trained operatives to the fucking Darien Gap and come up through our exposed border. And then, in the event of a war with China, you ever walked by a substation? You ever seen how fucking exposed those things are? A substation.
What's a substation?
Substation is where power from generators are, I believe the term is, it's something like decompressed. You have very high voltage power lines.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And before it can go into you're in my house, it has to go through a substation.
Yes, I've walked
past
a little
like 50 square yard thing with all kinds of shit. If that goes out, the power's out for the entire chunk of the power grid. Okay, so you have one coordinated attack on those, which is easy as fuck to do. You can take them out with guns or get a propane bomb and blow them up.
Okay.
The idea that that is out of the realm of possibility is delusional.
Well, I don't even think. First of all, hold on. You said they know we have open borders, which I don't think that's true. But let me just start on what you just said. I know that's true because that's literally happened, right? People have done like attacks in the past 4 or 5 years. They like have shot those up or something and had caused power outages. Yeah, 100%.
Uncoordinated.
100%. Yeah, of course that's happened. But to say that my primary and most important issue is I'm going to vote for Donald Trump, who will do this thing that I think is incredibly inhumane and terrible, but he will maybe secure the border in a way that will prevent potential subversive Chinese or Iranian nationals coming into the country and doing this potential attack for a war that hasn't happened yet. Seems a little bit of a stretch for why you would
phrase it like when you phrase it like that. It does seem
when I say your whole position out loud,
in the most charitable way.
Well, it's not charitable, but that's what I just heard. What about that do you disagree with?
I think that the threat of coordinated attacks coming from people that made it through the border, I think anyone who thinks that isn't a possibility.
I didn't say it wasn't a possibility, but how likely do you think that is? And how,
well, I don't know. Well,
how much more important is that to you than
let's use common sense. Let's use common sense.
I hate that word. What's common sense, man?
Let's do the probability. What do you think what is the probability that China has explicitly thought about doing this and said
100%?
Okay, well now what is the probability that they've executed on this?
That they've already done it? Or that
there are Chinese nationals here. Yep,
Okay.
given that the CCP
Let's just say there's
knows that
100%.
they're
Let's say,
gearing up
I'll
for
give
war
you,
with
hold
Taiwan.
on. Let me skip all
Okay.
this. I think they've thought about this. They probably have people in our country. There are definitely
Okay.
spies in here, and this is definitely part
Yep.
of something they've considered. Sure.
Yeah.
Now, what you have to consider is now what percentage of whether or not this turns the tide of the war do you think is going to be like the oh well, just because this
I'm
happened
not concerned
now,
about the tide of the
fuck
war.
the entire
I'm concerned. Yeah. No, I'm concerned about my power going out for multiple months on end and then dying because I'm fucking like you, a soy, and I would immediately die in the event of an extended power
Okay,
outage.
so your number one issue, and I'm going to try to say this charitably, is that
Okay, this
because
will be a
of
good test.
Kamala Harris' not as strict border policy, there is more opportunity, if not a greater opportunity, for Chinese and Iranian nationals to come across the border, get lost in the system, and then have now plans to execute a power shutdown of the country by shooting these substations or
Coordinated
blowing them
attacks
up,
on
or what a
infrastructure.
coordinated attacks on American infrastructure,
Yep.
and taking out your power, causing you to die because of lack of logistics, groceries, heating.
Panic attack. It'd just be an extended panic attack, probably.
Oh yeah, just I'm so startled by the fact that the Chinese are here now. The Chinese panic.
Yeah.
That's your number one issue.
Number one issue in what? Politically?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't call it my number one issue. There's like 50 different issues.
But you are happier
AGI will
that
kill us all, probably.
Trump won over Kamala because of this issue. You think this is like the most prescient,
I think if I were to
important thing to
rank
happen.
order federal policies, I think immigration, I think the border policy is among the most important ones domestically. Yeah, probably.
because of the potential Chinese attacks on
Because
our
of-
substations.
Yes, among other things. Does that sound somewhat paranoid to you?
Incredibly paranoid. I'm not saying it's
Let's see.
impossible.
Well, but that's because this is the war that I always fight in myself. Is like, wait a minute, I live in the 21st century. I'm rich. I have iPhones. I've never struggled like
You
anyone
cut
in
out
the
again.
world.
God damn it. I'm sorry. I think it's when you touch the back of your mic. I
I
don't know.
think you're right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna not do that.
Sorry about that.
The reason,
By the way, do you consider that a centrist position, just off the top of your head?
it's my position. I don't know. I don't care. I don't care enough to call it a centrist.
Well, you
position.
call yourself a radical centrist. Like,
Yeah,
here's
but
the
no,
thing.
I really am
Again,
anti-centrist.
this is
I flex in and out when it's useful to me.
Clearly, I mean, this is what I'm saying is like if you were just like, hey, I'm like a conspiracy theorist, I take some ideas from the left, but I don't think I'm a centrist because I fall squarely on the side of immigration is my number one policy because I'm scared
What should
of the
I say?
Chinese.
What label should I call myself?
Not centrist. Jesus Christ, I don't know. I would put you
Well,
somewhere.
what's
in
it?
the
What's
right.
a label that? What if you were like? I'm being honest. This is a serious question.
No,
Like,
I know.
okay, maybe
And to be
centrism
fair,
is
I don't
wrong.
know
And
what
given
label
that-
I would give you, but I don't think centrist is the right one. I mean,
Okay, well, that's very helpful. If you offer me an alternative, should I call myself progressive?
guys, chat. This is the first time I'm going to talk to chat. Guys, hit me up with some better contenders for what you would categorize this. Libertarian conspiracist. I don't think you're a libertarian, right? Not at all in
No,
economics.
the only person dumber than a socialist is a libertarian.
I could agree with the fact that libertarians are dumb. All right, everyone's just being mean now. All right, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't have a label for it, but I just don't think this is a centrist position. But you were saying
Okay,
before you got really
fine.
interrupted by your own mic.
Yeah, well, I think it is kind of paranoid, but I go back and forth. Am I paranoid or am I just unbelievably arrogant to think that for the rest of my life I will never suffer serious civil societal chaos, even though the entire history of humanity is characterized by that, even though there are millions upon millions upon millions of people as we speak who are suffering that, but because I'm an American and because I've never personally experienced it in my 28 years, it probably will never happen. I go back and forth. I'm either paranoid or I'm arrogant. I'm probably both.
I'm confused about the arrogant part. I mean, I don't think you're insane to
Why
think
would
this
you-
is a possibility. Because
then-
obviously it could be. Like this
Okay,
has
but
literally
why-
happened, right? It's not about like, oh, whether or not this is like it's possible that a Chinese person from the military came in and could do this. Yes,
It's not
could
just.
be.
It's not just.
but-
I'm not specifically like. Well, it's a Chinese person who came in and shoots at the substation
coordinated
nearby.
Chinese attack to disrupt the American
Or
infrastructure.
even just
sure.
an Iranian cyber attack.
Or that, yes. Yeah, like obviously these are possibilities, but to dictate
Yeah.
the way that you are happy about the outcome of the election based on what probability you think this is actually going to happen, like this is not what most people would consider, first of all, culturally, radically, or enlightened centrists, but just in the realm of any possibility. Like, not a single politician is talking about this as like, this is the reason we have to do this. They are talking
that's not
about,
true.
well, yeah, they are talking about,
Grid
hey, there are,
resiliency is actually one of the most like popular talking points, and I actually happen to know that in Dallas, the city I'm on, they're working on grid resiliency projects because they recognize how much of a problem
and
this is.
let me take that back. Obviously, they are saying like, hey, MS-13, all these foreign nationals are coming across the border. We don't know who they are. Yeah. They're saying this, but it's very baffling to me that this is like your number one policy, especially if you would otherwise vote for Bernie Sanders.
Well, maybe I'm slightly more anxious. Maybe I'm much more anxious than you are.
This is I have a section on here on conspiracy theories. Okay, you wrote the Substack article on. Let me shrink this down a little bit so I can click on this little buddy here. This is the one on the Cybertruck explosion. You remember that one, right? This happened very recently.
Explosion or the guy running the truck into the crowd?
The guy that was outside of the Trump Tower. Do you want me to just link you your Substack? Here.
Oh, is that the one with the passport that was intact or whatever?
That is the one with the passport, the ID that was intact.
Yeah.
So what about...
What did I say on that?
Well, hold on. It's going to freeze the video when I click on this because the way this works. Let me see if I can open your Discord in the side window. Do that. So move your face around so I can see if you're actually moving. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, where do I grab this? Oh, God, this Discord is so stupid. It like permanently puts itself in the top overlay. All right, so... yeah, so your idea is the Cybertruck exploded, and the conspiracy is, well, how, if his body was like unidentifiable, did his ID survive?
Michael, I think it was
Michael Shermer. Yes, exactly. Yeah. You quoted Michael Shermer.
Do you know who that is?
I barely looked into him, not very much, but he's like, I think you say I know what you say he is, which is he's like vehemently anti-conspiracist.
Yeah,
so like if he's saying
then I think he runs Skeptic magazine.
Okay, wait.
Which, as we all know, if you call yourself a skeptic, it means you're a skeptic. But
a skeptic, as in skeptic of the narrative from the government, or skeptic of...
No, as in skeptic of conspiracy theories and stuff like that. Like their whole thing is debunking conspiracy theories.
Okay, so I didn't look into the Fort Bragg stuff or any of this stuff.
Okay.
But what I'm really confused about here is, you think it's impossible for this, or not impossible, more likely for this plastic ID to not have been burned, to have been completely incinerated, than it is that there's this vast conspiracy out of Fort Bragg to like train these operatives into committing terrorist attacks or subvert their government or cause sorts of like, social chaos. Like, is it not just completely Occam's razor within the realm of possibility that this thing just didn't get incinerated in an explosion?
Yeah, of course. Totally.
Okay, well, why did you make a whole post about it then?
Because Michael Shermer was concerned, and I was like, fuck, if Michael Shermer is concerned about this.
But
it's my heuristic.
So it's just like,
when my doctor prescribes me medicine, you go, well, how do you know that the medicine works? I'm like, well, because the doctor said it does, and that's as good as I'm going to get.
Right.
And if the guy whose whole job is to debunk conspiracies, even ones that I think he's wrong about, and he says, like, what the fuck's going on here? I go, kind of interesting, everyone.
But that's it. It's just like, oh, well, this is my litmus test usually, but he seems a little skeptical, therefore now I'm a little skeptical. If Michael Shermer hadn't said this, would you not think, well, this is kind of a... Okay. But now let's take Michael Shermer, but let's remove Michael Shermer from the equation. Do you not think it's kind of stupid to think that, hey, maybe this ID just didn't get incinerated? Like maybe whatever this material is doesn't burn. Well, now you know, right? Okay, now you see this piece of plastic ID, this government ID, and it's a little singe from a Cybertruck explosion.
You know what? I should follow up with what Michael Shermer's found out about it.
I'm just saying.
Do you have a problem? Hold on. Do you have a problem with me using other people as heuristics and saying...
Yeah, if what they say is stupid. If what they say is just like a very... Like, if I can think about it for 5 seconds and be like, well, that doesn't really point to a conspiracy.
But why do you think Michael... Right, okay, so why did Michael Shermer say that? Do you think Michael Shermer's stupid?
It's just based on all of what I know about him, which is this tweet, yeah, but maybe he has some other smart ideas.
Okay, then respectfully, I do not take your opinion on this issue seriously.
Okay, fair enough. Can we talk about U.S. aid? That was your most recent article.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so... You
mean
said...
U.S. AIDS? Because it's so fucking gay?
Got it. I hate that made me laugh. God damn you. Like that wasn't a joke. I did laugh. You said we could cut 20 billion safely. And I took issue with your article.
No, I say we could probably cut whatever Mike Benz suggested, which was more than 50%.
Right. Why do you hold Mike Benz in high regard?
It's a good question. I wrote about it in the Substack article. Why don't you tell me what I wrote, given that you're bringing this up?
You said, well, Mike Benz is kind of pro. You could even consider him pro, like, to the establishment. He thinks USAID, even in and of itself, isn't a bad idea. He actually defended kind of the institution of USAID, and then he talks about the problems with it. So you're saying because he gives credence to the idea that it should exist, he's obviously not someone who wants to delete it like Elon Musk or Donald Trump. Therefore, we should...
Yeah, it's actually a pretty when someone goes on a platform that is favorable to them and they exercise restraint and they even try to steelman the other side, that's generally a sign of, okay, this person is, to me, that's
at least good faith. He's like trying.
Incredible. And then and I listened to the Joe Rogan one and
the Tucker Carlson
one, and he endlessly cites examples of ridiculous stuff that I would consider waste, fraud, and abuse.
Right. And you put some of these in here. Let's see. Let me go through. I got to drag this on the other side. Give me a second.
It was, I know the one off the top of my head. It's $1.5 million for Serbian DEI.
Okay.
What? In the workplace.
What's your problem with that? Like, just offhand.
That money should go to Americans.
So this is like a zero-sum game thing. We can't give out foreign aid because if it's for something I disagree with, it should go to us.
Are you asking if the allocation of dollars is a zero-sum game? Yes, by definition it is.
Right, but it seems as if, we can't give anything to anyone until we solve all of our problems. This is like, if anything, that's kind of something you reject, right? Like the whole Peterson clean your room thing.
Yep, I didn't say that, and neither did Mike Benz.
Okay, but you just said we can't do this because it should go to Americans.
Yeah,
right?
I said I think here's what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there are probably at least 5, maybe 10 other ways that $1.5 million could be spent in the United States.
Wait, is it million or billion?
1.5 million.
That's it?
That's it.
That's like nothing.
I know. And you know what? During the housing crisis, well, hold on. There's one house that foreclosed? It's just one. What happens when you take a bunch of small things that are shit and then put them together?
Well, let's talk about just the Serbian DEI thing. What's your issue with Serbian DEI? You know, like Serbia had an entire ethnic cleansing of people because of their like lack of.
You're very good. You watch Destiny? Do you notice what you just did to me right now?
No, I actually don't. But I have watched Destiny. I haven't been really interested in it
I picked this specific narrow example so we could focus the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, but that's such a small example. And then you said, well, let's just stick to this small example.
Sorry. Okay.
Very crafty.
I know. I wasn't trying to be crafty.
It's unconscious.
But I see what happened there. Okay, look. Let's talk about the specific issue with this.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's not a big deal, as insofar as I think I support what this is promoting, but I also would acknowledge that this is not a very large amount of money, and it's not something to be upset about. Sure. This is a rounding error on our discretionary spending.
Let's do this.
Let's start with just the Serbian DEI, and then move on from there.
But let me address the second point to make this conversation more fruitful, because I'm using this as a proxy.
Yeah, obviously, yes.
For let's say there's 10,000 other programs like this that are of the equivalent. There's like 70,000 for Irish opera to promote DEI.
Transcomic.
So when you add up all that stuff, so we'll just stick with that one.
Okay.
And according to Mike Benz, there's like billions upon billions when you add these up.
Yeah, no,
right?
it's upwards of 40 billion.
So
the only reason that this humanitarian aid is no longer the first thing is because governance has taken over in the past 2 years because we're giving money to Ukraine, right? So like this used to be the majority of what we spent it on, and you might not consider that humanitarian aid, but this is the reason I want to pick this example apart is because Serbian DEI program, as in like, hey, promoting acceptance of people who are different. In this case, I think it was LGBT people in a country that, as of the past 20 years, 30 years, I think that's committed a genocide against
that
people.
It would be a good cause. But
right.
What you have to justify to me is instead of giving $1.5 million to, for example, community activists in the south side of Chicago that teach underprivileged youth technical and trade skills, we're going to instead give that money to Serbian DEI programs.
But
I'd say no.
Why is it an instead? Why is it an either or thing?
Because there's. Do you think you can just print money infinitely?
Well, we can, but that's I know where you're going with that. I don't agree with just printing money infinitely, but is it the idea that we're not funding?
Let's operate under the assumption. We're We're an organization. We're a government organization, whatever. We're a household. We're a
well, if you're about to present a dichotomy between one or the other, obviously, yeah, I would actually support.
It is.
But it's not, because we can do both of those things. First of all, I think if it was an inner city underprivileged thing, maybe that gets federal funding, but it would probably come from the state, and the state would vote on that. And I would say, why not do both of these things?
Give it to the state?
Huh? No,
Okay.
no, the state
yes
would
or
be.
No. Yeah, hold on. Because either we're having this conversation or not.
Okay.
Do you believe that when it comes to allocating U.S. tax dollars, there is a fixed pool per year,
Yes.
or there isn't?
Yes,
Okay.
obviously
So
there
it is a
is.
zero-sum game now.
Okay,
So we
it's
admit
a
it's a
zero-sum
zero-sum
game,
game.
but if I could give 1.5 million to a foreign country to promote them, ideas, oppressive ideas that might prevent them from doing another genocide that causes us to do a military intervention, and I can use some of the other billions, if not trillions, of dollars of discretionary spending.
No.
1.001% of that to do it to inner city things. Why not both of these things? Like, because you're going to say we have to add all these up, and it's what, less than 1% of our entire budget to foreign aid. Therefore, we should cut all of that. And then, first of all, if you're supporting the party that's cutting all that, there's cutting all that, and then they're not going to do all those things you talked about. They're not going to give it to veterans. They're not going to give it to inner city black technical schools. They're just going to cut it and then pass tax cuts. So,
Okay. This is now we agreed on the conversation, and then we just change it again.
sorry, I'll stop pontificating. Go.
Okay. I don't like Elon Musk, and I don't like what they're doing.
Well, you think cutting U.S. aid is good vibes? I believe is the quote.
Yes, I think more than half of U.S. aid could probably be cut.
Based on what?
Based on what Mike Benz outlined. And like
Okay.
we just said, we're using the $1.5 million Serbian DEI discussion as a proxy for all things like that, which add up to billions of dollars.
Okay, so if
So we're putting all of those things in the same category. Transgender opera, whatever it is, Serbian DEI, all of that adds up to several billion.
tuberculosis shots in Africa.
No, not that. That's
cut
not
that.
the 50% that I want to cut. No,
Okay.
that's why I said 50%, not 100%.
Okay, well, they are cutting 100%. Or it seems like they're just shutting it off and freezing it.
Actually, I
So-
don't think they're cutting anything right now because they don't have the legal authority to do it.
Well, that's not going to stop them. But they're freezing it and ignoring judge orders.
Maybe.
So, okay, but that's a different conversation. Whether or not you support that.
You asked me why do I think that more than 50% of U.S. aid could be cut?
Because this guy said that, and then the examples he cites are things you slightly disagree with, and then you think it's a zero-sum game. As
No,
in
they're
that
not
should
things I
be.
slightly disagree with. I think that there are, if we're going to spend that money, because maybe you can make the case that we should just lower people's taxes, right? Or increase the child tax credit, which I'm in favor of. Instead of that, instead of giving it to Serbian workplaces to run DEI programs, which, by the way, have no evidence of being effective. I was on DEI program design teams in corporate America. I know for a fact they're fucking worthless.
Well, it might be.
There are variations of them that are explicitly designed to rectify what other DEI programs that didn't work, the issues that those caused. Like Robin DiAngelo's DEI, zero evidence whatsoever that improves anything.
I
at
mean,
all.
by her own metric, she probably admits that people are very recalcitrant when you.
There you go.
Yell
So
at
then
them.
there are
Sure.
DEI programs that call themselves DEI that are like, they're called bandages for that shit, where they come in and they give a pro-human approach. But I'm talking about DEI programs in Serbian work. I would say, even if they did work,
Right.
would it be good to reduce that?
I thought we
Sure,
were
let's
already
just make
on
that
that.
assumption.
I thought we were
Fine,
already
let's make
on
that
that
assumption.
page that you like,
Fine,
assuming
let's
it does what it's saying it does.
let's
Like,
make that assumption.
if it was a bad program and you could measurably show that, I would agree with cutting it. By
Sure.
the way, I'm
That's
not
part
like
of
some.
why I believe it. But for sake of argument, let's say it works.
Right.
I
Well, that's
think-
where we're. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I think those tax dollars are better put in the example I gave. So if you're
Yeah, but we're not doing that. So like, why support
Okay.
cutting the U.S. aid?
Well, first off, I don't know what it's gonna be used for. And
Well,
first
why
off,
not? Look,
correct me if I'm wrong,
read
hasn't
go
Trump
read the
raised
budget
child
plan.
tax credit?
That I don't know about. I would have to go look and see if he did.
Okay.
I don't think he has.
And I
yet,
know
but-
he was him and Tim Scott put the most amount of money in the opportunity zones, which had one of the biggest impacts on black communities.
Mhm. And I'm saying.
So is there
do you
reason
think
to
that?
believe?
Go ahead.
Is there reason to believe that money could go away from something that I regard as not a good use of resources when compared to where else it could be spent? Now you're saying, well, Paul, you don't know that it will be spent on other areas, therefore we have to leave it. I'd say no.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that first of all, it's not. That's not what's happening. We're not. Let's just let's say it's what. Let's make it a
fucking
very round
hate
number.
Elon
$50
Musk
billion.
and I hate Donald Trump when it comes
But then
down
why
to
are
it.
you
I
writing
really do.
articles running defense for them cutting U.S. aid?
Because that's what I believe is true. U.S. aid could probably be cut by 20%, and we'd be better off.
when you say
that.
we'd be better off, do you think that okay, obviously it's a zero-sum game. I'm not disagreeing with that. Do you think that the less than 1% of our discretionary budget that goes to US aid, that promotes our soft power across the world so that we don't have to go in and use our military, is not somehow, by preventing that, we're somehow like preventing us from getting all these programs that you're
Yeah, okay,
advocating
well,
for?
let me, so, and fair enough, your point that, well, we're like, I'm supporting and cutting these things, but I don't know that it's going anywhere else, so why cut it? It's like, okay, if I knew for a fact it wasn't going to go, it was just going to go to like capital gains tax cuts,
No,
then I'd say
not
fuck
even
it,
that.
fine.
I
Keep it in
agree with
Serbia.
what you're
Fuck the
saying is that's my position, but not even that. Just the idea that like this very small amount of our budget is somehow like, oh, we definitely need to cut half of this because I ideologically disagree with what half of this is, and that's because also we need money for this other stuff. It would be better spent in America, as if there isn't a 99% of the other budget that we could be spending in that exists, like as if this isn't like a rounding error on stuff that is probably promoting our soft power everywhere. Like this is such a nitty-gritty to get into. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. There's a separate discussion, which I would say I don't really know enough to have. By the way, I don't have. I need to do better at picking what I think it's worth talking about, because I've learned after having done many streams and talking to many Destiny fans that I truly am ignorant on foreign policy things.
But I am too.
Now,
I wouldn't say that I'm some
expert. So we
can
have a discussion about, well, I actually think that, there's, for example, a lot of countries hate USAID. The left-wing president of Mexico said, good, USAID should be shut down, and that money should come through more transparent humanitarian channels, was, I think, her exact quote, or something like that. I go, yeah, let's do that. Because I think that the CIA and the State Department doing all these, well, we're the American empire, and we're, trying to manipulate governments so that we can produce, or we can get them to put military bases in the places we want so then we can access shipping lanes. It's like, my opinion, even though I wouldn't die on this hill and I wouldn't defend this and I don't ever make videos about this, would be, I'm very sympathetic to the idea that we actually cause more harm than good with our meddling in all these countries. But I am open to the fact that I could be wrong about that. And actually, and again, to steelman USAID, well, why did we spend $70,000 on a transgender opera? What Mike Benz clearly stated was, it's not about like promoting transgenderism or whatever. It's that I think the example was Bangladesh. We wanted to put a military base in Bangladesh so we could secure shipping lanes around there, but the government didn't want to. So what did we do? We needed to overthrow that government or get regime change in so that there would be a more favorable government to allow us to build a military base.
If you want to make the argument that promoting America, well, I'm going to agree. You don't even have to.
Let me make the point, because
let
me make the point for your audience and mine, because I do a bad job of articulating facts because I'm the vibes guy. The reason we spent that money on the transgender opera thing or whatever was because people who are left wing were in the opposition government. So they wanted to rally people who were left wing to overthrow the government so we could put a military base there so we could secure shipping lanes.
Yeah,
so
it's about promoting U.S. interests. It's not about, well, these people are starving, let's go help them. It's, if I help these starving people, will they give me something back?
Yes, and the right-wingers are wrong, because it's not even about like, oh my God, the USAID is, they're funding transgender people just to get more transgender people in the world. It's like, A, that's not how it works, but B, like that's not even what it's happening. It's literally a cynical U.S. foreign policy thing. Okay. Now, if I were a right-winger, I would just beat look at that, 70,000 to a USAID or USAID to transgender thing and just play the media game. But I don't believe in doing that.
And I understand that. But I guess this is my then issue with your being a radical centrist on this issue is right now, there's one party that is advocating for completely dismantling this in its entirety, which is going to cause a lot of deaths, already has caused a lot of deaths, caused a bunch of starvation in places. And regardless of why we do this and what is actually happening, the material outcomes is people need this medicine, people need this food, people need this whatever. There is some stuff that maybe you and I could both agree on is wasteful, but one party is saying, let's fucking gut this because it's stupid and I want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And we can get into conspiracies about the fact that USAID was investigating Elon Musk's involvement with Starlink and all that, but maybe that's not why.
I don't even know anything about that.
I don't know enough about it to say it's even valid. The point is,
okay,
you're taking the centrist position between, hey, I think that we should keep this, and maybe this has some fraud and waste in it, and let's delete this entirely. Do you not see how like that is kind of...
I'll tell you again what I said and what I believe. I agree with Mike Benz's diagnosis that he thinks, and he's researched this more than anyone, as far as I know, and he's reliable for the reasons I gave. And he's the one that gave me the example of how
he's like a white nationalist, though, right?
Okay. Have you seen my haircut?
Well, no, I mean like literally, he's like, hey, we should.
He looks like a white nationalist, or he is a white
He,
nationalist?
here, I have sources for this. Here, let me hand them to you real quick.
Oh, he's a white nationalist?
Mike Pence, yeah.
Well, now I like him even better.
See, there's like when I would say something like that, I'd be like, I'm joking. But for you, I'm like, I mean, I don't think you're a white
Yeah, it's called-
nationalist, but like,
I know. Yeah, and I purposely am leaving it ambiguous because I'm sick
wait,
of
why? Why
dealing
would you
with
not
it.
want to know?
Because
Look,
it's a better way to deal with
everyone
stupid
calls me a
people.
lib cuck soy boy, and I'm not going to be like, oh, you know what? Fuck it,
You
I'm
ever
going to
watch, do you know who
embrace.
J-Reg is? Do you know who J-Reg is?
Yeah, we talk. Me and J-Reg talk. I watched your conversation
do?
with him. Yeah.
Okay, well, I've learned a lot from J-Reg.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna link you this NBC article in Discord. This is about Michael Benz and his alt-right persona online and how he's like literally a fucking white nationalist person. But I mean, hey, you can like not agree with this or think it's an invalid source. I just
What
defer
did
to this
you
person as like,
based
hey,
on
well,
based on your research and based on whatever this article says, what you put a probability? What is the probability that he is a like white supremacist?
it depends on how you use that term. Can I just read you a little of this article?
Sure.
So, okay, so this is a pseudonym Frame Game. Frame Game posted videos, participated in podcasts and live streams during the rise of the alt-right following Donald Trump's election. Frame Game avoided showing his face in his videos or appearances, during which he pushed a variety of far-right narratives, including the Great Replacement Theory, that posits the white race is being eradicated in America for politics and profit. In others, Frame Game said he was a white identitarian, rallied against the idea of diversity, and made montages urging white viewers to unite under the banner of race. In interviews with white nationalists, Frame Game blamed Jews for controlling the media and for the decline of the white race. If you were to remove the Jewish influence on the West, he said in one video, white people would not face the threat of white genocide that they currently do. That sounds pretty white supremacist, white nationalist to me. I know you're
Mike Pence. Does that change any of the facts around what he reported on USAID?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I would trust him less about it. I think clearly he's got a white identitarian agenda, and I wouldn't necessarily use him as my source for my entire position on USAID.
This is a very
especially when like okay. Here's the thing. When you say
no, can I make this point? Can I make this point?
Well,
can I make this point?
Sure.
This is a fundamental intuition that we appear not to share. Because I, for example, have absolutely zero issue whatsoever taking Destiny's word on a lot of things.
Okay.
Are you aware that Destiny is
a sex pest?
Terrible fucking person?
Yeah.
By all appearances?
Yeah, but
okay,
I don't think
that
being a sex pest
on whether or not I think the facts that he presents at any given time are facts or not.
Yeah,
do I think that
well,
does it cause me to regard him with skepticism? Yeah.
Two things. One, when you get too close, I think you're past your mic. It like echoes off your monitor, so just don't put your mouth like past the pop filter. Second thing, yeah, Destiny's a horrible person, sex pest, right? If he were to start talking about, revenge porn laws or any of the things that he's been involved in, I would take that with a little bit more skepticism. And when someone is involved with our aid being given out to DEI programs or any or other programs that might promote something that the right wing, like you said, is like, oh, it's trans, oh, it's minorities, whatever, and he's a white identitarian, I would take into a question how he categorizes that money and whether or not it's wasteful. And
and I would go,
the other
I'm
thing
need
is,
to double check all the facts that he cites. Oh wait, I did.
I wouldn't write a Substack article where my entire opinion is informed by this guy. I would do some other research on where USAID would go.
There.
Well, obviously, because you already wrote it. But like, why is he your primary source? Why is the Tucker Carlson interview and a Breaking Points and a Joe Rogan your primary sources? Like, did you like? Let me be clear. I'm not trying to claim that I'm from a position of authority. Like, I'm some fucking USAID expert. I didn't even know this shit existed. Like, this organization existed until 2 months ago. Okay, I'm a fucking idiot too. But
me neither.
But if I was going to write an article about it,
it's almost like there's other things we could be talking about that are more interesting, that we're both more knowledgeable.
I am much more interested in the fact that like thousands, if not millions, of people might be dying because of this than I am about whether or not mimetic feudalism is the thing. Like this, that's like so not important.
Okay, hold on.
I read all your Substack. I know all of your ideas. Don't worry.
Interesting.
Well, all your Substack ideas. I think it's recent.
I've now identified the fundamental disagreement between you and I. You think that politics is more important than political philosophy?
Only insofar as, unless you're talking about how political philosophy can influence politics. Like, my material reality is more important than an idea, unless that idea is going to change my material reality.
Yeah, that's by definition. That's pragmatism, essentially. So I would agree with that.
Okay.
That's like my fundamental philosophy.
Right, and sort of your whole thing about radical centrism and like memetics and the spreading of ideas is if
You disagree with the whole mimetic? Like, you don't.
It's funny. I don't. I think this is one of the things I don't disagree with
point.
you. But what I think
FD
is
Signifier loves me because of that shit.
oh man,
That's why he told you
the
I'm his
greatest
favorite
sin. The
problematic
greatest
white
sin.
guy.
The greatest sin is that you made me think less of FD Signifier for recommending you because I think it's sophist bullshit. Because I think if you looked into this for 10 seconds, you could
The
find
mimetic stuff?
Yes. No. Sorry.
Okay, now this is the most interesting thing.
Hold on. Spreading ideas the way that you have described them is true. So just for the context for my audience, your idea of mimetic feudalism is, look, you could be someone with the largest platform in the world. You could be someone with a very small platform, but a good idea can spread throughout society, throughout a culture, based on how good of that vibe is, how good that idea is, how good that how that resonates with the people that see it. Right. That's more or less kind of how your mimetic feudalism evolves, and you call it feudalism because it's yes.
Well, the whole thing I call applied sociology because I like to pretend I'm a pseudo academic.
Well, do you think that?
Are you referring specifically to the feudalism Substack I wrote? Because there's the meme adoption curve.
That is the one I read, and I think I also watched the video on this mimetic feudalism. Yeah.
And I'm gonna stop writing. I wish my Substacks suck compared to my videos. Just FYI, my videos are much better.
Well, sometimes it's like 1-to-1, like the script of your video, right? Like the Brett Cooper one.
No,
the Curve one is like pretty damn close, right?
The main ideas are often there, but I usually refine them a lot more. But okay, fair enough.
Sure.
Right, yeah.
I'm not shitting on you for that. If I were to do a Substack, I'd probably
how is it sophistry?
Because this stuff exists. People are already talking about this. There's such a thing as studying how memes. First of all, the word meme in and of itself is to describe an idea pervasive through society. Imitation of that.
It's analogous to Gene.
And so you've invented this, and this is probably because you like Jordan Peterson. This like insane like schizograph and still wow.
I used to like Jordan Peterson.
Oh, you don't like him anymore? Okay, well, all right. Hey,
not so much.
Hey, I've raised the agreement from 5 to 6% now, and like the more we can grab in this,
I think we're more. I think realistically, if we hash this out, I think we're probably at 70-80%.
I don't think so. Okay,
I don't really think we actually disagree on that much based on what I've heard from this.
You're happier that Trump won over Kamala because of the border, because of Chinese people coming over.
But when we break down all the reasons, I think we actually align on a lot. Well, that's fair enough. That's the 20% we disagree, but that's fine.
All right. The reason I call it sophistry. No, meme theory, the idea of how an idea spreads through society is not sophistry. Yeah. And this is why I'm like, you're not wrong to talk about this. What sophistry is to take this concept that is studied by sociologists that you can find papers on. And by the way, I'm not an expert on this. I Googled it for 5 minutes and I was like, oh yeah, people have written papers on this. And then to say, well, actually, I have my idea of meme feudalism and it's about this like mushroom extending structure. And here's this like, Z-axis, XY, rhizomatic structure of mushrooms and all this. And this say like,
it's a Deleuze-Guattari term, very postmodern philosophy. I borrowed from postmodern philosophy.
It's the idea that you're making this as like your own idea, as if this isn't something that exists. Like applied sociology. That's what sociology is applied. Like that is the whole field is like, hey, let's study this and talk.
I think you're just mad you didn't coin the term first. You're just mad I got there first.
The difference between you and me is I have a conversation with JJ. I think you watched it, where I think, this is something is called piss politics. It's when we're shoving them, their faces in the piss.
Yes,
and like
that's right.
Which is like it's funny. But like, I know that's not my idea. I'm not going to pretend like this is some like fleshed out like thing. I'm not going to draw diagrams and graphs about it because it's like, it's a thing that people have been saying we should do. And I'm saying, let's just give it a dumb name, whatever.
Off, I don't know. I mean, when did I claim that this is my novel idea? It's a synthesis of different frameworks. It's a recapitulation.
Why does this need to happen? Why?
You're taking. It's funny. I'm advancing the field of pseudo-academic applied sociology.
The idea that vibes
this is just, you understand that this is totally just your opinion, right? CJ the X loves it, FE Signifier loves it.
Yeah, and I think less of them for some reason. I don't know why they're like, I don't know how they can read this stuff and be like, oh,
I'm not in the business of arguing about your particular preference or opinion of how I go about doing something aesthetically.
Okay. All right. I think it's
all the ideas. You don't disagree with the ideas themselves. You just disagree that I'm basically making.
Yeah, well, it would be like if I talked about like, hey, if you take your shirt off and flex in front of a camera, people will give you more views. And I'm going to call this like aesthetic pervasiveness. And this is my concept of like how people are attracted to naked bodies and like just reinventing.
Yeah.
And
if you had a persona of a fucking edgy, douchey, ironic guy, that might work.
Is your whole thing a persona? This is what I asked at the beginning. Is this a joke?
I don't know what's a joke anymore. I hung around with J-Reg too long.
Well, J-Reg's a whole different beast. He's under like 17 layers of irony. So like, I don't even know if he's like, he could be a robot, like in a fucking horse suit and a fucking all sorts of different things.
Regard me with the same skepticism.
Yeah, but he's. God, I don't see. I don't want to be mean to you. I really don't want to be mean to you.
Oh, really? You don't want to be mean to me? Yeah.
This is not being. This is not being mean, by the way. This is not being
Please be mean to me. I
don't
would
wanna-
actually be.
Okay, well, J-Reg's funny.
You did.
Although
fine.
you did make me laugh in your League of Politics.
I know
I'll
I'm
give
not
you that.
funny.
No, you go. Sometimes
I'm neither
You've made
funny
me laugh a
nor
couple times in
intelligent.
this conversation. Oh, I agree with that.
Well, then what did you mean by J-Reg's funny?
Joke's funny. It's a spectrum. We can't have
I'm willing to
funniest.
accept that. You know what? I'm so arrogant enough, or I guess I'm so humble. I'm so humble enough that I'm willing to accept that J-Reg might be funnier than me. Look, as long as you don't think I'm spreading misinformation, I don't care if people think that I'm a douche. I would care if they think I'm saying something that's false. So as long as I'm not saying anything false.
Well, I do think you're saying false thing. I don't think you're a douche. Well, I don't know. Maybe you're a douchebag. I don't think you're a douchebag. I think you're saying.
Of course I am.
I think if you
Okay.
had the same platform as Tucker Carlson, you'd be an incredibly harmful person because you'd be spreading these ideas that are so lost in the sauce and have
Okay.
nothing to do with like politics that you are.
I believe that you believe that,
And you're spreading misinformation and you're telling people that they should care about this like inane bullshit when like we're currently in a cultural moment where people are dying because of these stupid fucking policies and you're listening to this like white
I think you
nationalist
are
Joe Rogan guest about.
I think you are narrow. Yeah, I think you are narrow-minded, and your approach to talking about these issues only serves to drive further division and lessen the likelihood that people who are rapidly polarizing can actually get along, which is what we need.
Well, what's crazy is like I have a whole video on talking to people I disagree with, and obviously I
Well, I have a video saying I'm not racist, so you know.
Well, no, I'm not saying that disproves anything. I'm saying what the distinguishing thing here is when I talk to like a Trump supporter in real life and I try to like make that connection, like I'll try to reach across the aisle. I'm not gonna like demonize them outright. Like I'll see how far I can pull them. And this is what you apparently do with your racist friend. I do this with my Republican friends. I think that's a whole different ballgame than I have a platform on the internet to thousands of people. And in a moment where a lot of terrible things are happening that you would agree are terrible, you don't agree that mass deportations are good. You're running defense for the party that is doing all these ostensibly terrible things and saying, well, actually, I'm a centrist because I'm taking the best ideas from both. But the best ideas I'm taking from this party are like they're inane little like, oh, maybe it would be good if we didn't kill people and followed the 10 Commandments. And the ideas I'm taking for this party is, yeah, I disagree with mass deportations, but I am happier that Trump won over Kamala. It's like, what do you even give a shit? Like, or is this just all kind of a game?
I think I care more than you do, and I think I'm more serious about it because if you were as serious as I would, you wouldn't be a different person off camera than you are on camera, which is what it sounds like you're saying.
Wait,
when I'm talking
are
to my
you saying
Trump
I'm a
supporters, I'll
different
tell.
person on and off?
Yeah,
camera?
you just said when I'm talking to Trump supporters, I'll tell them one thing, but when I'm on my platform, I'm gonna fucking call them.
No. I'm
what?
saying if you have a platform and I'm talking to someone who is
Yeah.
like if I'm talking to Michael Knowles, like I did, right? I'm not gonna be like, well, hey, like buddy, like let's try to find some common ground because I think
Okay,
you're
I believe that.
like an ostensibly terrible person, not you, him.
Cool.
He's an ostensibly terrible person
yeah.
who needs to be pushed
get
back on. Versus if I'm talking to someone on a human level, I'm not like there's almost no common ground that's going to be found between.
Interesting. Okay, you and I have different relationships to our audience. I think you think your audience is stupider than I think my audience is.
I think
which
people
is
are
saying a lot
stupid.
because my audience is dumb as fuck. Look at us converging on the same jokes. Like I said at the beginning with Stephen Wolf, the first 15 minutes of that was him saying we need blasphemy laws.
Mhm.
Now, I trust that anyone in my audience, certainly, who sees that and goes, well, this guy's fucking dumb, and I sure as fuck am not going to support Christian nationalism.
Mhm.
Now, you say, but Paul, you need to state that explicitly and be a dick to the guy. Like, no, I don't.
Well, you don't have to be a dick about it. You
Okay,
just be like, hey,
well-
I think this is ridiculous. Like you did. You push back
Which
on
is
that.
what
And
I said.
Right. And you push back on that thing, and I appreciate
Right.
that. But do you not think there's a non-zero... Look, okay, if you think there is even a percentage chance that the Chinese nationals have a plan to shut down our American power grid through the southern border, you
It
must...
sounds like we both agree there's
you-
a 100% chance that they've been
that
working
they've
on it.
talked about it, yes. Not that it's a very likely outcome. Now,
Okay, fine.
if,
I don't know
let's
what
just say,
very
whatever
likely is.
percentage you put on it, do you think there's a chance that any one of the tens of 27,000 people that are subscribed to you might be convinced by someone that they've never been introduced to before, like a Stephen Wolf, and start advocating for a Christian nationalist
Not if they're my
anti-gay
viewers,
agenda?
no.
Not,
Of course not.
Not if they're your viewers.
Correct.
Do you think every viewer is 100% ideologically aligned with you?
No. Let me say, not if they have common sense, not if they're for free speech, which most people are.
Not if they have common sense.
We hold on. We just have fundamentally different views on how this works. If I bring a guy on here and he tells everyone that he's for blasphemy laws, which is, to be clear, and I said it there and I'll say it again, the dumbest fucking shit in the world.
Yes.
Which will be turned against you and is idiotic.
Okay.
I trust that people, and this is an assumption, and this is not everyone, but most people have enough common sense, at least at this point in the world.
Well, so you admit it's not all of them, though.
Yeah. Okay. Of course not. Do you think anyone who watches your videos might come away with some idea that you didn't intend them to come away with?
Yeah. Why was I'm much more careful about who I'm bringing on and why this whole conversation I'm pushing back on what I think are a bunch of stupid
your audience
ideas.
is on average stupider than I do.
No,
I think mine is.
I think that people are susceptible to ideas, and if you put people and present them with ideas and exclusive kinds of ideas, regardless of how extreme or not extreme they are, they're going to be more exposed to that. Which is why platforming people is a very dangerous game. And when you do platform people, you have to push back on the things that are really, really fucking crazy. So if you push back on the blasphemy laws and the free speech, which I acknowledge is insane, and most of your people would probably be like, yeah, like I don't think this guy is, has what it takes, right?
Your audience would agree with that.
100% of, well, no, not 100% of my audience would be anti-free speech. I think there's some chunk of them would be like, oh yeah, blasphemy laws, that might be cool, right? Like you'd probably say the left wing.
And do you think it's your job to now filter all of your content to appeal to these people?
Yes, it's your job. You have a responsibility for the people in your audience.
We have fundamentally different views on how this. Yeah, I do, but not 100% responsibility for every single one of them.
That's why.
No, hold on. This is actually a completely different perspective we have here.
Okay.
My job, I have one job. Say what I believe to be true.
Okay.
No, it's not even that. When I'm on camera and when I'm making videos about whatever I happen to be interested in, don't lie. That's my one rule.
Okay.
That's it. And then I trust that whatever outcome occurs is the best outcome. But Paul, what if someone came on and saw you discussing blasphemy laws and they suddenly got converted? There's absolutely fucking nothing I could have done about that.
You could have not had the blasphemy law guys on your fucking show, dude.
More people got turned off by that than got turned on by that. Not speaking sexually.
And how many people do you think came away from that?
I think that conversation made it less likely that Stephen Wolf will get his Christian nationalist ways. Because all these people, because my massive platform, just saw him telling everyone he's in favor of blasphemy laws.
Okay.
Dumbass.
And you don't think there's any percentage of your audience that say, okay, I think this guy's stupid, I'm writing him off. And yet, the way that they're talking about...
Did you watch my conversation with J-Reg?
I did, but I forgot most of what happened because I haven't rewatched
Boom! It. Do I have responsibility as a content creator? No. Boom. Goodbye.
That's just like arguing.
That's what it was. Do you think when Dave Chappelle tells a racist joke that he shouldn't tell that joke because someone might think that it's racist?
That's literally what Chris Rock did with the whole black people versus N-words, because he realized that a bunch of racist white people were co-opting his joke to like be more racist, and he said, you know what? The utility that I get out of this funny joke is not worth.
I see. So you think that when a comedian tells not even a comedian, someone with a massive platform that does very serious social commentary, which Dave Chappelle absolutely does, when he makes a joke that's racist, you think he shouldn't do that?
I think that if you are Dave Chappelle and you're going to do that, your body of work should speak with you and say, okay, clearly this guy is not a racist person. In fact, I don't even agree with the Chris Rock saying, oh, I should stop using this thing. Because if you watch Chris Rock, you know that he's not being a racist. You know that he's not condemning N-words, as he puts it, right?
Yeah, but some people might.
Yeah, some people might. And I'm not going to say you're going to catch 100% of every bad actor that's ever going to come away from watching your stuff. That's not what I'm advocating for. That's the extreme. What I'm saying is you have a responsibility when you platform a Christian nationalist who's advocating for some pretty fucking crazy stuff. And also, again, vehemently anti-gay person who you've now turned some percentage of your audience onto. And the only things you really push back on are, well, I don't like this blasphemy law thing.
I turned more of a percentage of my audience off than on. I destroyed Christian nationalism.
Of your audience on. I hope so. Oh, cool. So you can make that joke and I can't? All right, cool. Yeah.
It's a separate thing.
Yeah.
I think I did exactly what I wanted to do. Just like when I debate Andrew Wilson. Andrew Wilson says all kinds of crazy fucking shit.
Yeah, he's insane. Yeah. And
Do you think I should confront Destiny when I'm debating him about his fucking sexual escapades, given how much he talks about?
Well, I'm just not going to talk to him anymore because of that shit.
Do you think I have an obligation?
If you still talk to him?
Yeah, if I talk to him again.
Because he doesn't seem very remorseful about it. You should
That one
probably
I
call him
actually
out on
kind of
that.
believe. That one I actually do kind of believe, because I think a lot of my
You don't think
audience
maybe
actually
if he
respects Destiny.
and also if he respects your opinion anyway, that he should maybe take into consideration? Yeah,
Well,
like,
had
this
this
is
not,
terrible.
believe it or not, had this not happened, actually, I was planning on my next conversation to get into some of this stuff, which has been my fundamental curiosity the whole time, which is, Destiny, how do you think your childhood has affected who you are today? Because that's fundamentally the lens of how I view everything.
Can we talk about that? Actually,
Yeah.
I saw in your CJ conversation, and this maybe was a joke, but you mentioned your parents fought a lot, and like you would always see like both of their sides and like what they had to
Yes.
offer. Is that? Do you think that's
Oh
why
my
you're
God,
centrist?
The radical centrist joke suddenly makes so much sense.
Well, but
Yes,
is that like
I'm
actually
condemned.
like what has informed your
Yes.
politics?
My parents, they both loved me very much.
Yeah.
But they did not get along well. I put extremely mildly, let's say. And it would be, I'd hear my mom's side of the story and I'd hear my dad's side of the story.
And then you
Your
take the
mom's
best parts of
wrong for
both.
this and this. Yeah, but I would see both their perspectives, and then I would see what the fight actually would be, and I saw what they didn't see, and for like 20 years that happened, and I kind of built up a muscle for it. And so maybe, just maybe, one's childhood affects who they are as an adult, and maybe, just maybe,
Turn it around on
one's
me.
sense of humor.
What's my childhood? Why am I the way I am?
I don't know.
No,
I don't-
just
I don't even-
I'm
we
saying
don't even
no.
have to talk about it.
Speculate, armchair psychoanalyze me. I'm just
I
curious.
have no fucking clue.
Oh, come on. You gotta just make something up. Something about me being a fucking libtard. What are my parents like? I'll give you a couple seconds to think about it. I'm not gonna hold this
There's
against
like
you. I just think it'd be funny.
There's so a million ways. All right. Let me guess. Let me think. Were you pretty small and weak in high school?
Close. What's the next most likely thing?
Of being small and weak?
That would convince someone to get strong and fit.
Were you beat up a lot?
No. Okay. I was fat. I was fatter. I was chunkier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay.
Respect.
And that's why I'm a progressive, because I was fat and I want to redistribute the mass to other parts of my body.
Listen, that's based. I'm for that.
Yeah. Do you work out? I asked
I do
again.
work out,
Yeah.
Yes, I know. I do. Yes, I was at the gym at 5:30 this morning.
Hell yeah. Well, you shouldn't work out in the morning. You're burning all your gains, dude.
Really? What do you mean?
Well, if you don't eat before, then you're burning whatever reserves you
Well,
have.
I eat within one hour.
You eat at
I get-
4:30 a.m., dude?
No, I eat within 1 hour after the workout.
No, you got to do it
Your
before.
No, your metabolic window's at 1 hour.
This is
post-workout.
bro science. All right, we can get off this.
Yeah, we're good.
I don't fucking know shit. I mean,
My
obviously,
childhood.
I know
My
something.
point is, yes, my parents fought a ton, and that affected why I try to see the best in both sides. Now, what is the obvious danger that produced, and the one that you probably think is true?
That
Well, Paul,
one
not all
side
sides
are equally,
Well,
yeah.
correct.
Mhm.
And hence, by the way, what is your actual name? You told me last
It's
time.
Niels.
It's got an S
You
at
can
the
call
end.
me Niels. Yeah, Niels.
Niels. That's right.
Yes.
For some reason, I thought it was like Dirks, like Dirks Bentley, but Niels.
You can call me
Okay.
Dirks
Niels-
Bentley. That's a cool name. I felt like I'm my own detective agency. Dirks Bentley,
Dirks-
PI.
That's a country artist. Niels.
Hmm.
The permanent problem that I have, and this is a real problem, and
Mhm.
I'll drop the irony for those who are autistic enough, too autistic to be able to tell. I genuinely worry about the degree to which I care too much about political issues that I have no control over.
Yeah, that can
Or
rot your
virtually
brain.
no control over.
100%. It's
Correct,
been on
and
my
that is
mind for
100% a result of my childhood, which is externalizing internal conflict. Well, if mom and dad get in a fight, then I feel bad. So what's my job? To not feel bad? Go solve other people's problems. And what is the ultimate archetypal
Yeah,
version
yeah,
of that?
yeah. You talked about this in the CJ. It's like, what is your
Yeah.
mission statement of your channel? And it's to try to. You agree? This is
Basically,
ambitious.
to
Try to
stop
solve the
everyone to
fighting.
stop everyone from hating each other.
Do
Or stop
you-
as many people as I can, because some people are doomed.
But okay, and
Am I aware
hold
of
on.
the pathological danger that presents by trying to both sides people that shouldn't be both sides? Yes, I'm very aware of that.
let's skip that. And this is me being 100% sincere. I'm turning aggro down to 0. Before it was at 2. All right.
Nobody loves low aggro Niels more than I do.
Do you think that saying that someone like a Brett Cooper, a Daily Wire, I fully
me?
Brett Cooper, a Daily Wire, not
Daily Wire.
former Daily Wire pundit.
That's almost the most important detail and the reason I made the video.
In the video that you were quoting, her first video
Yeah.
on her channel, she is
Yeah.
talking about the dangers of all of the pro-vaccine people, deep-throated support of Donald Trump, like pro every conservative thing you could think of.
Yeah,
But
right.
she's saying, hey, let's not cancel liberals who try to move a little right. Do you think that maybe that's
Yeah,
not
said
the
that yeah, and she markedly disagreed with Matt Walsh on
Well,
Jeffree Star, for example, a member of the LGBT community, which I
great?
think is
She's
important.
not a horrible homophobe. She just supports the people that are going to
Yeah, but
overturn gay marriage. Like, great. Okay, like that's
do
radical
you think Donald
centrism.
Trump's going to overturn gay marriage?
I think they're going to try. They've already introduced bills to do it.
Interesting.
You
Well,
think
look,
he's
Roe v.
not?
Wade got overturned.
Hey, you cut
It's
out.
not. It's not
You're back.
impossible.
You're back.
Roe v. Wade got overturned. I wasn't expecting that to happen.
Right. Okay. So now I'm very much expecting us, the people that have been promising that and they
Yeah,
despise
2025.
Obergefell, want to get rid of Obergefell. Why would I not think they're going to do that?
I mean, yeah, that's a problem.
Like-
I would very much disagree with that.
Okay.
Like that it would be bad.
Right,
I
and you're
believe it would be bad if they did.
pushing people as like, hey, everyone, like I want to solve all the
I'm
fighting.
more
By the
worried
way,
about- I'm more
everyone
worried
go
about
emulate this
coordinated
person.
attacks on our infrastructure than I am about Oberfeld getting overturned.
Well, one of those things is patently more likely in my mind. But also
Really?
again,
See, how would you? Honest question. How the fuck do you know?
well, because one of the parties in power right now is saying we want to do this and we're trying everything in our power to do this.
Okay,
And
right.
on
Yeah.
the other side, there is
China, who we're about to potentially gear up with war with, knows that this is the number one strategy and the most obvious fucking thing.
That's the number one strategy, is to have people come in over the southern border and shoot
Why wouldn't you?
substations. It's not about why wouldn't you. You think this is their number one. First of all, do you think you're so intelligent that you've discovered China's number one most effective war policy against the USA and they have no other way to...
I do think I'm so intelligent, but maybe not their number one more so. But the number one most obvious first thing on the brainstorming session when they get in the session and they're like,
Why do you
how do
why
we
do you think that?
fuck over America?
I think the Project 2025 thing and everything they've been saying, because they've been saying it. Why do you think China's definitely going to do this?
Because I think that the average Chinese general has an IQ above 70.
So because who told you this was the best strategy?
Deductive logic. America, China may or may not get in a war. America, China, preparing for war. What would China do in case of war? Well, given that the border is basically completely open, we can get people in, and we know for a fact they've gotten in. Why don't we send people up there, and then in the event that a war breaks out, we can have them do coordinated attacks on whether it's the infrastructure or telecommunications lines or U.S. military bases, stuff like that. Probably not U.S. military bases because it would, they want to disrupt the economy and all that.
Can I try deductive logic and tell me if I lose
Yeah,
it? This is not,
please,
this is going to sound
hit me.
condescending, but I promise you this is just me like just thinking about this,
No.
all right? I'm a Chinese general and I'm planning on how to disrupt
What's your name?
America.
Huang Zhang?
Lu Xi. So Luxi. Okay?
Okay.
And I say, I'm not going to do the accent.
We should cut that out, by the way. Some people might think that
That's a real-
anti-Chinese racism is acceptable now.
Well, you can be anti-Chinese national if you're against them taking over Taiwan or something, but yeah, don't be racist against Chinese people, guys. Like one of the parties is. If I
Except the
think
communist ones. It's okay to be racist against the communist ones.
if I think that I want to disrupt the American grid system,
Yeah.
and I'm going to sit down with all my other generals and plan out this top secret plan to subvert American infrastructure. Do you think that maybe I might have an idea that is just ever so slightly more complicated than someone who's sitting around at their desk out on the computer could figure out in 10 seconds?
Yeah, they probably have many, many, many plans.
And do you think the most likely one is the one that you thought of?
No, I think that's one likely one.
No, you think it's the most likely because it's your number one issue on why you think Donald Trump is good for the country on his immigration policy.
No, I just told you what I think. I think that it is whether or not likely. Again, I have no way of possibly knowing the probability, but it's more than zero, which is fairly high. And I have
everything
more than zero is what is it 0.1, 0.001?
True. I don't know. I mean, my honest, and again, this is just based on my
Vibes.
knowledge of reality. The probability that over the course of the next 40 years of my life, I will not experience living in a society of serious civil discord
I don't disagree
is
with this.
almost zero. Almost zero.
Yeah, I don't disagree
I'm
with
talking
this.
people I know could die.
Mhm.
I'm talking my life savings wiped out. I'm talking power grid goes
I
out.
agree with
Something
you,
to that
but let me
effect.
be clear. People I know, their families are getting deported right now. They're losing their health care. They're losing their jobs because of the current party in power
Yep.
that you ostensibly are running a lot of defense for and telling people that the people that support them are the center.
Yep.
That's why I'm upset right now. Because as much as...
So now you understand my thing, which is the
maybe
stuff
not.
that's happening right now could happen on a massive scale. And is happening, by the way. There's plenty. Okay, okay. Now this is getting to like, well, you know, people who are affected negatively by the current administration.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. If a conservative tells me, you know, illegal immigrants murdered my fucking daughter, I'd be like, okay, I can't really argue with that. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but then
Am I going to use facts and logic? Well, you know, statistically,
would
it's
you
like,
then
that doesn't
support
work.
something like, well, that's bad, and let's talk about how we can secure the border better, and maybe we shouldn't deport all these people that are here because
if I
you
was in
disagree
charge,
with
I
that.
would not deport people. Yeah.
Right, but you're running again. You're
Because I think
ostensibly
the
following
alternative is worse. I think the alternative is worse.
because you think the alternative is that China comes in and disrupts our power grid, and like the only way we could stop them is if we secure the border.
You know what the only way that I end up like told you so in this conversation we're having is if it happens.
That's true. Hey,
right? So there's
and I'll
literally no
concede
scenario
that
where I
if
win.
it happens, and
I'm just telling you, and I'm not telling you that I know. And like I said, obviously I can be too ironic. I mean this to the bottom of my soul. Like I do not invest in my 401k or any retirement savings because the probability that I'll need that money sooner rather than later is pretty high.
I mean, but
so I'm telling you what I honestly believe.
Actually,
Like,
I
so that's
unironically
paranoid.
don't think. No. Hey, look, if you are like more on the side of struggling, first I'd sell those
No,
Catans
I'm
because
not.
Catan is like
Not
$50.
really.
You know, like you can sell
Oh,
those.
that's
But
good.
yeah, like I would not say that's a good idea, but I understand it. I'm not even going to say that's a crazy idea. What I would say is crazy is that you said one of your strategies for long-term financial stability is to invest in meme coins. I think you said on like your 2025 stuff. Okay, good. Thank God, because that would. Yeah. Good.
Although I did make about a $800, $900 on Dogecoin.
Nice. You know, it's so funny. I know the guy who knows the inventor, and in 2011, he told me to buy it. And I told him, that's the stupidest fucking idea I've ever heard. And to this day, it is still the stupidest fucking idea I've ever heard. I just should have bought it.
My brother sold Bitcoin for like $250 one time.
Damn. Or that guy
Whole
bought a pizza for like 3 to 6 Bitcoin or some shit, you know? Yeah, FOMO.
Anyway, so look, it sounds like we agree, and you are basically a centrist.
Yeah, I think everyone
you're
watched.
progressive.
Yep.
You're progressive, but you can be centrist and progressive. Those are not radical centrist. Excuse me.
Well,
I'm falling for my own traps.
Let me be very serious. Would you call me centrist? I'm going to tell you some of my positions. All right. Progressive is in I support democratic socialism, some German
Give me
Nordic
specific
model.
policies. Give me specific policies.
I support moving to a mixed private-public option healthcare system that means that everyone's supported. Okay. You know, I am pro-choice.
Yeah, with up until like the baby can feel pain.
Okay,
like,
so
know,
yeah,
5 or 6 months.
like 20 weeks, 24 weeks, whatever.
Whatever that
Sure.
is. Okay.
Gotcha.
What they have in Europe?
Well, that's like 11, 12 weeks. That's a little more strict than what probably
Okay,
even
well,
I would
fine.
do. But I get
But
it. I get it.
Okay.
I'm pro like addressing climate change. I think that's like an existential threat.
I think that climate change does pose a problem, and I think that we should move towards nuclear energy and put less pollutants in the air.
Okay.
Climate change, I'm way more worried about like AI than climate change, but sure, I think it's probably fine.
It's not the most existential to you, but you're still acknowledging it's a problem. And
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure like even Bill Gates has been like, just to be clear, the world's not ending. Like, we can do things, and
Okay.
So, yeah,
I'm not
we
aligned
kind
with
of have to agree on that.
Democrats on gun policy. I think they go way too far, and I think there's better things that are way left of what the right is doing, but the Democrats don't know what they're doing. So I'm like pro gun ownership at the very least.
Okay.
Okay.
More right wing than I am as of right now.
Okay. So why do you call yourself?
I think you shouldn't be able to buy a gun unless you have taken a training course on it. Which
I agree with that. That's my policy.
All right. Well, that fucking right wingers will call me progressive with the speed limit for that reason.
Okay.
Do you see why I don't give a shit when people say I'm a conservative from the left or vice versa?
Well, yeah, because all of what you advocate for
You've
and
just
promote...
only seen me arguing with leftists.
I just watched you argue with Stephen Wolf. I saw you argue. Well, I didn't actually watch you.
I was not arguing with Stephen Wolf.
Just to be clear, that's what I'm saying.
And to be clear here, there is on that specifically, because there is a practical element of like, I'm not going to bring someone on my stream and just shit on them immediately.
Okay.
which is a clearly different strategy than you've taken.
Yes.
Okay, but I respect that. I'm willing to give it out. But like there is an element of like, even if someone's terrible, you have to be like, I'm not gonna interrupt him in the middle of something that he says something stupid. Then you say I should say that's more fucking stupid. Okay, fine, maybe you could be right. Maybe I should have made it more clear that I think he may be a closeted racist, and I need to publicly condemn and let everyone know that I think you might be racist, so I don't get canceled. Maybe I should have done that. I don't know, or push back harder on things when I tried to ask him on things. So, whatever.
Okay.
Sounds like we still agree on everything, though.
Well, hold on, because it's
Okay.
interesting to me
Gun
that we
control?
alleged. Well, no, we can edit there. Like that, those would be like some of my major policies, right? And you seem to agree with all of those. So that's why it's so ridiculous to me that you're conspiracy brained enough to. Well, not conspiracy brained. Like we said, this is a plausible thing. But
Yeah, you want to talk about conspiracies for a little bit?
we can get into it, sure. But the fact that it's like, well, I'm supporting Trump over Kamala because not, regardless of all of those policies that I've aligned with Niels on, that's not enough for me because of this one specific thing. Like, do you think that you and I would be 100%?
Hold on, I'll tell you what conservative positions I support, or things that I would say are things that more conservatives would agree on than progressives probably. I'm for mandatory civil service.
Okay.
When you turn 18, a year or two maybe. The details could be worked out.
That might be
mandatory civil
conservative, but
service.
you know what they had in Germany for a while was you can either do military service.
Nazis? Oh, sorry.
No, the more recent Germans, not the current
good ones.
AfD, the good ones, right?
Yeah.
So they got rid of this, and I actually don't know if I would be anti this. It is anti-freedom, but I like the idea of a mandatory civil service. I don't know how much I'd support it. You can talk about the morality of forcing people into this, but it's like, hey, if you don't want to be in the military, you can go work in a retirement home. You can go work at a homeless shelter, like for a
that's why
year
I said civil
before
service,
college.
not military.
I
don't
actually
think it should
really
be
like that.
military.
I think that builds community, and although it is. I think as long as you give enough options where it doesn't really feel like you're like forcing someone into a certain track, that's probably better for the country, and it doesn't really cause a lot of harm, and I might support that. I wouldn't even consider that conservative, though, necessarily.
Yeah, but surely more conservatives would. That's why I just said more conservatives would agree on that than Pete Buttigieg suggested it. So I agree it's not inherently conservative, but philosophically, it's restricting freedom.
Sure.
And progressives are
But I bet you have more conservative positions than that.
Yeah, so that's one. Again, at the beginning, I think this is a philosophical point that Western civilization is built on Christian principles, and therefore we have to have some sort of explicit acknowledgement of that.
See, okay, wait. This is clarifying maybe a point we kind of moved off on. So I obviously acknowledge the founding fathers had this in mind. They thought
which
about
puts you
this,
in the,
right?
there's many people on the left who would say no, America is not a Christian nation.
Well, I think there's a
And
difference
I would-
between
Fair
America
enough.
was founded
Correct.
by Christians
On
or
Christian
Protestants
principles.
or whatever the fuck,
Yeah.
and also people that I would disagree with on a lot, versus what do we do about that now? Now I don't think we need to acknowledge it at all insofar as like, yeah, it happened, but like who gives a fuck? Let's talk about what's best for
that's
our
where we
country.
diverge completely.
Right. So why is it important?
Because how do I say this? The way that the moral systems that we take for granted are the result of being built on like Christian programming. And if we don't acknowledge that it's like fundamentally Christian programming, then we'll lose that morality.
So
This is, by the way, I'm aware this is a contentious thing that I certainly have no even desire to attempt to convince you of, because I couldn't even think of the right way to articulate it. But that is a belief I have.
But
it's like one of the central kind of claims.
Because I hear like
Peterson's mass
I
meaning.
was gonna say like you watch a lot of Jordan Peterson, he claims this a lot. I have no evidence to suggest that just because we don't say that it's Christian, somehow we can't hold the same moral values that the best parts of
complicated.
Christianity.
Yeah, it's like, it's complicated. It's like saying, why do we take it for granted that we should treat everyone equally?
Why
do we take it for granted that everyone has
I think you can
inherent
pretty
worth?
easily raise a child to believe these things completely absent of any Christian influence and just say, look, hey,
Yeah, but
you wouldn't
why-
like it if
I'm
someone
talking
did this
about-
to you, so don't do it.
Yeah, but I'm saying in the reality that we live in,
Mhm.
why do we have the morality that we have?
Yeah, because of religions that that obviously could trace this
Yeah,
back
and
to
my
historical
argument would be
roots.
there's actually no way, I gotta think of a word for this. There's no hypothetical that you could come up with that is actually based in reality that would posit an individual who is removed from that religious cultural programming,
Would
who
still
could then
have
come up with that. Yeah, because everyone is born into a culture. So there's literally
right,
no
but
such thing
there's
as
not just
there's no
Christian
such thing as
cultures, right? There's like, the Muslim cultures or whatever other
Correct.
pagan cultures, and they have similar
Yeah.
ideals that we would probably find some overlap on. So why are we to think that we must
True,
acknowledge
but
this
there
as
are
a
also
Christian nation?
Well, so I would agree with you 100% that that's the archetypes that every society converges on, kind of weirdly, the same stories, even if they're independent from one another, whether they're across time or across space. But they differ in important ways. Like the Hindu caste system is explicitly the opposite of the Christian conception that all are equal before God, from the lowest peasant to the highest king.
Mm-hmm.
Now, has that played out in history? Duh, no. Did Marxism, should we just abandon Marxism because communism was bad? No. So, but but surely you recognize the important moral difference between like someone who says the caste system is a divine hierarchy and everyone is equal before God.
Sure, but again, that's why I'm not going to use
That's why
either of
you
these
and
as
I.
references for how I should act.
Yes, but I'm saying,
only how
you
I shouldn't. If
yes,
anything.
but I'm saying the reason you and I take those for granted is because we're the result of a mimetic evolution that has at its base, or at least as a major part of it, the idea that all are created equal. It's like saying, well, why couldn't we come up with an idea independent of religion? For the same reason that you can't birth a human independent of
culture, society.
No, even biologically. Like, you have to have genetic material there to produce the human. Like, could you synthesize?
Right, but like you don't think that these things
these
things existed before Christianity, these things existed before Islam, these things existed before
Correct.
all
Yeah, they
these
started out in the
religions.
Old Testament. Yes.
But even before that, people knew like, hey, maybe we should,
Correct.
like people
Yes.
killed each other, but it's like, hey,
Hence your earlier point about different religions converge on the same moral principles, like treat your neighbor properly.
right. So why does it matter that it came from that? Like we can acknowledge it, we can learn history, but why do we have to acknowledge? Like, what is your proposal of acknowledgement? Like just that we say,
Well,
like I'm saying, yeah, I know it came from that. That's history. What do you think we should be doing prescriptively in society to acknowledge
I don't know.
this?
I think that we should. I think that we have to have an American mythology, and we have to choose who the heroes in our mythology are. And we did it with like Martin Luther King and
okay, yeah. Can we like drill down to like a specific one of these? Like
like Martin, like they call them the founding fathers. Obviously, that's been complicated as of late because we found out they owned slaves, which is much to everyone's surprise.
we didn't find out, right? I mean,
yeah, right. And Martin Luther King, believe it or not, did not have the most progressive views on gay people. Being a Southern black Baptist minister in 1960.
Sure. But isn't this more to the idea that we shouldn't lionize any one person or dogma or anything, and that we should try to
except for the archetypal perfect person. That's sort of the advantage of religion, is like Jesus theoretically, in principle, is the archetypal perfect person. Now you could say, well, what about the Bible verses where he talked about not beating your slave but still keeping them? Like, that's why I'm not fully a Christian, because I don't think it was 100% right the first go around, but I do think the core ideas are there. And we need to acknowledge that because we can't come up with them rationally otherwise.
Wait, so you're not Christian? You're just like Christian adjacent?
I'm Christian adjacent, yeah. I probably believe in God, and I think the Bible's captures it, and I'm afraid to do psychedelics.
Okay. Interesting.
So that tells you what my religious belief is.
Maybe this is just a lack of understanding on my part. I feel like I don't
Certainly
really.
You seem to.
I don't really understand what you're advocating for.
Based on how wonderful this conversation is going now, given how it started, I don't think you fully understood me at all. To begin with.
No, it's not a lack of understanding because I'm like,
well,
I don't get it. I'm just
this
like,
is my problem because if
why?
anyone watches 20 of my videos and comes away with the wrong impression, that speaks to my.
I don't know. Well, look, first of all, everyone in my audience, if you think I've been too harsh on P.F. Young, obviously his channel's in the description. You can go watch all these and figure out your own opinions on this. Please go check them out. And for the record,
don't watch my debate with
for the record, in good faith to P.F. Young, when I reached out to him, I was the smaller channel. I just got lucky with my last video. So he
the one accusing Matt Walsh of being racist?
Accusing?
Dude, fuck you, bro. Matt Walsh is cool as fuck.
Okay, now you're joking.
Yes, I am joking.
All right, let's try to end this off on a less mean pot, because you've apparently been too mean. Let's talk a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
What's your favorite conspiracy? Well, I don't know. Maybe it'll be so stupid I'll be mad at you.
What do you define as a conspiracy theory?
Something with
'Cause
like very
J.J.
little
McCullough's-
evidence to prove it, but there is, a suggestion based on little clues here and there that there is something happening behind the scenes that they don't want you to know about, promoting an agenda, causing an event to happen, things that have come to light in the past, Operation Mockingbird, Operation Northwood, things that happen. We know these things happen, but we can't prove them at
We
the
didn't
current
know
moment.
at the time.
Yeah, but
We
I would
only-
say
we only
most
know they
conspiracy
happened,
theories
finding
are
out
probably not
afterwards.
true, and people use those ones that did come true to validate
Yes,
ones
I
that are
believe
not
that
true.
happens. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So is Operation Northwoods would you call that a conspiracy theory?
If someone at the time, having tried to talk about it before it had been released to the public, had said, "Hey, I think the government's doing this," and everyone's like,
Yeah.
"You're crazy," and they're like, "Well, I've seen some like hints of it here, here, here." That would have been a conspiracy theory, and it would have been vindicated when it became released. Those documents became released.
Okay.
So, for
So
example, if someone
that does not
says,
sound like
there's someone says
the way
Bush
you
did
just defined
9/11.
it sounds like someone who has foresight is a
No, it's like,
strong
look,
foreknowledge.
because I'm trying to like
Yeah.
imagine the evidence, but let's pick something that hasn't been proven, right? That's still a conspiracy. Like Bush did 9/11, right? Like, I'm not saying that's impossible. I'm not saying that there's just not enough evidence for me to believe it solidly. There are just hints that you
Yeah.
could draw a narrative around to show that that is what happened, regardless of
Like
whether or
what?
not
What
it is.
What kind of hints do you think Bush did 9/11?
You could talk about, well, he used it as a justification to go after Saddam Hussein because he was mad about the Gulf War, because his dad had a gripe with him and it never got resolved. You could say that it was part of his
Fucking-
plan to expand.
All
the
goes back to
security-
childhood, bro. I'm telling
security
you. Fucking
state or
9/11
whatever.
was because George H.W. was, or which one's the older one? H.W.
HW is the older one. Yeah.
Yeah, H.W. was mean to his kid. So then we had.
You could
9/11.
1,000 different reasons. Maybe it was to enrich Dick Cheney because he had stocks and was former CEO of Halliburton. Whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is we can't prove
Maybe
it.
Israel was involved.
I know how you get on that one. Yeah. Is that your number one conspiracy theory?
What do
Or
you
what
mean
is?
number one?
What's your like? This one's got to be true, guys. I have to tell everyone about this.
Oh, this one's got to be true.
There's no
that
way.
there are pedophile
Zero.
blackmail rings used by intelligence agencies.
Is that a conspiracy? I thought we just knew that.
Yeah, J.J. McCullough would tell me that's a conspiracy, for the record.
Well, to be fair, I haven't like verified. I could have sworn there was like some indication of certain CIA documents that suggest that they do something like this to some people.
Wait. Okay, well, it depends on what you mean by. I guess I'm using conspiracy theory. My definition of conspiracy theorist is what would your average, Democrat consider this to be? Like if I said, I think Bush did 9/11, they'd go, that's a conspiracy. I think the Earth is flat, that's a conspiracy. I think NASA was originally made by a bunch of fucking Nazis. They go, that's a conspiracy.
Well, why would they
But if
say
you find
that?
out,
That's
like,
just
oh,
true. I mean, you can look
Because
up.
most people don't know about that, so they would just go, "Well, that sounds ridiculous." Like NASA, yeah, the space
know.
program was started by a bunch of Nazis.
I thought
It's
that's
like,
pretty like well taught history about Operation Paperclip, right?
not my school, and not if it was, then you should tell all of my Democrat left wing friends that because
And to be
They're not
fair,
listening
they
to me.
didn't stay Nazis when they came over to start NASA. That was kind of the whole point. Was like, hey, let's de-radicalize and use these people's knowledge.
yeah. Well, I don't know if this is true, but I believe Werner von Braun
Mhm.
hung the bodies of Jews outside his factory.
In America?
No, in Germany.
Oh, sure. These were Nazis.
But they weren't
In
anymore.
Germany.
Oh, that's fine. Listen, you
Oh no,
hang
they
as many
they,
Jews outside your factory as you
I'm
want.
not
but when
saying
you
they
come to
just
America, it's no
came
problem.
all American.
Oh,
We
okay.
love them. I'm saying that like the implication when you say Nazis started the space program was like there's like a someone might hear that who doesn't know and think, oh, like some
I see, I
Nazis
see.
took a boat over and snuck in and were like, oh, we are American. Let's make the rockets. Like that's a very different
Well,
thing versus hey,
when I say
America
Nazi-
took the brains of all the Germans. And
The
said,
word Nazi,
Get to
I
work,
use the word
asshole."
Nazi. I think I use the word satanic in the same way that most people use the word Nazi, which just means
Bad.
very, very bad. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I don't even want to go through the whole Elon Sam Hyde bullshit thing because we wouldn't agree on how to use the
Yeah.
word there.
Well, for the record, Sam Hyde could very well be a Nazi, and he does appear to be very racist. What he says is racist, and I think that he is probably a net negative. And one of the reasons I want to one of the reasons I have no problem appealing to right wingers and want to appeal to them is because I would rather have them listening to me than Sam Hyde. Because I think
That's
I'm
a
better
noble
person than
cause.
Sam Hyde.
But
So-
unfortunately, Sam Hyde is very
Many
funny.
would disagree.
So
I know I
yeah.
know.
And
the
it's
problem.
funny because the far right people are way funnier than the boring, bland neoconservatives who
I've
wish they
kind
were
of noticed
cool,
that.
which is very upsetting to me.
Hence, problem.
Okay, I know I said I wouldn't go aggro. I had one more thing I wanted to talk
No,
about. I totally
please. I
forgot.
prefer aggro. It's more fun.
This was 2 years ago. The two things I remembered because I watched your Vosh debate yesterday at the gym. And the two things that I wanted to contend with. Well, the first was you believed that at this time, Jordan Peterson being adopted in the Daily Wire was going to kind of pull these guys left
Work out?
on the theory of evolution. And do
I
you
think
still think
I
he's
said he
done
would
that?
have a secularizing effect. Well, on that in particular, there's no way to fucking know it. I think it's been a net negative though overall. Let's say
That Jordan
although I don't
Peterson's
know.
part
Hold
of the
on.
Daily Wire, or that
That he, yeah. Well, I don't know. It's hard to say because reality has a way of playing itself out. Um, I hate the fact that Jordan Peterson acts like a moral coward and doesn't criticize Netanyahu for being the Nazi that I think he is. And so that's bad. But I think a lot of people, I think a lot of people share my opinion, which might be a good thing in the long term, but I don't know.
that he's which thing
That him going to the Daily Wire
will be good for pulling
proves
them
that
less radically, or
no. It proves that even people who I would regard as of good moral character are willing to compromise their morals for
do you think he's compromising
personal
his
gain.
morals that much?
I think there's a part of him that eats at him. I do really believe that. I think he knows that the extreme religious terrorism in Israel, that like the far right people are satanic Nazis. And he knows that, and he doesn't ever bring it up. And I think that's eating at him.
Well,
Now,
I don't think it makes
we'll
a
have to
huge
see.
difference. Unfortunately, he seems pretty fully on board with the whole Daily Wire thing.
Well, we'll see. Let me ask you a question. If this is hypothetical, probably will not happen. If let's say 3 months from now he says I'm parting from the Daily, because they've already killed
Candace, Brett,
they took out Candace and Brett,
and they burned the bridge
And-
with Crowder before it even happened, right?
Yep, and they did all kinds of weird legal mumbo jumbo with NDAs and all that shit. And Peterson's a free speech guy. That's kind of odd, don't you think?
That Peterson's
we
a free
need-
speech guy. Well, I don't think these people are free speech
No,
after
for
Lewis.
him-
I think they're full of shit when they say stuff like that.
I agree. Clearly they are. Their actions have proven that. But free speech. But I do believe 100% that Jordan Peterson believes in his soul.
Sure.
I've watched
Whatever,
enough Jordan
yeah.
Peterson to say that's the one thing he for sure
But
believes.
real
which
quick,
is
give me
free
your
speech is
best
the most
Peterson
important thing.
impression.
I've never been able to do a good one.
It's just like Kermit.
I can
you know,
do
like,
when I'm
the relationship between the chaotic woman and God is that, something like
What's up,
that, right?
guys? I can't do it. What's up, guys? I can't do it. I can get his cadence sometimes, but I have to be kind of in flow. But no, I can't do a good one at all.
The dialectical between Stacy and Stacy's
me ask
mom
you.
is that
So let me ask
Stacy
you.
is not as attractive.
Okay, hold on. Let me paint a picture here. If it was the case that Jordan Peterson left the Daily Wire, whether or not it's 3 months, 4 months, fine, 5 months
5
doesn't matter.
years,
That's my
whatever.
impression. And he did leave, and he cited, and then let's say he left 5 months from now, and then a year later he talks about because they were basically compromising his morals. He's like, I thought they were my friends.
I would have.
I think long term that
more
would be a net
respect for
positive.
him. I
I
what?
would too.
I don't think he would be a net positive, but I think that would be a good thing because in the same way that Brett Cooper left and is still promoting all the things I hate, it is at least good that
Well, I don't know.
right is
You
infighting.
know what I think? Part of the reason I made that, I'll tell you the honest reason I made that Brett Cooper video. It was all a ploy
to get her to date
because
you.
I just hate Israel so much.
Oh.
She's friends with Candace Owens.
Which
And
still?
obviously the Daily Wire. Oh yeah,
God. Okay.
totally. And I'm like, you know what I think happened? Brett agrees. Well, not on the crazy shit that Candace says. And to be clear, Candace says some crazy shit. You saw a Candace Champion Spotlight?
Yes, I did. Like I said, those are good videos.
My favorite one, which by the way, part of the reason I don't do them anymore is because like, oh, dude, of all the ones that were if all the ones that were gonna get 100,000 views, that was the one to get 100,000 views.
When are you
We
going to
put a
make
lot
one
of
on
time into
me
that.
about the enraged berserker who just flails and tries to attack everyone and
No,
he
no,
has
no,
friendly
no.
fire on or whatever, right?
No. We have the thing about centrists is we have great sympathy and understanding. Look, when my mom and dad got in fights and they screamed at me, I didn't take it personally. And so when we fight, I don't take it personally, Niels.
Someone in my chat
But
said the stupidest thing. Go on, sorry. It's not about you. Go on, sorry.
but Brett Cooper, I think, is still friends with she for sure. It's not disputed at all. Like they're like, you go girl in the comments to each other. But
because they're on the same team of anti-Daily Wire.
True, and I think Brett is more on Candace's side in regards to how evil they think Netanyahu is, and the Daily Wire is very explicitly pro Netanyahu.
Yes, Ben Shapiro is never going to deviate from that in any way. But you think that's why Brett Cooper left?
That's my suspicion. I don't know. I hope it's why.
Okay. All right. Well, the second thing from that video is that you compared putting your child in conversion therapy to a trans child getting some sort of
breast surgically removed.
Yeah, mastectomy or whatever, puberty blockers, whatever. I don't think those things are equivalent. One is forcing a kid against their will to do something. One is having consent with the parent and the doctor to do something. And I'm not vehemently pro trans surgery. I don't even know like the degree to which this is a good or a bad thing. I think most people I've heard from say it's good, but I would need to look into this. But I think that comparison is pretty frivolous considering the consent dynamic.
Okay, so there's two different conversations we could have. One is the pure empirical question, which is I spent before I got into Israel, before I started talking about Zog all the time, I was talking about the trans kids issue because I thought, well, this is the ultimate radical centrist issue here. Because I'm in favor of trans adults, and I think the biggest barrier to acceptance of trans adults is the fact that people think, well, I'm okay with an adult doing whatever they want with their body. Oh, but geez, I also have to support like a 13-year-old taking puberty blockers or getting surgery even. If I'm against that, that makes me a bigot. Well, then I guess I'll be a bigot. I think that's what prevents trans adults from getting acceptance. So I was like, okay,
because that's the wedge issue sort of thing. Like
correct. That was like the front line of the culture war.
I think, if anything, the wedge issue would be the sports thing, because I think that's where the most common sense people are like, well obviously same but I understand what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, or prisons or whatever, fine. But it was the clearest thing. There's an empirical thing, which is there is not a single study that it currently exists or has ever existed that shows the long-term efficacy of puberty blockers even on children, let alone double mastectomies.
Could it possibly exist, right? Like we haven't been doing it long enough.
Right? Here's the argument. Well, should we allow clinical experiments, clinical trials, if the parents want to get their kid a double mastectomy,
and the kid wants it, and the doctor says,
kid is enrolled in a clinical
and the
trial that
lasts, say, you meet this criteria.
And here's the kicker. That trial lasts at least 25 years. Then, after that time has elapsed, and if the evidence suggests it's good,
but that's not how science is conducted. You can't say, well, we don't know for sure until 25 years. Like, obviously, you're going to look at the short-term outcomes and the positive or negative effects of that has.
Correct.
And
that's
if a
why,
bunch of people are happy with it now.
Yeah, that's why.
Like, don't get me wrong. If it turned out that 90% of these people were super upset about it 10 years from now, then I would say, okay, it looks like this didn't work. And this is
right. I don't think anyone should be able to do it outside of a clinical trial until these trials have run for at least 25 years.
Even if most medical doctors and psychologists are like, yeah, this seems to be completely positive on their lifestyle.
That's exactly what they said about smoking cigarettes.
I'm pretty sure we knew that smoking cigarettes was incredibly harmful as far back as
I'm sure we did too, but I can show you the studies from PubMed that you can still find that are in exactly the same format as the current studies that say extensive research has proven that smoking does not appreciably shorten life.
Let's say that there was an HIV drug. Let's say PrEP. PrEP is relatively new.
Well, hold on. Wait, hold on.
No, I don't disagree with. I don't disagree with. Yes, there are obviously. I've used this exact example before in a video where it's like, why are you going to throw out any and all scientific, not any and all, but the idea of like short-term scientific studies because, well, we got it wrong with cigarettes. This is kind of the conspiracy brain thing where it's like, okay, if PrEP. No, hold on, let me get away from the trans thing for a second.
Go ahead.
PrEP is relatively new, right? All right. We don't have 25-year studies on PrEP. We don't know that it won't cause insane bad things. In the same way, we don't know mRNA stuff isn't going to do stuff. I don't know if that's a fucking TOS thing. You know what I mean? Like,
it's over.
Yeah, it's over for me, dude. I'm demonetized. Look, these things are clearly not long-term studies. It's impossible. They've just been invented. So we should only do clinical things that last. We only do clinical things until there's a 25-year outcome. Like, that's kind of insane. That's like not how.
No.
Okay, but why?
Cutting off the breast of a 13-year-old?
Well, you can just say it like that, but what?
Yeah, so this is the thing. This is what I talk about with intuition and stuff. I don't. How do I say this? This is, let's see. I don't know how I can convince someone that cutting off the breasts of a 13-year-old girl who believes that she is the opposite sex or should be the opposite sex, when there is not a single study in the history of the world that has proven the efficacy of this.
Well, hold on. What do you mean by proving the efficacy? Because if you're saying a 25-year study, I don't think those exist. If you're saying incredibly positive outcomes, reduces suicidality, like
over what period of time?
Whatever how long they've been conducting these studies. So not 25 years, but like
the use. Okay, so now this. Okay, so, and I don't talk about this issue anymore because I'm like
you've probably debated this into the ground. I'm sure. If you were talking about it 2 years ago.
Yeah. So the empirical question is, are there any studies that prove this efficacy? And I'd say the answer is unequivocally no. The defense.
But what's your criteria for efficacy?
Long-term study.
Right, so it's until it's 25.
Child, a decision, like for example, puberty blockers that we know reduces damages fertility, if not outright destroys it.
Yeah.
Okay, a 13-year-old. The idea that we think can common sense.
Please don't use it. It's my trigger word.
Yeah, see, this is the fundamental difference between you guys. Like, I have zero problem in the history of the fucking world saying 13-year-olds are not in a position to make a medical decision that will permanently inhibit their ability to have children when they are 18, 20, 30 years old.
Yeah, by themselves. But if they have parental consent and several psychological gates that are like, hey, we have to talk about like how much this really is worth diagnosing you. Like what are these criteria?
You know what I think?
Like, it's not just, hey, Billy, get your parents' consent, sign this form. All right, cut off your whatever.
Many children have been harmed by decisions that their parents made.
Mm-hmm.
That the parents genuinely believed was in the best interest of the child.
I'm sure that's happened. And if there were...
And I think that is what's happening here.
Well, here's the thing. If a long-term study comes out and it turns out it's totally cool and everyone's super still happy with it, would you not say that based on no evidence that there's this giant negative problem right now, you've now prevented a bunch of people who wanted to do this from doing this of their own volition because of vibes of common sense?
Yeah. So here's what I'll say. If we have a 25-year study that says that cutting off the breasts of 13-year-old girls produces positive outcome, and it's a rigorous study, and conservative doctors would even have to admit it's a rigorous study from the methodology, then yeah, of course, sure. I don't believe that that's how reality is set up.
No. I'm saying if that came out... No, hold on. Before you do, my question was, if that study came out, hypothetical world, where it's like, okay, it's undeniably positive, everyone agrees. It's like, wow, okay, I guess everyone was just happy with this. Do you not think that because there's in lieu of the evidence that this is some hugely negative thing, other than your common sense, that we were not doing it for your vibe reason? Preventing thousands of people from getting what the surgery.
So it is the case. For example, it is the case that there are 13-year-old children who, if you did cut off their breasts, would be fine because they'd end up being transgender adults, and so they just got ahead of it. So so there is a proportion of people that will be fine. The question is, how many people will you harm in the process? So at a certain point, if the ratio is 10, I don't know what's the acceptable ratio. It's like, I don't know, if you had a drug that 50% of the people who took it became permanently ill, I don't know, what is the standard for medicine now?
I don't know what the percentage is. I'm sure that there's
I
know in flight safety, it's like times 10 to the 9, like a giga worth of accidents for flights. So I don't know what it would be for medical.
Yeah. So for extreme complex, I don't know, treatments, let's say 80, 90, like 90% of the people that undergo this, if 10%, I don't know, if 10% of the people who get a treatment die or become suicidal or whatever, I don't know. But hold on.
Hold on. Wait, yeah, because if a bunch of them, if way more than 90% of them become less suicidal, that's good, right? And we know that's true.
Yeah, but No, we for fucking sure don't know that's true whatsoever.
Wait, there are extensive studies about reducing the suicidality. Not in the long run, maybe not in 25 years, but at least in the short term.
No. Yeah, so, okay. And this is why I stopped. when you make a claim like that, the only way now to get past this is for us to literally you send me the
Pull up
study ahead of time.
The studies,
I send
yeah.
it to you ahead of time.
Well,
We both
to
research
be
it for
fair,
2
you
hours,
talked
and then
about
come
this
back
with
to it.
Vosh 2 years ago. You still haven't looked at that study, or? I know you haven't looked at it recently.
On my own accord, I've spent going back to the issue of I probably spend too much fucking time on issues I have no control over. Yes, I've looked through the fucking study, the Cornell meta-analysis, and pulled through, 10, 15 of them, and gone to Sci-Hub and pulled them out. They're all fucking trash. They all of the issues that people would lay at the feet of the Lisa Littman study are present in those. The point is,
well,
hold
to
on.
be clear for my audience, the Lisa
let me
Littman one
help
was
you.
interviewing parents of transphobic moms, and the other
selection
ones
bias.
were
Okay, no,
versus
that's not what it was. No, it's not what it was. The way you're framing it now. This is my point. I don't even want to discuss it because it's just like that's not how it's.
All right, we can.
But to be clear, that same selection bias was there. It was pro-trans kids organizations where they pulled those other studies from, like the Cornell meta-analysis.
But it was asking the people who actually did the surgery whether or not they were happy.
Yes, less than 2 years after the surgery.
Sure, but it's the difference being you're equating people who had the surgery done to them and the moms of people who disagree with the surgery.
Do you believe that there is such a thing as common sense?
No. I think there is a normal set of things that you could probably find in like an average set of the population where it's like, yeah, most people think you shouldn't kill each other.
This question. How about this? Let's do
but
this.
No, I don't think there's common sense.
Let me ask you a question. If it was the case that we had studies that proved that, because here's the issue that you're pointing out. It's like, look, for every 100 kids that have gender dysphoria, X number of them would actually benefit from getting the surgery, right?
Mm-hmm. Which, to my understanding, and this could be wrong, is very high.
Like it's 1,000.
Over
you're wrong.
90.
It's just no shred of evidence whatsoever. So that's my point, and we can have this whatever.
Okay.
But it's X. Now, in your mind and the mind of the audience, X is either 1 or 99 or whatever. Okay, it's X. There's X number of people who have gender dysphoria and would benefit, and then there's Y. And Y are the people who it happens to them, and
it's
they end up not
negative.
benefiting.
Right?
Okay.
They're like, oh, I detransitioned. Okay. This is horrible. It increased my suicidality. Yeah. This is what Y is. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. If there was research that gay conversion therapy worked, and we could correctly identify that population of X, would you be okay with gay conversion therapy?
No, I would say that it's effective, but I think the difference being that unless you could demonstrably say that being gay was more harmful, in the way that you could make the argument that, like, hey, if you do want to get this surgery, you might be infertile. You are making permanent alterations to your body. This has to be something you have to be very, very sure of if you're going to get it.
Let's say the studies prove that gay conversion therapy produced the positive outcomes that we're talking about with like double mastectomies for children.
It's like if you did gay conversion therapy, 95% of the people you did reduce their suicidality. Yeah. Yeah, that seems like a good thing.
Okay. There's a
if
world
that was
where
the case, by the way, it's not.
Yeah, this is hypothetical,
yes.
and it's not, by the way.
I'm
That's
just,
why I say
if someone clips this and it's
that.
like, oh, soy pill supports gay conversion therapy, I don't know.
I'm not going to go far in life if.
Of course, now I got a super chat. I'm sure it's relevant to that. But go on, sorry. So if that was the case, and I would say, yeah, if you reduce the suicidality of 95% of these children by doing this seems like it's probably a good thing based on the way you've laid that out.
I would say, well, wait a second. Why are these kids suicidal in the first place? Because they've been convinced by their Christian parents that if they're gay, they go to hell. So maybe we should address that.
Sure. It's like, so what is the suicidal coming from?
Like, why are 13-year-old girls suicidal?
Well, have you asked like someone who's trans like this question?
I've talked to several transgender people on my channel.
And usually the ones I talk to at least say it's because I feel like I'm in the wrong body. Every time I look at myself, I feel disdain and I want to be in the right body. And
yeah, that's called body dysmorphia. Why do we not? That's what anorexics say.
Sure. And if the studies showed that we could talk people out of it or give these people medications that would convert them to be not trans anymore, and this is the best outcome for them, I might support that in the same way I would support an anorexic person to be given some sort of appetite invigorator. What's the opposite of suppressant?
No. Would you support if an anorexic girl said, if I don't take Ozempic, I'm going to kill myself?
Mm-hmm. Would I support her taking?
Would you deny her taking?
This is super hypothetical, but if
of course
there was a bunch of studies that showed that the best way to get anorexic people to stop being suicidal.
No, not the best way.
No,
We don't, well, okay,
to
fine.
my
The best,
understanding, right? Because this is what you
yeah,
do too. You defer to the people that know better than you, and I don't fucking know, right? Like I can't get.
yeah.
I'm not trans. I can't get inside the mind of a trans person. I don't know what the best thing to do is. I'm not a doctor who's done this a bunch. I don't know what their best thing is. My understanding is that the best way to do it is the surgery or the gender affirmation, right? So if it turned out like common sense would tell me, yeah, that seems fucking insane
Right.
to give Ozempic to someone who is starving themselves because they need more food.
But if we had studies,
But
that
if
over
the
2 years
study
were like,
showed
damn,
the
it reduced
health
their
and
suicidality,
mental outcomes were better afterwards, then I would say, well, I guess I'm wrong.
and you would then be okay giving Ozempic to anorexics.
If the study showed that it improved their outcomes,
Okay, fair enough.
afterwards, yes.
So fair enough. Now here's the final question. If it was a case that we had studies that prove that we can give certain this is I'll say this several times. This is a
Yeah.
hypothetical extreme designed to illustrate the
In a
moral
video
principle.
game, in a book, in a fictional
Yeah.
universe, yes.
If we could empirically prove that we could properly identify which children were old enough to consent to have sex with adults, and the studies proved we could do it with 100% accuracy.
So there is like the reason
We're in a
this
fictional world
hypothetical is hard.
that has
No,
no
the reason the
bearing in
hypothetical
reality.
is hard is because I'm like, okay, like obviously we don't even agree what consent is in this current world, right? That's why every country has a different age.
Well, let me ask you a question.
So
Adults not having sex with kids, I would call that common sense. Like the fact that that's bad. Do you
why is it
disagree?
common sense?
That's why it's called common sense. I can't explain it. I
You
just
can,
assume it's
I can
common.
explain it. I can say that there's on average, there's going to be a huge power and understanding dynamic between an adult and a child doesn't understand
Okay.
the implications of having sex, and that's why a
This is,
child
by the way,
shouldn't
this is
have
the best
sex,
way
right?
to end the conversation. By
Yeah,
the way.
about pedophilia.
Which,
But look,
yeah.
but it's like I acknowledge that on the fringes, there's 100% probably a 17-year-old and 364
13
days.
do you
Well, hold on,
agree
let me
that there-
finish. Let me finish.
Okay.
Like, there is a 17-year-old and 364-day person who probably has the capacity to consent to sex. And there are, like, especially mentally disabled people, 40-years who don't have the capacity to consent to
Yeah,
sex.
correct.
So this is a on average thing that we apply to society because they're like, look,
Exactly.
we probably shouldn't be letting this
Correct.
happen.
Correct.
And that's not
Right.
common sense. Although you can say that it's common sense to think that, if you can't explain that,
No,
then you don't
no.
actually have
Yeah.
any knowledge.
Why is what you said, the power dynamic? Why is that common sense? Why is that wrong? Why is there? Who cares if there's a different power dynamic?
Because if you're exploiting someone, let's say someone doesn't understand, I can get pregnant. I don't understand the implications of having to raise a child. I don't understand the implications of STIs. I don't understand the implications of what sort of chemicals could be released when I have sex that might make me more attached to this person, that I don't know any of this. I don't have any sex education. Let's say they didn't even have sex education and they're 18. Like,
Yeah.
that is taking advantage of them in a way that I don't think is right.
Okay,
and I
why
think
is
most
that-
of society might not.
Why? Okay. Why is taking advantage of someone wrong?
Well, are we just going to break this down to like what is the objective
I'm waiting until
morality,
you
or-
admit that. I'm waiting until you realize what you said about there's no such thing as common sense is utterly foolish. Because at a certain
So-
point, it's called common sense.
Okay.
Why is exploiting someone wrong?
Is
I don't know.
common
Why the
sense
fuck
like
are you
people
asking
don't
that
want
question?
bad things to happen to them? Because
That would be common sense.
Okay, then there's common sense.
Yeah.
Then I agree. There's common sense.
Yeah, and cutting off the breast of a 13-year-old. So here's what I would say.
But the 13-year-old doesn't think it's bad. The 13-year-old's like, I
Well,
want
what
this
if
to
the-
happen.
So okay, I'll tell you this. I know adults right now who,
Mm-hmm.
when they were 13, had sex with adults, and they're glad they did it, and they think it was an important way to
Yeah,
explore their
Milo
sexuality.
Yiannopoulos or whatever just said stuff.
Yeah,
like
but
that,
I'm not.
right?
I'm not. Milo's a fucking meme and a joke. I'm talking about real
Okay.
people in my life who are glad they did it and are better off for it because it allowed them to explore their sexuality.
Okay.
And they might have. Now, this part is not true about the people I know, but I could certainly envision a scenario where it's like, well, I probably would have killed myself if I didn't have if
Yeah,
if,
like some like
yeah. Guess
look,
what?
If we're jumping to the major hypothetical world, like I see where you're going with this. And it's like, look, I'm not going to say that, well, because those people had positive outcomes, we should get rid of the law of age of consent. But if we showed all these studies that it's like, hey, there's better outcomes if children are exposed to sex education at 5th grade, I'm sure there could be a study. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
so
think
this
this
is
is
the
going to
thing.
happen, but like,
This is and
let's
this
say
is,
it
yeah,
happens.
This is the fundamental point. Is like there's certain things that I just commit to ideologically, and there's no
Why,
because
though?
I don't believe
Like
because I don't believe in because science because what you,
No, you do though. You've said this in one of your articles. You were like, "Look, I don't know how my phone works. I don't know how my car works. I have to defer to that." But you don't have common sense of my car works. You have common sense that my car will work because the people told me it would, and it does every time I use it. But
well, okay, let me give you an example of something that I believe that maybe you don't even believe.
okay,
I believe that karma is objectively real.
Okay.
That when you do bad things, you will pay for it at some point. And I believe that almost to the
I
depth
think
of my soul.
there's-
And I've never seen a study in the world, and arguably all the
Okay.
rational
I
reasons.
think that's
not true.
irrational, but do you think that's common sense? I mean, I can't say you don't believe it and like you're being
No,
delusional.
I wouldn't say it's common sense.
If
but
if that's what you've
vibes.
experienced,
It's intuition.
Sure. Okay.
It is certainly what I've
Yeah,
experienced.
well, I would reject that. Just you could see any amount of evil people that never get their comeuppance. Like, and what do you think about those people?
How do you know? Give
How
me
do
an
I know they
example.
never get their comeuppance?
Yeah. How do you know what was going on in their mind?
Who cares what went on in their mind? It matters what their actions were, right? Like if
That's-
they did a bunch of evil things.
The means by which we determine whether or not they got their comeuppance is in their own experience of consciousness, which we will never have access to.
Well, okay, wait. So you think because the morality in their mind was good, that the karma is
No,
completely determined by what you think is good and bad?
No, I think karma is determined by what reality judges as to be good.
Okay,
and
if a
bad.
Nazi who escaped Argentina never got punished for committing the Holocaust,
Yeah.
is that a failure of the karmic system, or because they thought they were doing the right thing?
I don't know. What if every night for the rest of his life he had schizophrenic nightmares?
What if he didn't?
That's what I.
But you
this is-
believe
it's a-
he did.
I believe. Well. Well, obviously, no. I don't believe every single Nazi that did it, but I believe that.
So why do you believe in karma then? Because clearly some of them got away with it and never felt bad about
Well,
it.
hold
in
on.
their
Not
lives.
not that's. The schizophrenic night fear thing is a hypothetical.
Well,
is
sure,
one
sure, sure, but
possible
like,
way that came out.
so you,
I don't know, what if
you-
he lives
you-
in fear? I don't know. What's a worse punishment? Getting executed by firing squad or living 40 years in fear of being killed by Mossad?
if you think that's what happened to him, or maybe he just fucking had a great fucking life the rest of his life. I mean, we don't
Yeah,
even
but
have
hold
to,
on, you
hold
understand-
Wait, we don't have to be hypothetical about this. There are Nazis that we've caught in Germany today that are like 80, 90, 100 years old that lived 50 years without any sort of comeuppance, and just now they're going to go to jail for a couple of years before they die.
Yeah, you don't know what goes on in people's minds.
But you're claiming you 100% know, because if they didn't think what you're thinking,
What did I just say?
No, hold on.
I have
Hold on, hold
I don't
on.
know.
You
this.
don't know,
This
but
is a
you
faith claim.
right. You faithfully believe in karma, and therefore they must have experienced some sort of equivalent negativity to committing the Holocaust in their brain over the course of their lives. And if not, then your system is
No.
not true.
No. This life or the next.
Okay. Okay.
Do you think I'm insane for believing that?
People believe insane stuff. I don't think you're.
Do you think the
insane.
idea that after death, reality in the way that well, not in the way we experience it certainly, but do you believe that there is? Do you believe it's reasonable to suspect that after you die,
something is there.
still happens?
Reasonable? I mean, we have no reason to believe one way or the other. There's impossible to
true.
tell. So
Well, this is the ultimate. This is
it's
just, I mean,
rational. I
really-
think a lot of people rationally believe
really,
it, because
what I need
otherwise,
to do is I need to just make this point earlier, because really what we're just talking about is the problem of I think it's empiricism, where it's like you technically have no way to prove that I'm conscious, right?
well, everyone's a robot. Buddy.
verifiably
I'm the main
impossible.
character. Yeah, you're
Correct.
right.
But that's the meme that my point about, like, at a certain point you have to make assumptions that are unverified. You can't are unfalse, or you can't.
Right,
verify.
but I can assume you're conscious because you act like me, and I know I'm conscious, or to some extent. I don't have any
You've
reason
seen
to
what
believe
AI
in
is?
afterlife. I think a sufficiently complicated
you know
AI
you're not-
is
hold on.
conscious. I could be an AI. I don't know. I might have been born yesterday, and all my memories
yes.
came in.
Hold on. From my point of view, you could be an AI. I could not be, because I know because I am experiencing.
Have you seen inside your brain?
No. Well, it depends what you mean by AI. You mean like I'm not conscious?
No,
Does AI mean not conscious?
No, AI means you're like a
I
synthetic
know for
being.
a fact that I'm conscious.
Okay,
It's
right. You think
it's
therefore you
I
am.
can't prove
Yes.
it otherwise. Yeah, because I suffer, and I can't just rationalize or think it away. And
Yeah.
suffering is a precondition for consciousness. So whether or not you experience suffering, I technically can't ever prove, because you could be. I can't get inside your brain.
Oh, I suffered. I've been suffering a lot recently, actually. But
Oh, I believe that, but my point
you
is
can't prove
technically
it.
that's unprovable.
but you believe it. But I don't think that your
And I
belief
do.
in my suffering is equivalent to the belief in
Okay,
a
so there's a
karmic.
spectrum now. So we agree
afterlife.
that
This is such a good way to wrap this up, because yes, there's a spectrum of politics, there's a spectrum of belief, and I think that you are equating things that are like on the crazy ends of that spectrum with things that are very much in a reasonable and understandable part of that spectrum.
Yeah, I'm aware. I have existential doubt. I doubt it. I doubt that, like,
there's an afterlife
like
or whatever.
yeah, of course. Well, I have no fucking way of knowing, and I kind of don't think. I'm not afraid of death.
There is one way to
well,
know.
I'm afraid of dying.
Which I won't tell you how to do it.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Can I read some super chats? Because some of these are addressed to you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Zetsui 655. Oh, Zetsui, $10. How would you being Paul, how would you create a standard for the government intervening in opposition to the parent and doctor view on the child's health? Common sense is not going to cut it. We need an applicable standard. So one more time, because I was kind of weirdly worded. How would you create a standard for the government intervening in opposition to the parent and doctor in regards to trans kids? Like, what's the legal standard? If you
a reasonable person standard. You ever heard of it? It's called common sense.
So it's funny you say that because it sounds silly, but there is a reasonable person.
Entirely
in legal parlance, there is. Hey, a reasonable person would agree that this is
like the foundation of our legal system, by the way.
But
it's not like
when you have this thing that's so dynamically polarized between half the country, how can you then apply the reasonable person? Because this is a conservative viewpoint. Reasonable standard is that we should just never do this, right? And it's like, okay, well, a bunch of people don't believe
that. Average, which by the way, this is the case. The polling on this is crystal clear. The average person thinks it's
okay, but what if the reasonable standard is that slavery is cool? Like, is that now what we should defer to as?
Well, then we have a bigger problem. Well, then we have a bigger problem than what's being asked here.
Well, for the trans thing, but
the government standard.
Well, the government standard is what's reasonable.
It's like, well, if okay, here's the thing. If most of your population thinks it's reasonable to own slaves, then I promise you, there's no solution. There's no government solution other than war or.
Well, yeah, that's how we got rid of it. Actually,
considering
how many people believed it was okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think the standard should be between a bunch of medical doctors and the parent and the child if they're all consenting, and I don't think it's the same as conversion therapy because there's clearly
because you have not seen the evidence.
Well.
You have not looked at the studies yourself.
No,
right?
I have. I just haven't looked at them for this conversation.
Okay.
But if the studies came out and said, hey, conversion therapy helps 99% of people and it's actually really positive, then I would support that if that was the case. And my understanding is that was the case
maybe. I don't know.
Because I did read those studies when you had the debate and Foch has talked about it like a million billion fucking times.
Yeah.
Okay, Moments Captured, $5 says, it used to be common sense for girls to be married off at 13 and have kids before they were 18. Common sense is not real. Well, I would disagree with this one. I think you would too, right? Because at the time that was common sense. But this is why I don't like the idea of common sense, because it's just whatever your average person kind of feels in their gut, which I would never really want to defer to.
Well, let's get rid of the reasonable person standard in law.
I think the reasonable person standard is because
it's very hard. Why do you support the existence of the reasonable person standard?
Because I was about to say because it's very difficult to break down in language exactly what one means without finding a bunch of exceptions. So while there is a legal sense of common sense, I still don't think that you can now appeal to that for most things, especially because you don't appeal to the reasonable person standard for a lot of stuff in law, right? Like there are explicit things like, okay, this is breaking the law and this is not. Like, I think that...
hold on. Every instance of breaking the law is technically tested against a reasonable person standard. Because the first thing you have to say is, well, it depends on what happened. It's like, well, what happened here? What would a reasonable person have done in this scenario that was not trying to murder the person, so on and so forth? So literally the entire there's a good image of like all these rocks stacked on top of each other, and then in the bottom right corner there's like a little rock that the whole thing is standing on.
Okay, wait, hold on. Wait. Let's talk about this then. Actually, I think I have a better way of synthesizing this question. You say, I am anti-trans mastectomies because common sense tells me that's not okay. Now, if I poll people...
it's a combination of the evidence.
Sure. Okay, let's say the evidence did exist, but common sense was still against that. What if most people still thought it was a good idea, and you were the outlier there? Would that change your mind, or is the common sense your gut feeling, or the majority's
I would focus
feeling?
On a different issue at that point.
Wait, what do you mean?
I would say, well, I live in a society that's so fucked that I'm gonna have to start joining.
My point is,
resistance.
Is common sense your gut, or is it the most people's gut? Because I think that when you say that's my common sense, it's because I think most people believe it.
Well, I think common sense is probably not the best term.
Okay, I agree with that.
That's my point. It's like defining the word experience. Can you define the word experience? No. Can you define time? Define the word time. Define the word time.
It depends on the context, right? A segment or a moment that extends beyond a certain set of moments based on how we've defined that moment to be.
Okay, define the color blue.
Well, that is completely.
Yeah, right. Okay, certain words, it's like, dude, defining them defeats a purpose. Common sense is that common sense is all of those things that you and I don't need to say explicitly but take for granted. Now, if we have different stuff there, then it's like, okay, this is.
But blue is different to different people.
No, let me answer your question directly. True, yeah, there's colorblindness. Yeah, but hold on. This is why I said that we have different intuitions. It's like, it is the case that you and I could just simply have different intuitions. And like, well, what's common sense then? It's like, well, the common sense to an extrovert, what's common sense to an extrovert is very different from a common sense to an introvert. Like, what do you want to do with your Saturday night? It's common sense. We'll go to the bar. It's like, no, it's common sense. We fucking play Settlers of Catan.
Well, let's agree with you and say that common sense is at least this encompassing idea of a lot of things we take for granted in society that almost no one debates on. That's common sense. Let's call it that. The reason I take issue with that is if a scientific study comes and then goes against that common sense, why would I go to my gut feeling if I'll be hesitant. I'll question the methodology. I'll read into it. But if it then says like, hey, I'm wrong, and this gut feeling, would you argue that there are things that would seem intuitive that are not true?
Of course.
So why ever rely on it?
That's why science is so fucking great.
Well, yeah, but why rely on it as the like backstop of how you determine policy if it's obviously not based on things other than what you feel?
This is my fault. This is my fault. Talking to Destiny. I condemned myself to the vibes guy.
Yeah, I mean, kind of.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, people can watch my videos and see if I don't believe in facts or logic.
I don't think you don't believe in facts.
I know.
Or
I'm not saying you do. I'm not saying you do. I'm talking to the fucking Destiny fans.
Well, some of them are in here because I debated them too. So we've got our own problems.
Yeah, I don't.
Look, hey. Apparently, I'm making a lot of money right now because
scientific
people want to ask you
evidence is
questions.
strong?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, like, should we use science? Yeah, but the question is, are there any things? Like, is the ultimate standard of knowledge like a peer-reviewed study?
It's not the ultimate standard, but I will hold it in much higher regard than my gut feeling because I don't know shit about dick. So, like, why would I defer to myself? Right?
I mean, because there's certain things like how
most
do you know,
things I don't defer to myself.
There's like morality can't be determined by peer-reviewed study.
No,
like,
but what morality leads to can be.
This is the classic Humean thing of what is, you can't derive an is from an ought. Excuse me, you can't derive an ought from an is.
My mod just had to super chat me because I was ignoring my Discord. Here, let's move on to some of these other questions. I'm sorry. All right, AceX222, thank you for the super chat. I haven't been thanking you guys. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, we can wrap up. I'm sorry, but I'll try to go fast. This is kind of mean. It's poking. Do you mind if I read a mean one? I know you had a whole
given
video.
How wonderfully and completely absent aggression this conversation has been, I think it'd be uncharacteristic if you did, but I'll make an exception.
Here we go. All right. This guy is not intelligent, doesn't have the capacity to actually analyze his beliefs. This conversation is pointless, but I will defend you here. He used the S in analyze, so he's British. He also gave me pounds, so we can just kind of disregard everything he says. So.
He said that sounded like it was an attack on you.
That's true. He didn't actually use a proper noun there. So
No. He clearly was referring to me as not. He said this conversation was pointless. He basically said you're the kind of person that wastes your own time.
That's true. That is an attack on me. Why am I talking to you? God damn it. All right. Moments Captured has super chatted $5. The willingness to move the goalpost when common sense doesn't agree with his position means he cares more about his gut than the science on this. What do you think about that? I don't know if I even agree with that, but I see what he's saying.
Can't derive an ought from an is. Look it up. I mean, that's what we're arguing here. That's really what this is. This is literally a philosophy. The point that I'm making is you can't derive an ought from an is fundamentally, but like there's a reason this discussion has been happening for thousands of years.
Well,
although that particular phraseology was Hume, which is only in the last couple hundred.
I got into this kind of back and forth with Michael Knowles in a conversation that he'll never air, I guess, because he didn't like it.
Michael Knowles?
Yeah.
In what context?
I went to one of his things at Berkeley. I did a Q&A. They liked my back and forth, and they invited me for his after show. I can't find it anywhere. I don't even know if they ever posted it.
Fucking coward. Okay.
It might be somewhere.
Not you.
Yeah. No, I think he's a terrible person. Anyway.
I could probably agree with that.
Cool. Hey, I want to end it right there, but
I'm generally not in the business of just like, even if like even someone who hates like women and says like they should all get back in the fucking kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I'll say, like, obviously if I'm talking to like a friend about, yeah, he hates women. And I literally was just watching the Destiny versus Andrew Wilson conversation. I streamed it and I was like, Andrew hates probably fucking hates. No, I didn't say it. I implied because he fucking probably does.
But even like saying, like, to the degree that we would consider hating women. But hey, he loves his wife. He treats her like a diamond.
I guess more specifically, I wouldn't even. You're right. I wouldn't. hating someone, whatever. Like calling someone a misogynist. It's like simply even if I genuinely believe someone fits a description of a misogynist or a racist, almost on principle. It's like the word snowflake. Like even if I genuinely believe that someone is so weak-minded that they perfectly fit the definition of a snowflake that the conservatives use, like I'm not going to use that term just because it's so fucking dumb.
Because it's too loaded, or
yeah, it turns people's brains off.
Well,
even if
I want
is
to take
racist
back
and
the
you call
term
them
racist and Nazi from the people who've been incorrectly applying it to
Yeah,
people.
so
probably
I
doesn't
think it's
apply for them,
it's a
so.
circumstantial thing. I think it's been abused too much. But anyway, you had a
Yeah, well, me and Michael
chat?
Forth had this back and Michael Knowles had
Knowles.
this back and forth where we were talking about like, why do you believe what you believe? Why do you defer to your gut ever? Because it seems like you apply this inconsistent standard where, yeah, I don't know how my car works, so I'm trusting the science on the car, I'm trusting my science on the plane, I'm trusting my science on this, but just because I don't have a gut feeling about that, because that's a great thing I take for granted part of my life, now I'm going to start questioning, well, this thing seems a little weird, so I will just now question this random thing just based on my ideology, and it's completely absent of any empirical backing. It's just, well, that doesn't seem right, so I'm just not even going to consider this as a viable thing. I'm not going to look into it. I'm not going to, I'm going to ideologically deconstruct this study, not because I actually have a problem with methodology, but because of what I already believe.
Do you think Destiny is capable of gaslighting the women he's with?
I think it's evidently true that he did, right? Like, that's just come out.
And do you think that he could craft the most powerful, logical argument possible to get them to not trust their own gut?
Do you think it's possible that in the same way he could do that a scientist could be wrong?
Gaslighting is getting someone to not trust their gut when they should trust their gut. That's sort of what that means, right?
Sure. But I'm
I
not,
believe
just
you
because
can
it's
be gaslit
possible
on a media political scale.
Oh, sure. But is that because it's possible, again, with the same thing with the Chinese shooting of the substation, because it's possible, am I going to let that dictate how I form opinions about the things that are coming out of a scientific consensus? Like, no. Like, I'm going to question it.
Okay, well, you would have thought that gay people were a fucking affliction, according to the DSM.
Well, if my gut feeling was, oh, I don't think this is true because I know gay people and this, I'll go and read into that. And then if I were to actually look into the studies and how they were conducted, and you can make arguments about those, that's different, right? That's saying, hey, this is why I don't think this is good science, right? And but that's not.
Hold on, but this is my point. All the scientists at the time said it was good science.
Some of them did.
Who are you to evaluate?
Well, right. Who am I to on just a basis of like, well, I just don't trust this versus like,
right. So even though you would have known,
if
like,
other
people,
if this
just
was, hold on, wait,
wrong, like,
it's not just because people say it. It's all right. Well, in my gut, I know some gay people. They don't seem like they're mentally unwell. But I'm going to look into why this study says what it does. That would be how we now, post hoc, we can see this. These people are not doing good science. And you can look at studies now like that autism scientific study.
Yeah, and my claim is that they're
that.
not doing good science now. This is an empirical question. And this is why I'm talking about, we'll come back to the studies.
But no, because you're deferring mostly to, oh, my gut feeling is we shouldn't cut the breast sausage children. But not
comfortable saying that that's my gut feeling. Yes, my gut feeling is generally we shouldn't cut that.
But
hold on, all the ways that you said an adult could exploit a child sexually, how does it not apply also for cutting off the breast of a 13-year-old?
Because when an adult exploits a child, it's not the child consenting to psychological doctors who say, hey, this is good, pedophilia is good, a medical doctor saying, yes, this is good, this is going to cause a thing for the child, and the parent being like, yes, I'm okay with this.
There are clinical
two of those were the
standard.
Standard. We used to sell off, little kids. Parents used to sell them off for like dowries and shit like that, right? So obviously, two of those don't meet my standard. But if it's like the psychological analysis that this is good, it would seem to me that it would be good. And I don't think I would have the gut feeling
that that was therapy before.
Yeah, a few times actually. I don't think I'd have.
Every time I've gone, which is one time, it was very beneficial.
Yeah.
But I'm also aware of how non-scientific it is.
Well, sure, but I think
psychologist's analysis
of whether or not you have gender dysphoria. Okay, we can move on for this.
It's an empirical thing.
Yeah, all right, someone has been telling me to read these like 16 DMs. We're almost done with this, unless people keep sending me money. This is one that you. Okay. This isn't me accusing you of being racist, but when you talked about...
I am racist. I've already told you this.
Fair enough. When you talked about why someone might hate America, and you referenced a black person who might have qualms with the government, your go-to example was not, police injustice,
Correct, yeah. It was
redlining,
gang violence. Yeah.
No, it was mayors abolishing the police that would have otherwise
Oh, yeah.
enforced laws against the gang that killed the black guy's family
Yes.
member, and
Yeah.
that Democrats have ruined the black community. I think that is not a centrist position, regardless of whether or not you think that's true.
Well, it's an objective
Obviously,
fact.
I don't think
so. Centrism is about the truth. So I should say it's an objective fact. Well, there are no objective facts, arguably, because we live in a simulation potentially. But I believe that's indisputable.
Okay, I'm going to tell her to send it again, but I'm going to read this other one, and then I'll let you go.
Okay.
Let's see. The next super chat was 10.
Hold on, real quick. Do you disagree that abolishing the police was fucking terrible for what happened in Minneapolis and the murder rate skyrocketed the following 2
I don't
years?
agree with abolishing police, but to say that.
Okay, why don't you
when
agree
I,
with it?
I have a
because
whole.
you know it's fucking stupid as fuck.
Yeah, because I don't agree
And it's
with
black,
abolishing
poor
the
black
police.
people that pay the fucking price for it.
It's anyone that would
And
benefit
it's rich
from the
white
police
progressives
that
who
is-
advocated
Hold
for it,
on.
who are completely insulated from
Hold
those
on.
consequences.
Wait.
See, I can get mad too.
No, I'm saying that I have a whole video talking about why someone might hate America, and my go-to example is not a black person upset at abolishing the police. It would be a black person upset at the years of systemic racism and Jim Crow laws and people that are
I
still
would
alive
consider
today.
that systemic racism. A bunch of rich white fucking progressives insulated from the consequences of their own stupidity, which abolishing the police caused an increase
You know,
in
there's
murder
like a
rate. You're
lot of
laughing,
black
that's
people
true.
that are also for abolish the police,
Oh,
especially
really?
in BLM.
What are the
right?
really? What are the polls?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's majority.
What do you think
if
it is? If I told you if I told you it was 90+%
have-
that said it was strongly disagree or disagree.
that in the black community, I probably
Yeah.
believe you. That's probably true, especially because
right.
they're the people who like need the police the most.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Who
to call
recognize
this
how fucking stupid it is.
I could see that as a systemic racism insofar as this
Really?
hurts black
rich
people
white,
the most.
Rich white people
Um,
taking advantage of poor black people
When you
for
say
their own fucking
taking
moral
advantage of,
vindication.
do you think these rich white people are doing it because they're like, I want these black people to suffer
I
at
think
the
they're
hands
doing
of
it because
criminals?
they're narcissistic freaks who care more about looking virtuous than actually doing something to make a difference for
Okay,
black people.
Wait, I'm gonna steelman the fuck out of people who want to abolish the police, which I don't want to do. So bear with me.
Okay.
I'm some dipshit Weinmond liberal who has lived through the George Floyd protests, and I think that 500,000 black people are shot every day by cops.
Yeah.
I think we should stop this, get rid of the police. Is that,
Yep.
do you think they're exploiting or they wish
Nope, not that
harm on
initial
the-
reaction. But if you become someone who dedicates political activism to getting it done despite all the resistance and all the fucking and you ignore every possible fact in front of your face that says this is fucking stupid, you're doing it for virtue signaling. And you're a narcissistic.
At the very
freak.
least, they're naive and ignorant. I think that's very
At the
different
very
from...
least, I 100% agree.
Sorry,
with that.
excuse me. At the very worst, they're naive and ignorant, it seems like. Versus where we're
Okay, we
talking about
disagree.
like... oh, okay.
No, we disagree.
I think that it's hard to call that systemic racism in comparison to, hey, let's not let black people live
Okay.
here 'cause
Also,
we
I
hate
think
them.
systemic racism is having property taxes fund school instead of redistributing it, so it gets so rich.
There's
just
a
rich
much
white
there's a
people can't
much
live
better
together.
argument for that, I would say. Much better argument. Okay, last one here. Hertz
Sure.
Glass, super chatted.
Let's do both. As a centrist, I can do both.
10 euros. What is your biggest disagreement with the alt-right apart from racism?
What's your biggest disagreement with people who hate women aside from them hating women?
Well, I think the alt-right's a
with
little
the
more than
alt-right?
just racist. Yeah.
What would alt? I define alt-right sort of by being like ethnocentric racist. So what in addition, what are the characteristics of the alt-right besides racism?
That's actually a good question. What would be the
They're
next
in favor of
biggest
monarchy.
thing?
I'm not really in favor of monarchy.
Hertz Glass, if you're still in chat, give me some other
I'm in favor of
characteristics
the
because I don't know
Unitarian
if you would
executive
say.
theory.
Would you say like, oh,
I think
yeah,
they're
it's,
kind of.
would you say it's
wait,
racist to be theocratic? Would you say it's racist to be wanting a hegemonic society that is not necessarily like based on race, but just based on cultural values? Because I think those could be things that are white nationalist or alt-right that you could theoretically divorce from the racism and still hold a position that's very aligned with what they want. Just, hey, I'm just not adding the white part.
Yeah, I disagree with biblical fundamentalism in all religious fundamentalism. I think, by the way, you conflate, and this is, I'm giving you this advice as a smaller YouTuber. I'm in no position to do this.
Hey, I do
but
that
I would
all the
point
time. don't worry.
out that it is important to know that one of the reasons that Christian nationalists are able to continue to gain inroads, aside from me platforming them, of course, is because they explicitly point out that they're not racist because Christianity is explicitly non-racist. The whole central message of Christianity is all the different tribes are God's children, and when you accuse a Christian nationalist of being racist, and then they cite all of their Bible verses, then it's like, fuck, now I look dumb, and now these people look more credible than they otherwise should be. There are Christian nationalists that are racist, of course, like maybe Stephen Wolfe.
Probably Stephen Wolfe.
There are certainly, and I know for a fact there are other Christian nationalists, and probably.
Hey, and maybe even your black Christian nationalist friend is racist. I don't know.
He is for sure.
He is. Okay. Is he the wait? Is he the one who was saying the N-word? Because come on, man, come on.
No,
he's allowed to do that.
No, right? I would not be in business with someone who is a drug user, unless it's weed. That's cool. Okay. Or cocaine.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm against biblical fundamentalism and racism and misogyny and being anti-women. I think is kind of fucking
not cool.
Played out. Let's
All
say.
right, real quick. This is the clarification from the mod. You're not aligning yourself with people by agreeing on a topic, but when you don't know where those positions come from, you can unknowingly repeat harmful sentiments that do not logically align with your overall perspective. For example, look at blackface. I don't see any in front of me, but pretend we had one. While we can agree that it is something that is usually wrong to do, why exactly is it wrong? On paper, painting your face black shouldn't be seen as inherently harmful, but when you consider the history of blackface in America, how it was used as a form of racism, you then may change your opinion on whether it is appropriate to do in modern times. Just because an argument seems like it might be logical on paper does not mean it isn't perpetuating other underlying issues because of the surrounding history, aka who used it and why. This is almost done. When you repeat...
I just started putting black shit in my face. It's a fucking problem here.
When you repeat specific positions from people, no, you're not aligning with them, but it's important to know the history of the positions they hold so you can understand when it is damaging rhetoric or to avoid the same pitfalls others have not. Accusations of racism turn off the minds of people on the right, and promoting some of the more subtly harmful positions, like Stephen Wolfe, turn off the minds of people on the left. That is their whole comment. That was a lot. Do you need me to repeat any of it?
Thank you. No, I'm good.
Okay, well, I think what they're saying is, yeah, I can on paper say maybe there's nothing wrong with people aligning behind very great ideas like don't kill people that come from Christianity, but I would not take those from Stephen Wolfe.
Okay, well, my whole point is the way that you defeat extremists are by robbing them of their only good talking points.
I mean,
and I'm not willing to change my mind on this
but I don't think you're robbing Stephen Wolfe of his good talking points when you platform him and hardly push back on him. I think you are letting him spout a lot of things.
We established
that
that was not
in your audience
that is an improper
characterization. This is what I
think like being anti-free speech. Yes, most of my Jordan
on
Peterson fan audience who says he'd fucking die or
and
you have a hunger strike.
You know what? And I know you're not
speech.
Lying now because your room's clean as fuck, and I appreciate that. Mine's not.
It's one of my
full
few
of
redeeming qualities.
Last one. And I'll let you go. Zetsui, once again, thank you so much for the $20. Thank you everyone for the chats, by the way. I haven't been saying thank you because we're in debate mode.
Fuck all of you left-wing fucking shills.
We believe things based on predictive outcomes. I don't know how my car works. I believe it does work because I successfully drive places. A gut feeling is you trying to predict outcomes when you can't articulate why. I agree with that definition, right. But what about it? Are you just trying to... I don't know if that clarifies anything on whether or not we agree with that. But yeah, a gut feeling does not have good predictive empirical evidence as to why it would happen. It's just a gut feeling. And I don't think... I want to say this. I don't want to write off gut feelings. A lot of times they could be right.
I think you need to go back to therapy. I think you hate gut feelings too much. I think you need to explore why.
No, my problem with therapy was that every gut feeling I had, the therapist said, that's good. And I was like, okay, but how do I know if it's good? You're just telling me it is because I've framed this in a way from my own
this is one
experience.
of the problems. Your intuitions can be... Like, if you constantly lie... This is one of my things about karma. It's like, what happens when you lie? Like in fairly, mundane circumstances. Like, how much money do I owe you? $50. Instead of 20. Like when you just do that repeatedly over and over and over again for your whole life, well, you eventually get to a point where you literally can't distinguish reality from your own lies.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a form of hell. I think that that's a form of hell.
Yeah, I agree. If you weave a web of lies.
The karma thing. Now, do I have proof of that? I'll only know if karma's. Or look. The only way I'll know if what my gut is telling me about the afterlife is when Mossad fucking puts a bullet in my head.
Listen, I'll say this. If I die before you, and there's a good chance I will, because, I'm on the West Coast near Texas.
You don't criticize Israel enough. I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to do a 9/11 research stream. Did Israel do 9/11 research stream?
Well, I'll say
'cause
no. Look,
you know,
I
ca-
no, I
have
want
you
to affirm your
100%
belief.
honest
I want to affirm your belief before you do. I'll possess that little Roomba you got in the back there, and I'll do a little. I'll draw a dick on your floor, and that's how you know that there is an afterlife. Just so you know, I'm gonna do that for you. That's my.
Oh, when I die, you mean?
No, when I die, you'll still be alive. I'm gonna possess your Roomba, and I'll let you know like you were.
Oh, all
right.
right.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
okay,
I
cool.
can't give
It'll
you
be
a
like-
bet. I can't
yeah.
promise you that I'll give you money, but like I can do something that shows you that
Draw a
you were
dick,
vindicated.
yes.
Draw a dick. Yes.
Make sure it's circumcised too.
I don't know.
That's all I know. It's like in Interstellar when fucking Matthew McConaughey was like, Murph, you gotta be drawing a dick on my room.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
in the dust on your
it's
bookshelf, I'm
real!
drawing a
Yeah.
little circumcised. Everything you said about Israel was true. Don't go. The Mossad, they're waiting outside.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other?
That was all
Super
super chats. Final thoughts
Right.
on this.
Yeah.
I would like. Let me start off by saying,
Yeah.
I considered sending you my document before this to be like, look, I just
Good move not to. Good move not to.
Well, I don't know how it would have changed
I
things.
mean
all
that
much.
unironically. That was the right move not to.
I don't know how much it would have changed stuff, but it was more of this like, I don't, not like you.
Could you
personally.
please still send me that document? I'd be actually very curious to
Oh,
read it.
sure.
Or we
I
can
mean,
talk about it next time.
Well, first of all, it's a collaborative thing. I'll send it to you after stream. I'll link it to you, and you can dissect it.
You don't have to. Or you could send me like
an abridged version.
I'm
sure.
down to talk again about the things like that are, you know.
Well,
I'm
that's
sure
my
there's other
final thoughts.
things.
Is like, I'm in a cultural moment right now that a lot of people that are very close to me are suffering. I really don't like it. I want to fix it. I want to change people's minds, and I don't like your ideas. I don't like almost any of your
Okay,
ideas.
fair enough. So
and
maybe
I don't
it's
think
best that we do not. I would admire you for sticking to your principles. Like if you're saying, "Well, I platform."
I'm not saying I'll never
Stephen Wolf,
platform
you're
you
platforming
again
someone
in
who
my
platforms
life.
Stephen
I'm not
Wolf.
saying I'll never talk to you again.
And
in
you're
my
the
life. In
bigger
fact,
channel too, by the way. So
apparently,
you're more
we'll see.
problematic.
It'll change.
Be more
Like, I don't
problematic
want to start a competition, because if you get bigger than me, I'll be like, you know what? This is bad for the ideas, and that's when I'll make a video on you, when you get big enough.
By the way, ultimately, everything I say is co-signed by JJ McCullough, and you can put that on the record and clip it, please, and send it to him. Tweet it at him.
Hey, did he ask you about cheesecake on Monday?
Cheesecake?
Yeah, did he ask you if you liked cheesecake? Because he asked me, and I was like, oh, maybe he's just eating cheesecake. But then I saw he did a whole poll on whether or not people preferred cheesecake or donuts, and I'm like,
No, I
oh,
don't recall him
you
asking
singled
about
me out of your whole audience. Anyway,
That's fair.
I don't like your ideas. I really don't. I really, really don't. And I'm not. I don't
you
know.
do. You just don't know it yet.
Maybe not. Maybe you're going to convert. Maybe I'll be a radical centrist in a year. But I don't like your ideas, and it's not about you as a person. Because throughout all of this, despite what I said about you maybe you being popular and harmful, were you more popular? Or, I mean, even to the extent you are now, you don't seem like a bad person. I just think you're in the wrong spot, and I think that
Well, that's
friends,
how I know you're wrong.
Were
If you
we
don't think
friends
I'm a bad
before this?
person,
Well, maybe you are. No, sorry. Based on my current impression, I don't know.
I'm telling you
whether
I
or not.
am.
Okay, well, hey, when people tell you who they are, listen. Okay, maybe you are a bad person.
I am.
But I also don't think that I don't know how much
you
we
know
can
what?
get out of these conversations, because I think we're just so far like in different realities of understanding what's important, how the world
fair.
works. So
it's
no matter
logic.
how mad I
Listen.
got at your ideas, though, I appreciate that you came on here and talked about it. Oh, real quick, Inhale Crackers, thank you for the $2. Is asking if you're live. Are you live right now? Can he go to your chat? Can people-
No, I'm recording this.
Okay.
And I hope to post it if that's acceptable with you.
Okay, and last good thing to say, $5. Thank you much, John Whitman. I really appreciate it. The unique, morally considered, but very poor informed view of PFJ.
Look at you, platforming fascists and getting your audience to. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, informed view of. Okay, I thought that implied that at least one person in your audience is like, I might check out PF Young and watch some of his videos, because if that's true,
Well, here's the thing.
you're a terrible person.
I,
You're a worse
unlike
person
you,
than I
I am going to take responsibility for anyone that goes to your channel after this, because I'm putting your link in the description. If they want to go watch your stuff, they can.
Why would
But
you do
I
that?
think because
You
I
think
think
my ideas are terrible, and you just said we
because
probably
I
won't
think
talk
I
again.
have fundamentally pushed back on what you have to say in a way that I hope convinces enough people that your ideas are bad. So I think that's
You know
very
what?
different from what you did with Stephen
That's-
Wolf. I think if anything, if I had, and this isn't advice from a bigger channel, this is just like, hey, because I think you can rationalize, because I think you're not a maybe you are a bad person, but you're not
But
stupid.
hold on, you still disagree with my ideas, and yet you're being awfully cordial right now.
Well,
which
I
don't
want you to do
understand.
better things. I want the best outcomes for things. And I think if you at least push back a little harder on people that you, as you
This
claim,
is only
are too
convincing me
radical.
that I'm correct, because you started off hot, and now you're being a lot more acquiescent, which means I'm even
Well,
more
because I don't,
doubling
at
down
this
on my
current
ideas.
moment in the conversation, I don't think shouting at you is going to change anything. And I think I've sufficiently shouted at you enough in this conversation. But I do think that maybe if you take anything I say, even remotely to a T seriously, that you should push back a little bit. And you even seem to agree on that. And I just want to leave it on a like,
Would
hey,
you say I sufficient? Whether or not I'm right, do you think I pushed back sufficiently
on
against you in this conversation?
if I was bad, I think you push back. Well, you defended yourself. That's kind of different. You don't really know my ideas, and if anything, it seems like you kind of agree with them
No,
because
I
we
just
both
know-
would vote for
all
Bernie.
I know is you're suffering from Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah, I think if anyone watches me, they'll know that I hate the liberal wine mob Trump derangement syndrome, and right now it's very much the opposite of that. It is much like, oh shit, they were right. It just took them 8 years. So
That's fair. I'm gonna call JJ right after we hang up and be
I was gonna call JJ after we hang up.
I can't believe you fucking
Platformed this
Soy pill.
fucking liberal. Oh, did he tell you to talk to me?
I told him I was talking to you, or did he? No, someone had said that I should reach out to you, and then I saw they.
Interesting.
You DM'd me,
FD
and
said
then
I should
told
reach out
JJ.
to you.
Correct. FD said I'm his favorite problematic white guy.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm vying for S tier, all right? So you and me
You're
are.
not problematic enough. Okay?
Oh, you should watch some more of my stuff. That's the thing. If someone is problematic and fucking, all the liberal infighting that I get shit for has this problem, I think that should at least make you question just a little bit because, I love my misogyny, racism, and all that stuff, okay? It's all hilarious every time.
Nobody loves misogyny and racism more than I do.
No, because I love it more than you, okay? So let's not try to fight this
We'll
because
have
I'll
a
win.
competition.
All right, say the N-word right
Interesting.
now. Don't say it. I'm live.
I already
please.
said it on my stream before, by the way.
Jesus, really?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Okay. Oh, wait,
Depends
hold
what
on.
you mean by, depends what you mean by the N-word.
Before you... nuclear, it's my N-word, nuclear. Oh, I have to give you a
Naysayer.
Trump nickname. Real quick,
I'm
I
seeing
Hail
your
and Cracker
chat.
still wants to
Ask
give you
him-
money. Oh, yeah.
If
Oh, you
there's
got
a
it?
reason he isn't streaming. Mind you, this is implying he doesn't want his audience to see
No,
this.
no, I disagree. Crackers, he just records these, okay? He's gonna upload it. And if
I'm gonna
not...
upload it tomorrow
Yeah.
morning.
And it's gonna be me going... And it's gonna be him going, I'm the cool,
It's also
calm...
3 hours, so what I might
collected
do is
Jack.
I might just upload us arguing.
And not the
and
parts
then link-
where I'm reading super chats and we're having a great
Which would-
time.
let me ask
and
you a
I'm
question. Which would you
platforming
prefer?
You can
Which
upload
would you
whatever you
prefer?
want, man. I'm going to upload everything up until this conversation's over, to when it started. The live VOD is going to have all of it.
I know. You're live streaming it. See,
Yeah.
I guess I could upload a 3-hour video. It's not a problem.
Why not? Why not?
I
Hey,
would probably
and...
add timestamps tomorrow and then upload it Sunday.
Hey, if you do, send them my way. No, I'm not going to timestamp this. I'm lazy. Well, except
Well,
for when I quit
we'll
my
be
job.
slightly off, and I'm gonna use language that you'll hate, like soy pill. Soy's out at this point.
You've not seen me soy out. I will soy out in the future, and people
That's
will
fair.
see.
Oh, look, someone said I love Paul and I'm watching.
Who? Where? Ban him! Get him out!
Your
Get him
chat.
out of here! Get him out of here! Pesky Paul!
problem.
Pesky Paul's coming into my chat, and I platformed him. He's not very good. We don't like him. Paul,
All right.
I don't not
Hey,
like you. I just don't like
this
your
is a great
ideas.
conversation.
I hope you see the light, and I hope I don't see your light. Which
I think
is
that the
what you
light will
predicted.
make itself seen by you and I in its own time, in its own way. And I don't have any
Let's
evidence of that. I have no peer-reviewed studies that say that. But I mean this in the least unironic possible way. I really believe that.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for
Godspeed,
coming
sir.
on.
Peace.
That was coordinated. Wow. All right, guys. All right. Oh, that's a good freeze frame. Let me restart my webcam. Give me a sec. That was a stream. I hope you guys all enjoyed that. I have spent 4 days reading his Substack and watching his videos and screaming at Buckaroo about how much I don't like his ideas. I'm happy he came on. I do feel like I kind of ambushed him. I did lose respect for FD and other people who said this guy has good ideas, because I hate all of them, most of them, 95% of them. Woo! But we did it. We confronted them. We pushed back, and I'm happy that we did. Is Adam Ruins Everything right wing? No. What? He's like the libbest cuck of all time. Oh, you're saying he looks like him. Yeah, he does kind of. He's more attractive than Adam, though. Come on. Daniel Survivor, sadly, I came too late to the stream. I don't know what you discussed. I just discussed all his positions that I don't like. Who's better, FD or PF? FD, I love FD. I love his videos. I don't get the feeling that I got when I watched any of PF Young's videos, and that's why I'm so confused as to why you'd recommend him. I can only assume that he has not looked at the stuff that I have looked at. If he has, I'm very confused as to why he still wants me to talk to him. PF, if you're still here, I don't think he is. I was asking if you were streaming to, I don't know, if I were streaming to Dono, could be a good revenue stream. I don't know what the hell that says. I'm sorry, crackers, but you gave a lot of money, so still thank you. FD is incredibly hit or miss on his read of people. I believe that, but if he thinks I'm good, then I'm good. How would you react if you say, I gained respect for you because you lost respect for FD? Well, that's good. I mean, yeah, I lose respect for people that platform, or agree with people I don't like. So that would be good. I hate karma. This is going to bite you in the long run. Oh no, it's going to come back to get me. Do I support the independence of Montana? Nope. Keep it together. Kush. Hi, Soy. Hi, Kush. I give Soy Poll's performance a solid 9 out of 10. Thank you, Astrid. I summoned the Black Uncle into this chat. Is FD the Black Uncle? That is odd. Congrats. I don't think PF Young is used to having his positions challenged. He tended to jump into the maybe we're all in the Matrix arguments. Yeah, he was definitely not expecting it. And I almost felt a little bad, but I was like, look, like I'm not gonna like bring out studies and be like, I prepared for this debate and you didn't. It's like, look, this is all the stuff you said. All right. I'm just researching what you were talking about. Now fucking defend it, buddy. Because I think this is ridiculous. It's bizarre you both like FD because I actually didn't like him. I think I've heard FD has some crazy weird positions. I think I like what I've seen so far. I haven't looked through his whole library. FD pulled a dinner for Schmuck's goof on. Fuck! Oh no, this was whole. Oh no, if that was the case. It's a dinner for Schmuck. Like, yeah, you should talk to this guy. You'll have a great time. I think sometimes FD misreads people and doesn't get the full insight. I have been guilty of people I used to follow. Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to judge right away. Bill Jefferson, I love your name. I can just picture you. I hope you have a big, white, bushy mustache and you feed birds. Bill Jefferson, hello, so I just want to say hi. I'm still a young teenager. Fuck, I should have read the comment first. Living in a very conservative household, so it would be wonderful to be able to hear a good argument without yelling anger. Yes, I don't want to do this every time. I could have had a cordial conversation, but I was too mad by what I read to have a cordial conversation. Please leave an after-stream comment so I can check out your channel, Astrid. Oh, yes, check out Astrid. I give the performance 7 out of 10, ignoring all of Buckaroo's base DMs. You fucking write like 80 paragraphs, and I'm trying to talk to someone else and read chat. Give me 6 bullet points with 20 words, all right? Don't feel bad about it. He has no remorse about lying about you and saying you have TDS. I think he was joking. I don't think he thinks I have TDS. Or maybe he does. If he does, he's not making it very obvious he's not lying. Now you're chatting too fast. How are we supposed to debate people whose arguments are based on gut feeling? That's why I'm probably not going to talk to him again. I think that's like completely irrelevant. I talked to him because I was told to talk to him. I want to focus on things that are more important right now. Yes, FD signifier Achu. Motherfucker says I have TDS when I only started hating Trump post 2020, and I'm still right wing. Hell yeah. No, I hate Trump a lot more now than I did in the first term. Paul isn't a great debater. I think he's one of the best faith debaters. I do think he was being good faith in that entire conversation, to his credit. I just think his good faith is backed up by a bunch of really bad ideas. I would like someone who is entirely logical to argue with gut-feeling people. I mean, I'm like a Vulcan. I sent you fact checks. You're doing it too fast. You sent me like a fucking paragraph. And it doesn't matter because he's not going to accept it. I'll bring up a study, and then he'll be like, it's not good enough. I don't agree with that study. So it was the U.S. founded on secular or religious values. I think religious values, right? Or things derived from religious values, even though they are secular. Like, they said, separation of church and state, we shouldn't have a theocracy, but like, the ideas came from religion. I don't know. It doesn't matter. That's the whole point. I don't give a shit where it came from. I care what now is most important. I think my neighbor is lighting up a bomb. Okay. Thanks for this. I'm glad me sleeping straight after work, even though has screwed up my sleep pattern, has yet again got me to watch the stream. Well, thank you very much for checking it out, Film Nerdy. You buttface. I'm going to fucking revoke your mod privileges, Buckaroo. Hi, Soy. When's the inauguration video coming out? I can't guarantee when it's coming out. I'm going to grind it out this weekend, and I may or may not, in the near future, have a lot more time to work on videos. That's all I'll say. I think you should have hammered more on the fact that because his ideas don't have any real political capital, he will naturally drift towards whoever can capture the aesthetic of centrism. I really should have talked more about how, yeah, if vibes do capture you, then what? You're just going to go after whoever has the best vibes? You're not going to talk about, like, what makes the most sense? Because your gut feeling might be different than the vibe, right? Like, I don't know. Yeah. The only thing that makes me upset about being trans is just seeing tons of people constantly talking and getting mad about us. Sorry, Natalie. As someone who's not even like as pro-trans as people on the most far left, I just think it's ridiculous that there's anything but just common sense acceptance of people just existing, especially when they're like, hey, this makes me happy. It's ridiculous. And by the way, when I say that, for all you new people, I'm not saying I'm like anti-trans anyway, but like, I know I have differing opinions on like the sports take, and that makes me not as pro-trans as it could be. I have a trans family member right now who might be restricted from traveling because of the current Trump administration and the way that they're making birth certificates and passports change. It is ridiculous, and I think it's going to get worse, and I'm very upset, and I'm going to be defending these people to the grave. What are you supposed to say when they say this is common sense? You say that's bullshit. Please back it up with any amount of evidence. Seems like one of PS strategies is to stay monotone so you can freely claim statements as ironic. Yeah, a little bit, but I don't think he's bad faith. He was mad near the end. He was mad near the beginning. I sent you Bernie positions when you guys were confused about Bernie's positions on immigration. Oh, yeah, that would have been really helpful, Buckaroo. Sorry. This is why I need 3 monitors. Someone buy me another monitor. Have you seen FD's video on why he supports abolishing the police? I feel like I have, but at least in our conversation, I think it wasn't that bad. John Brown, how many subs? Like, yeah, his position was more like, hey, we should move this funding around to things that could help people better, like social workers. And that's what I think. I don't think that's abolish the police, but I don't know. I'd have to see. John Brown, how many subs and videos do I need to come on your stream? I mean, I don't think there's a criteria. If you present something that would seem like it would be a good conversation that I think would be helpful, I will talk to you. It's not about a size thing. Size helps 100%, but it's not the end all be all. Haha, penis. Oliver Batliner Soy, can I have an influence on how can I have influence on politics as a minor if you can't vote? You can find causes that you support and find nonprofit groups or volunteer groups, advocacy groups. You can shit post about it online. You can make YouTube videos. There's a lot of stuff you can do. Just look at what do you care the most about? Look it up. Find out what people are doing about it currently and if they allow minors to help. And there's probably a lot of those. Soypill, did you ask him about Trump wanting Canada as the 51st state? I didn't even get into that because I'm sure you would say that's crazy. Oh, God, so many chats. That's okay. I'm taking my time with my footage. I wish I knew how to edit. When I have time, and I will have more time, maybe, in the future, hint, will make a video on how to edit and put it for Patreon exclusive paying members only. Soy, you've seen the show Severance. Yes, I love it. And fuck, there's a new episode tonight. Thank you for reminding me. I'm going to go watch it after this. I'm not pro-trans. Otherling, I am pro-trans in every sense of the word. I'm just not as pro-trans as the most pro-trans people in the pro-trans movement, which is to say that I think, yeah, maybe, and I've said this before on stream, there might be some conversation about, hey, should we let trans women in women's sports when the entire purpose of women's sports was to biologically segregate these things? And I think we should reconsider this. And I don't like that trans people are being kind of excluded. I don't like that trans men get completely ignored in that conversation. I think there's a nuanced conversation to be had. But some people would consider that not full support of the trans community because you're just not accepting it, period. I am very pro-trans. I have trans family members and I love them to death and I accept them and I use the pronouns and I support them because they tell me that this makes them happy and I trust them and I don't need a 25-year study to do that. But that's not my gut feeling. That's just them telling me that. It is sample size of like n equals 12. The vibes contradicts the studies he picked up earlier. Yes, of course. It's just vibes when I want to. This is the problem I had with Michael Knowles. When are you doing the video on Musk running the government? I am going to talk about it in my inauguration video, and I've finished the script, got to edit it. Legionary, what did I miss? Everything! Thank you for showing up. Absurd Lance, the traveling is crazy with what they're doing with the passports. Yeah, it's fucking insane. Otherling, oh, thank you for clarifying for me, Daniel. His positions were just bad and not based on anything. Yep, I didn't say this because I was like, I don't know how being I want to be, but his fucking video where it's like, I read your hateful comments, I just like agreed with like every single comment. I was like, yeah, these guys are pretty on point. Trying to point out that society is what hurts minorities. Society is what hurts minorities, yes. Legionary, you would have loved this guy. I think the U.S. is a Christian in the way In-N-Out Burger is Christian. Yeah, like, yeah, they're churchy, but like, I don't have to be at all Christian to eat an In-N-Out Burger. This is a great analogy, by the way. If you guys don't know, In-N-Out Burger cups have like proverbs on the bottom. And you could go your whole life eating an In-N-Out Burger every single fucking day and never know this. And it wouldn't matter that without Christianity, maybe In-N-Out Burger would never exist. Because you can just say, I think burgers are good, and you don't have to acknowledge it. But you can be happy that it did exist and it got you to where you are. Great, cool. Don't care about Christianity anymore. In a perfect world, should people be allowed to believe in God? Sure, why not? Why should we stop people from believing in it? Oh, you're not asking me this. This is just a statement. Yes, I agree. Hi. Bill Jefferson, again, who's not an old man, you deceiver. You have an old man name, and it's not a bad thing, by the way. And you will be an old man one day. I hope you live a long and fruitful life. When are you doing the video on Musk running the government? Oh, this is the same thing I read. I'm going to do it. It's coming out soon. TM. Sports should be based on testosterone levels. Sure, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a sports expert. Absurd Lance, good night. Good night, you. Unionize your mind. Yes, the kids and the minds should unionize. Big Papa, I agree. Educate yourself. Oh, gosh. You guys chat so fast. This is only going to get worse as I get more fucking people. Everyone unsubscribe. Don't unsubscribe, please. We are the... Oh, no. Just trans commiseration, which sucks. Oh, also UCSD. Oh, yeah, if you can't tell, what UCSD? I'm wearing the shirt. Doxed. Oh, are you at UCSD right now? Oh, I transferred last quarter for MAE. Oh, no. Mechanical and aerospace. Any tips? Join the improv club. Make them funny again, because they sucked last time I got there. They were funny when I was in it. And then never do improv again. And study. I don't know. I took it seriously enough to pass. I can unironically help you with your homework, though, if you hit me up on Twitter DMs. I managed to rope my friend to help me be a researcher and script editor. Oh, awesome. Good luck. And hey, guys, I have my ladders segment in my video. If you ladders me at my thesoypill@gmail.com, I might promote your video, although I have picked the ladderer for the next video. My point of view is to change it from a gender-based system to a physically based system. Yep, could be a thing. He's essentially a 2020 Republican, except not racist. Well, I don't even know about the not racist part, but yeah. Where did you get my cartoon? Old ex-friend of mine drew it for me, and now I have a current friend of mine redraw it for all the dumb little positions she goes in. Fair enough. I expected that by not being pro-trans is you're disavowing neopronouns. I mean, I don't even disavow neopronouns. I think they're silly, but I'm like, who gives a shit? Why are we talking about this? Skull slept for 3 days. That's what you get for brain rotting. What people like PF mean by not being too pro-trans. Yeah, that's not the same as what I mean, right? Yeah, he's not too pro-trans in the sense of, hey, I'm going to go against the scientific consensus that people think this is okay. I support Jordan Peterson, who says that, Elliot Page is a degenerate, and then defend him because I either don't know that happened or I think I want to give him leeway. So yeah, I'm definitely not the same on trans issues as a PF Young. We did a little usual Discord chat, blah, 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 blah. Oh no, I'm missing so many chats. Okay, there's enough here. Soypill, do you feel like the internet is going left or right politically? Definitely right. Oh my God, so much. The internet is, look at Twitter, look at like Instagram, like so many of the comments are very, very right in a lot of ways, and that's bad, and that's why we gotta push back. Do you think money should be abolished? No. Hormone blockers are fine, irreversible changes are inevitable, might as well change what changes you want. That's how I feel about it if it seems like it's producing better outcomes for most people. What are you going to eat after the stream? Oh my God, you just made me hungry. Probably some popcorn. Do you have a post schedule? I don't, and I never will, because why would I try to adhere to a schedule? Although I will in the future, when I have more time on my hands, wink, post at least 1 to 2 videos a month, if not more. I will try to do that because I think I'll have to. Wink. I don't think you understood what I was trying to say. Hi, I'm sorry if I didn't. You can try to clarify. I hoped Elon being exposed as a fake gamer would make people lean off the right, but it doesn't seem to have any effect. Yeah, I don't know why people take Elon seriously anymore. He was a centrist in the way his views are completely all over the place, but I don't see how he could say he's a centrist when so many of his views are very radical. Well, he's a radical centrist. Duh. What does my life have to do to be political? I just want to be cute. What a terrible time to discover myself. I'm sorry, Crimson Crusader. I'm sorry that your life is politicized. I'm sorry that the choices that you make are going to be up to people that you'll never meet and will change whether or not you can be happy. It's awful. That's how politics works. Legionary, good night. Good night to you. Daniel Survivor, does Jordan Peterson still support old Jordan Peterson? Probably not, actually. I think Jordan Peterson's gotten a lot more radical. We are in the dark timeline, Natalie. What do you think we could do to gain more space on the internet as the left? Have better ideas and better... Hey, like I said, this is something I agree with PF on. Memes. Vibes. If you're just going to get up in arms and pearl clutch at everything, everyone's going to think you're a prude as shit. Go make funny left memes. Take all the text out. Make funny things making fun of people. I love making fun of people. It's great. Mock the right. It'll work. It'll push people away from the right. Are you a social democrat or a communist? Probably a social democrat. Bernie-ish, I don't know if he's a communist. I support German economic models. How do you keep a level head when debating? Because I grew up and was forged in the Modern Warfare 2 1v1 Rust sniper lobbies, and so I know how to keep my cool to a degree. Unless they're stupid. I could do stupid, and I can do smug, but smug and stupid sets me off. I think Tim Pool, I would never be able to debate him because I want to shoot myself in the face. I hope I could say that, TOS. But what's it called? And Andrew Wilson too, where I'm like, you're not a stupid person, but like you have such a fundamental misunderstanding of things. You get all this like dumb pedantry. Like I would just be so frustrated regardless of whether or not we would have an interesting conversation. It's just so annoying. Where's the merch? Oh, I'm going to start making merch soon. It'll happen. I'm going to get my friend on that and I'll start paying her too. Well, paying her more than I already do. Being trans is rough. I'm literally just waiting to find out if I'm going to get kicked out of the army at this point. Oh my God. Yeah, I saw today they're not letting you apply, so you're probably going to get kicked out. That's so awful when it's captured. Although, do you really want to be in the army? I know getting kicked out sucks because you're going to lose all the benefits and all that, but like, hey, the Chinese are going to shoot all our substations and you don't want to be shot in the Great Chip War. Meme our way out of the White House, or to the White House, yes. No, it's not. Papa, I'm not talking about Rust, the fucking bullshit survival craft garbage. I'm talking about Rust, as in the map in Modern Warfare 2. You would know that if you were a real gamer, but you're not because you're a girl. When am I going to do a TF2 stream? If I start to get more time on my hands wink and I want to celebrate, I will do a fan stream where everyone can come in and play TF2 with me. And by everyone, I mean 11 people because it's a 6v6. The worst part about Jordan Peterson is he sounds like Bob Odenkirk. Nah, Bob Odenkirk sounds better. People like PF get me very frustrated. I wish life never found a way. I wish he was never born. Well, I understood that one, Hi. In Minecraft, says Shri. Yes, in Minecraft. What I say is, why is it so controversial to say it is okay to punch Nazis? Because it's a violation of freedom of speech. It is. I want to punch people who say I want to kill you, or like I want your entire family to die, but like it's controversial because it's like, well, we should let them say it. Okay, but you know, I'm not going to be upset when they do get punched. You shouldn't do it. It's illegal. Don't do it. Don't commit crimes, guys. You're not going to convert me to anarchist and Astra. Andrew Wilson isn't stupid. What makes him dangerous is he knows he's a con man. Yeah, he's very bad faith from what I've seen. And also, I saw recently that he doesn't know what a control group is in science, so he's a little stupid sometimes, but everyone is. Tim Pool's also paid by Russia. Not anymore. He stopped. He's never taken money from another country since then. The left needs better voices than pretentiousness and smugness. Focus on things that actually matter instead of calling every piece of media capitalist propaganda. Yes, to a degree. You say I'm joking, but unironically, some of the left voices are ridiculous. As we all know, those who own the chips owns the world. You're not wrong. It's like the spice. Hey, the soy sauce. Merch ideas are not non-existent, friends. Fear not. The soy sauce will be making my merch. I will give her 50%. Don't clip that. I don't want to shoot people, Natalie says. Well, don't worry, because you shouldn't have to, hopefully. I thought you were just listing shit. No, I'm not listing shit. You're just a fake gamer, buckaroo. I'm sure you've already expanded on this in the past. Who do you think the left's response to the 2028 election should be? I have no fucking idea. It's too fucking early. It could be anyone. Stephen Smith. He's going to go up there and be like, all right, I got two bills here, okay? We've got healthcare for all, and we've got, you know, block every single possible migrant at the border. You know, I'm going to go with, my lineup is healthcare for all. He's going to do that for every bill, and we're going to love it. What are you going to do to protect your local substation from the Chinese menace? I'm going to get all the other Koreans, and we're going to go, other Koreans, I'm not Korean. We're going to get all the Koreans, we're going to stand on top of the substation with our rifles. I miss COD. Shut up. Don't try to defend yourself now. You know what you did. You don't know anything about anything. You're a fake girl gamer. Probably don't, you're not a fake, you're a fake nerd. Do I feel optimistic? I am so pessimistic right now, Bill Jefferson, that I'm making a whole video about how I am freaking the fuck out and everything is insane. And I am not usually an alarmist. Sheev Palpatine, P.F. Jung is kind of frustrating to listen to. He talked with Destiny. Yeah, no, the relentless defending of Sam Hyde was ridiculous. Speaking of logos, I've designed a logo using a snake, inspired by your logo. Aw, that's sweet. Although, again, this is my friend who drew it. I decided to name my channel Andy Conda. That's so cute. After my first name. This is not self-promotion. Too late, bitch. I said it out loud. Everyone go look at Andy Conda's channel. Skull 100. I just failed a test and lost my scholarship. Plus, I can't afford college. Any advice? I hope you're not being serious. What do you even do at that point? I guess you pivot out. You take the credits you can. Maybe if there's community college options, you try to transfer back in, work, save up some money, and try to retake it and study harder. Sorry, man. I've had those things. College was very stressful. Imagine playing 16 versus 16. Dodo Bird, I'll do a 32 match. TF2 stream. We need to become edgy again. I never stopped. He didn't even watch Sam Hyde full video and he defended them. Yeah, I think most of... Okay, I didn't say it in this way and I wanted to, but his whole USAID thing was like, well, I watched this Joe Rogan interview and this Tucker Carlson interview on this guy that I didn't know was an actual white nationalist saying that USAID isn't good. for all these other parts, and maybe we should defend one part and one other part of the other. But my heuristic for whether or not we should trust him is like, well, he's kind of in the center. And it's like, why the fuck are you listening to this guy? Go look at the U.S. government aid website, figure out where they send money to, decide whether or not you agree with it, and then decide whether or not you can cut half. Don't listen to the fucking white nationalist guy, Mike Benz or whatever. Fucking stupid. It's stupid. His ideas are dumb. They're bad. Trump's going to mess up so bad, everyone's going to go left. Honestly, that might happen. 12v12 is peak, 16 is too much. I don't care. It's not about competitiveness, Daniel. It's about fun. I get sent conservative memes by my friends, which are horribly unfunny. How do I tell them in the meanest way possible that their sense of humor is that of middle schoolers? Send them my videos. Tell them to subscribe. Soy pill sexism arc is crazy. Guys, for the record, every time I say anything about like any minority group, it's obviously a joke. Please don't misinterpret me. Listen to a Stephen A. Smith Twitter space and it's filled with a bunch of DSA nerds. What's my hottest take? I don't know. You got to be more specific. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Let's see. It's Serial. It's Serial knowing that I'm not going to be affected by the awful things that people around me have voted for because I was born into those families. Yeah, crackers. I mean, like I said, like I'm probably not going to suffer very much in this next Trump administration. Hopefully. Like the prices going up doesn't really hurt me that much because I make good money. My friends and family are fucked. It's really bad. It's like I unironically have gotten to the point of like crying sometimes thinking about the fact that my friend's parents might get deported when he is like the nicest, like most charitable person I know. And he's like the epitome of like, don't fucking deport these people. Ridiculous. I'm, you know, like they're like, oh, well, they're just deporting the criminals. And it's like, okay, what? Like the guy who raped 100,000 people? Yeah, deport him. I don't give a shit. Whatever. Like, but now you're deporting people who've done nothing wrong other than illegally crossing the border. And like, it costs more money to get them out. Just integrate them. Like, at least P.F. Young says he's anti-mass deportation. He'll just let the person win who's going to do it because the Chinese substations. You saw it earlier, but your impromptu Chinese pseudonym during debate was literally the Road West. Lu Shi is the Road West. Interesting. P.F. Young, we should trust everyone except everyone to the left of Trump. Yeah, like what the fuck? Oh, he makes me so mad. But it's not because it's like, oh, your ideas are so complicated. I don't know I contend with them. It's just like, oh, this is stupid. I hate reading your stuff. Payload map, it's gonna be payload. That's the only fun game mode for ridiculous horseshit. I find conservative memes funny. I find some conservative memes funny, just not the neocons. It's the far right memes that are funny. I like the stream. Well, thank you, Astro. Bunch of meat writers on the right. Well, you're all meat writing me right now, so look who's talking. I know it was a joke. You're good. Thank you, Sheev. Pain probably has to happen before the USA realizes they fucked up, unfortunately, and that's why we'll never solve climate change, because by the time it's too late. You don't actually hate minorities unsubbed. Did you not care for The Godfather? I did not care for The Godfather. It insists upon itself. What's your hottest economic take and cultural take? Economic take? I would be willing to suffer major economic hardship for goodness, like probably far more than like a social democrat would. I would say like take like 80% of my money if it made things better. I just don't think it would work. And my hottest cultural take? Hottest cultural take. Captain America 4 was an enjoyable 6 out of 10. I don't know. I'd have to think about it more. Rest in peace, Dad. Should we be worried about the Federal Reserve? We should be worried about a lot of things right now with Elon in charge. It's insane what is happening right now. I am going fucking crazy. He's putting these unqualified dipshits in front of fucking like audits of things. He's auditing NASA. How is that okay? He fucking is in direct competition with them for like government bids. You should have asked him about Ukraine. I don't even want to get into that. I think it's TOS too. Half of my community's workers got deported. Holy shit, Skull. You're really just not having a good time right now. I'm sorry, Skull. I should have put more brain rot on. Just for you. Plus 100 social credit. Koth is the superior. King of the Hills is the superior game mode. Yeah, it's a better game mode, but Payload is more fun. Natalie. Well, hey. That's why earlier I left this comment about P.F. Young responded to you talking about knowing people affected by Trump is not equivalent to a person knowing someone killed by a migrant. It's different, but like I can understand it. If it's like, hey, immigration's my number one policy and this illegal immigrant came in because of the lax border policy, that's why I am like this. Like, yeah, you can't just say this one thing is the reason I vote for things. It's all of this is making me more passionate, but I still have my core beliefs that I think Democrats would push us closer towards. I hate this, but I support the guy who wants to do it. Well, technically, he doesn't support Trump. He's just happy he won over Kamala. That's a hot take in the sexy way. Simp. Any thoughts on those who may be thinking about leaving the country? If you need to, do it, especially if you're in trouble. Otherwise, please stay here and help me fight these fucking maniacs. Daniel Survivor. No, okay. How do you feel about the first Gulf War? I don't know. It gave us Jarhead. I like that movie. Leaving the country is a meme, but I am a dual citizen, as crossed my mind. I left the country for a few years. I came back, though. Why would you hire engineers to be auditors? Because they're smart, and smart people know smart things. I'm Elon Musk, and I am potentially good at one thing, which means I'm good at all things. Because Tony Stark, as the guy who is somehow able to be the master of every possible science field, is going to master anything else. That's why, because he has that stupid fucking mentality. Soy right. I'm a social dem. I'm prepared to suffer and suffer and suffer for a long time to perma-solve the huge economic issue. Guess so. Scout is one of my faves. NG Main's a ruined king of the hill. Yeah, fuck NG Mains, man. Are you scared of the possibility, inevitability of nuclear war? I have dreams about nuclear war, but the problem is, it's one of those, like, it doesn't matter, because once it happens, and it doesn't matter. And yeah, it's not good, but I hope it doesn't happen, but when it does, it's not, I can't worry about it anymore. It's like being worried about, like, a gamma ray burst wiping off everyone off the face of the earth. My mom, who's an illegal immigrant, said that she would vote for Trump if she had the chance. Yeah. Leopard's face. Would you rather have many nations or one nation encompassing the world? I believe in the United Federation of Planets, that Star Trek will happen. Just not in my lifetime. That makes me sad. I am not familiar with Curtis Yarvin. I forgot everything I've learned about him. Sorry, Shri. I'm about to sleep. I just wanted you to know your video made my day. Oh, thank you, Bill. I'm sorry that I got mad at you for not being an old man. It's so stressful to pretend to be right all the time. Pretend to be right. Oh, pretend to be on the right around my family, but it's so nice to come stay up late and watch your vids. Thank you. I'm happy. I don't think about this. I keep it like on the edge of my mind, but knowing that I'm helping people is really nice. And I hope I'm doing more positive than negative. And I really want to be doing that right now because shit is not good. So best of luck. I hope I can keep helping you. Natalie. Basically, this is my position. Systemic abuse is not the same as individual crime. Yes, exactly. No, your point is correct. Systemic abuse is not the same. Can we get a Cybertruck vandalism stream? No, I'm not going to commit vandalism. But I do point and laugh at every Cybertruck I see, and there are a lot of them around here in Silicon Valley, just as a habit. I'm just like, aha, idiot, and like I make sure they see me when I'm driving. I hope I never crash. I remember when all the leaves are brown neo-fash thing was just a meme. Yeah, it's getting really big. I mean, there's literally, I saw an ad today, like a Nazi ad, so people could pay to promote their posts, and they paid to put like their Nazi posts, like to promote their Nazi ideology. It was insane. I'm like, it's getting real bad. Is Elon Musk even good at rockets? I mean, he has people that know how to do rockets. When I worked at SpaceX, the people there were really smart, and Elon was consistently undermined because he would come up with an idea and the people were like, hey, just don't do that. That's stupid. He doesn't know what he's talking about. We'll do this instead. I'm sure he has some good ideas sometimes, and his company is succeeding. Can you debate with another YouTuber while you duel them in TFT? That's a fun idea. I'll have to find someone who would do that. You should set a goal. If we get you to 100,000 subs, you'll spray tan yourself orange? Maybe. Okay, that's a fun idea. I have a really, really good idea for my 100,000 sub video. I don't think my dad or mom is watching. I don't think they'll see this, but it involves gaslighting them. And I think you'll all think it's funny. NG isn't even good on most King of the Hill. All right, no more TFT. TF2. The dreams in which the uranium tears my skin is the best I've ever had. No, you should have told him Bernie would have wanted him to vote for Kamala. True. Someone should tweet that at him. What time zone do you live in? I live in Pacific Standard Time. This is blunt, and I'm by no means am I hoping for it, but Darwin might want some popcorn. No. Ah! Okay, I keep losing you guys in chat. I believe in treaties between countries, but I don't think it should be all one united nation. Different countries have different cultures. Trying to globalize it could completely game that, ruin that, I think you're saying. I think you can have different cultures and still have a unified body. I don't think it could happen today, but I believe in a utopia where we all say, differences aside, we all got to come together for a common goal, and maybe we need the aliens to come and force us into that. I live in a red district of a red state. Oh, hi, tinfoil. I'm wanting to run for a county position. Should I get in contact with the Democratic Party? Do Democratic Party. It's just go inside, change it from within, please. I don't think independents are going to get anywhere. Maybe in local politics it's easier. I don't know. There's so many Cybertrucks in the Bay. So many. Wait, you worked at SpaceX? I just did an internship there. It was like a 4-month thing during college. I worked there. I probably barely did anything of value. I think I literally looked at the thing that I was designing and looked on Google Maps to see if it was there. I don't think it's even there. So they probably never even went through with my design. Whatever. It's not like it's supposed to be a brag. My biggest takeaways from that were Elon Musk is a lying charlatan. The people there are very intelligent, and he relies on those very intelligent people's ability to work long hours without proper pay, sometimes sleeping in the company. And they're not bad people or anything, but like they are sycophants, or they are 1 to 2 year turnovers, so they're just like, I can't do this anymore. And I attribute very little of the success of SpaceX to Elon being smart. It is, from my understanding, not that, but just my opinion. My daughter's made up a song about how crappy the Cybertruck is. Even kids know. Even kids know. Astro says, I think running independent is better than being tied to the Democratic establishment. That might be true. It depends on where you are. Fighting good soldiers is... Okay, you guys are talking about TF2 still. Wait, you worked at SpaceX? No, I'm not. I don't want like a whole video. It's not important. It's just a little fun little anecdote I can say. Least obvious rage bait. I don't know what you're talking about, Chief. Do you play Marvel Rivals? No, because it's like Overwatch. I hate hero shooters. I hate hero shooters. I hate that we are not on the same level. I hate that there's a counter to me. Why is there just a guy that just counters me? Stupid. We should all be like in Halo 3, on an asymmetrical map, fighting for the power weapons. Best guy, cool guy wins. I don't get why you got so fragile when you Destiny mogged him hard and he stayed calm. Probably because I called him out way harder than Destiny did, and I did more research than Destiny. Not to shit on Destiny in that particular instance. Maybe Destiny didn't think he needed to do it, but I read this guy's whole step stack and it made me angry. SpaceX exposed. Elon touched me. Kanye's crash out as an irreparable damage. For whose imaging? Ozymandias 2028? It's funny you say Ozymandias because that has to do with my 100,000 subs video. Something Ozymandias related. Maybe locally it's viable to run independent, but not for president. I agree. All right, we're going to wrap up here soon because my voice is getting tired of reading all of your chats. Where do you think Trump's fixation on Canada has spawned from? I have no idea. I can't get into that man's brain. I voted for Kendrick Lamar. Skull, don't at least give her the numbers. He talked about running local. Okay. He misunderstands Fallout, just like Elon misunderstands Cyberpunk. Yeah, no, that's probably what happened. He, what did he call it? He's like, it looks like something Blade Runner would drive. Guys, it's oh man, I'm just like Halo. Very little is more than I attribute to his genius. I don't think he is stupid, but I don't think he's a dumb person. I think there's a distinction. Every day, you guys are going to know so much about me, it's going to be insane. It's going to be weird. You're going to know me better than I know myself. Base Soypol, except Team Fortress 2. That's the only good team-based shooter. No, there's good team-based shooters. I just don't like hero shooters. I don't like ultimates. I get the impression that Elon is a decent businessman. Except for the overbuying Twitter. Problem with running independent is that you won't get a platform. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, use the Democrats' resources. I've been driving into VR shooters. Oh, maybe I'll do a VR stream. That could be fun. But then it's hard to read chat. What did you think of the Kendrick halftime show? I liked it. I enjoyed it. I'm a Kendrick fan. And I thought the sound mixing was a little bad, but I think it's hilarious that he called Drake a pedophile in front of millions of people and the whole stadium sung A minor. What's my favorite book? Do I have a favorite book? I used to say Harry Potter. I honestly really like To Kill a Mockingbird, but those are basic bitch answers. I feel like I should have a better one. Good night, everybody. Good night, Crusader, Shri, and Oliver. I think it's the right thing, the fascination with more land additions on the map. Yeah. Oh, the right wing, excuse me. The Blade Runner from the hit movie Blade Runner, exactly. Soypill will have to transition to only reading super chats. Oh my god, I am going to have to do that. It's going to make me sad. Because then, only my rich people can... How do I get around that? How do I let my poor people get their message? I'll have to just look at chat, and you'll have to spam, and I'll just let you spam, and eventually I'll see it. Don't plug the Discord. I hate Discord, you parasocial freaks. Just curious. Threats against Canada have been a huge deal here. I see very few people considering it large. It's because Trump is doing the Three Stooges thing, where he's just doing all this dumb bullshit. We can't focus on one thing, but it's insane. Zetsui, thank you for coming on. We debated if you want to watch that. It's like one of the previous streams. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for coming on. Looking forward to watching more of your convos. Well, I appreciate that, Zetsui. TF2 is the best. We don't have ultimates, but we do have varied gameplay with skill setting. Exactly. What's the difference between stupid and dumb? Okay, Elon Musk has the capacity to absorb... Elon out of it. Ben Carson can't be stupid. There's no way, because he's a surgeon. I think it is impossible for him to be a brain surgeon and be an idiot. He must have some capacity for absorbing information and doing it. But then he has dumb ideas and speaks about stupid things. So he's not stupid, but he's dumb. I don't know. That's probably not the proper usage, but that's when I say, like, Elon says a lot of dumb crap. But I don't think he's stupid in the same way I'd call someone who just, like, doesn't absorb and process information stupid. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. I love VR. Pistol Whip is better than Beat Saber. I would only play Half-Life Alyx. It's the only good VR game I've played. Debating people in Dollar General stream win. Soypill, hope you the best. You have sauce and talent and need an army of people like you. Thank you. And I need an army of people like you supporting me financially. Maybe. Good night. Keep your sacks strapped. Develop something. Okay, blah, blah, blah. You can do a super cat stream like a HoloLive YouTuber. Don't compare me to a VTuber. I know I just promoted one, but that's just because she's my friend. Lottery for poor people. Oh, no, that's what the lottery is. The spammers always have the worst takes. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'll just have to... I don't know. I don't know how I get everyone. I want to respond to all of you. Have you seen Anthony Gramuglia in his cultural reviews? I have not. Maybe I'll check them out. Bless you, Soy, for not realizing you'd immediately be assaulted or harassed in VR. Well, I'm not going to do VR chat. I'm going to play a solo game. Seems like the more experienced streamers read in their head very fast. Pick which ones to read. Yeah, that's what I'm going to have to do. I'm just going to have to pick certain chats out. I'm sorry, guys. Please don't do super chat because I'm poor. You won't see my brain rot request. Skull, but I know your name and I'll never forget it. You're the little brain rot freak who made me put 8 things over my stream. We did it. We got through them all. I caught up. Thank you so much for checking this out. Thank you much for supporting me. I might need more of your support soon, maybe. Who knows why. But thank you so much for coming. Type 1 to end the deep state. I love you all. Good night. And I will have a video for you soon. TM.